Another good afternoon to you one and all. Welcome along to the Racing Post Live. It's Stayers Hurdle Day. Happy days. We move courses now. We'll get a word from the panellists about that. There's been not a drop of rain down at Prestbury Park in Gloucester, that's for sure. What will the ground be doing after the first? A fabulous day we look at. Still 2 more days to go. We're coming out the half-time tunnel. The oranges have been had and we are ready to go. Dictated to here by the racing, of course. Myself, Dave Orton, thrilled to be back with you with our sponsors, the Betfair Exchange. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Facebook Live, welcome along. Get your comments in. Viewer interaction. I've been saying it the first 2 days. Let's make it a hat-trick. It makes the show. We absolutely love it that you're out there. Great feedback so far this week. We absolutely love it, and we're setting new record for viewing figures as well. That had a little bit to do with a certain 5-timer that's been all over the mainstream news as well. Tiger Roll yesterday. Wow, the narrative's there. There may not be a crowd at Cheltenham, but we are bringing it into your living room and the horses are doing the talking. That's what we love, isn't it? Okay, anything on Twitter, hashtag RP Live. Let's go down the panel. Graeme Rodway joins us for another day. Big day for you, I sense.
Yeah, big day today. Well, it's not been a very good week, so hopefully things will turn. I always feel with Cheltenham, if things are not going well, it's about just hanging in there and hanging in there and hanging in there, because the winner will come, and when it comes, it's usually a good price.
If you watch the clips back from yesterday, your hair was... I was calling you a geography teacher yesterday. You looked like, you know, my old geography teacher. Today we're looking like a scientist, my man. You just let it go. That can't just be wind.
Yeah, no, I promised everyone that I would give you the 2 sides of my hair. Yesterday was the slick back look, today's the mad look. So I prefer the mad look myself.
Have you got some mad theories for us, or is that a silly question?
Mad theories. I mean, that is a silly question, Dave. You're talking to me. I am the man for mad theories.
All right, well, bringing it back in, and delighted to be making his first appearance of the week is the betting editor from the Racing Post, Keith Quizmaster Melrose, as I like to call him. We were playing an RPR's game, weren't we, which Bruce Millington, you've had him in the first 2 days, said that I love to do, get the programme book out straight after the races. But, you know, me, you and Kills were out in the office, Paul Keeley played, what do you reckon Monkfish got, what do you reckon Shishkin got? Let me tell you, Keith got a lot of them, which was most annoying. But the Quizmaster is back. How's your week been? That's what the viewers want to know.
Tuesday, I just about held on with some each-way collections. A lot of horses ran well without winning. Yesterday was a bit of a washout. Put the kettle on, and Tiger Roll are 2 horses that I feel like a man with a fork at a soup party with those 2 horses. I've never got them right. And, you know, they're just horses that I have never quite got right. So it was a bad day for me, but we try. We go back today, and I've got a few each way fancies at massive odds that I might hope just sneak me back into the game.
Okay, great stuff. We'll talk a little bit about that later on, and exactly why we're sort of struggling a bit, because we do try and get these skinny ones beaten. Barry Orr joins us again. It's ding ding round 3, Barry.
Yeah, can't wait. Most competitive day of the week so far as well, but we've had some fun over the first 2 days, so if we've half as much today, I'll be a happy man come around 5 o'clock this evening.
Absolutely. Listen, it was all sorts of narratives coming along. Tiger Roll, we couldn't believe it. Of course, Chacun Pour Soi getting beaten. 14 races so far, Barry. Just 5 winning favourites. I say just the 5. You know, some notable ones have been beaten. Before we go on to what your juicy one might be today, at the top of the show yesterday on Queen Mother Champion Chase Day, you may remember Barry Orr saying, I cannot wait to lay Chacun Pour Soi. Now, Barry showcases the functionality of the Betting Exchange. That's what he does. It's the real market. But we don't want to play in every single race. I must admit, yesterday was a lighter day for me. Some I just couldn't get. Absolutely whatsoever. You don't have to bet in every single race. It's responsible gambling, safe gambling. That's the way to enjoy the week. Be there standing at the end. Barry, do you have a juicy one for us?
No, it's just too competitive today in terms of there's not a short one that you can really get stuck in. Obviously, Envoi Allen's the only one that fits that category, but I wouldn't be a layer of Envoi Allen at any price. I think he's an exceptional horse and exceptional talent, and I just want to sit back and enjoy him and watch him win and enjoy it for what it is. Just, you know, it'll be his 3rd win at the festival, fingers crossed, and hope he comes back safe and sound. We so much to look forward to with him and the likes of Monkfish and Seskin and all those good novice chasers. I think we're really entering a golden period for chasing.
Yeah, stick with you, Barry, because you broke something on the show yesterday. That's what the lovely thing is about the show. We don't really know what we're going to get at the start, and at the end we look back and go, wow, where did that come from? It's the beauty and the real fun of doing this show. And there's a chap out there called Paul Dean who seems to find himself thrust into notoriety.
Yeah, Stockton-on-Tee up near Middlesbrough. Paul Dean, he'd a 5 accumulator on Betfair, an anti-post bet that the first leg of it was back on the 16th of June in Royal Ascot. and they've all won, and he's waiting on Envoi Allen. His initial cash out offer was £275,000. He stands to win 511,000. His initial cash out offer of 275. He mulled that over. At his request, he asked us could he do a partial cash out, and the quants team at Betfair came up with he can get 250,000 for any other result outside of Envoi Allen winning the first, or if Envoi Allen was to win, he gets an additional 50, so 300,000 in total, and that's what he's opted for. He's going to. He wanted to have money riding on Envoi Allen so he could cheer at home. He didn't want to just cash out fully of the bet. So he's guaranteed 250,000. That's already in his account, regardless of what happens in the Marsh Novices Chase. And he's cheering on Envoi Allen for an additional 50 grand. So best of luck to him. I've had a lot of dealings with him in the last 24 hours or so, and he just comes across as a really, really nice fella. Just a big racing fan. Loves his horses. Loves having running up money. Fingers crossed. He loves having running up money going on to horses in the festival. And when you put Bob Bollinger in at 25-1 in June to win the Ballymore, you know, it's lottery tickets the guy should be buying, not putting on accumulators onto sportsbook. But fair play to him. He had some losers in there. You've
been a busy man, obviously, over that, Barry, as you said, over the last 24 hours or so. That's the one question that I haven't really heard anyone ask him. Where did he come up with Bob Bollinger? I mean, you could have said Bob Bollinger should have been 50s.
I asked him that question, and he was really impressed the way he won his bumpers. And he likes Sholikoff, and he says that Ballymore is his favourite race in the world, bar none. You can have your Breeders' Cups, you can have your Royal Ascots, it doesn't matter. Ballymore, his favourite race, and he listed off the winners that he's backed in the Ballymore, and it's like a who's who of horse racing. And it's a lucky race for him. And he also noted that he really likes the sire of Bob Bollinger, who's Sholikoff, the same sire as Seskin. So that was another reason that added to him putting in Bob Bollinger at 25-1.
It's a great story, a punter's story of the week, the £5 bet that we all have, that live changer. Do us a favour then, Barry, when you speak to him and you sign the cheque, can you ask him what wins the 2022 Ballymore for us? There's bound to be a bumper out there, winner out there somewhere, isn't there? OK, great stuff. So listen, just sticking with you quickly, Barry, before we move on to Envoi Allen, the first race at 120, it is the Marsh, the Golden Miller Chase. Well Child is our chosen charity, of course, in the month of March. Got off to an absolute belter with Dragon Bones and that Doncaster meeting we covered, and we've been steadily building it up this week.
Yeah, we won 200 quid the first day, and we've won 175 quid yesterday. That gives us a grand total for the month of March of 1,240. So, yeah, we're doing things right. We're chugging along nicely, and if we hit one of the big price winners today, we can hopefully we can significantly add to the pot.
Superb. We'll be giving you selections for every race as they go on. You know the protocol by now, but if you are new, there comes the market up on screen. These new graphics that have just about making their big debut this week. We know you love them. Get your social interaction in. We'll be, there you go. Oh no, I had it right the first time. Oh no, where am I? It's down the social corner where it says Racing Post Live. Spotlight verdicts coming up there. All sorts of strike rates. Any questions of Barry, be it G or Keith as well, or myself, get them in now. Plenty of time in between races. Hopefully we'll be dialing into the track as well to get the fresh quotes and breaking them for you here on Racing Post Live. Right then, time for the business end of the day. Let's get to Envoi Allen. The wait is over. Will he go? Well, I don't know. A lot of people saying he'll become immortal if he wins this. Would he be? I mean, Tiger Roll became, Keith, questionably the greatest Cheltenham Festival horse in recent memory yesterday, just because of his spread of wins. Never mind figures, never mind, but just, I mean, it's a more popular Cheltenham Festival horse you're struggling to remember. So Envoi Allen it can't be far off him, but he's only ever run in novice company, 12 runs in novice company.
I was about to say, how many immortals never ran outside a novice company? I can think of maybe one, Golden Signet, and that was way before any of our times. That was in the 70s.
It's all still ahead of him, that though, I guess, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I'm looking forward. As I've written in the post today, I want to see what we get off the bridle with him, because we had, the parallels with Samco are a little bit too easy to draw sometimes, but with a horse, he is a warning, Samco. These horses have to show it off the bridle. Some horses give everything on the bridle and have nothing left once the push comes to shove. We don't know if Envoi Allen is that sort of horse yet, so we'll have to wait and see. I hope we get to see it today.
OK, great stuff. Keith Melrose off and running. Before we get G's opinion on this race, let's go to Barry. Is there a trade here, Barry? What about the without market? I assume Chantry House, the one fly in the ointment potentially. We don't know how good he is yet. Is he the market leader in the without?
Yeah, he certainly is. And there's a whole host of market here, Dave. Obviously, you can back the favourite or you can lay him, whichever you want to do on the win market. You've each way. You've 2 places, standard 3 places, or 4 places here. Or like you said, the without favourite market as well. Chantry House, 4.4 in that. 4.8 Shan Blue. Cadam Street Lad is 6.4. 8.2 Fusel Raffles. Asterion Falange 8.2. Or Fusel Raffles 6.6. 8.2 Asterion Falange. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little bit greedy here. I'm going to go to the 4th place market, please, Keith. And Asterion Falange is 2.76 to lay in that. And I'm going to take 50 quid out of him at that price. I just think he's only had one completed start this year, and that was up in Leopardstown. He's 2 falls to his name prior to that. It's not ideal preparation coming in here. Last visit to Cheltenham in the Supreme last year, he nearly finished up in the hospitality marquees coming down the straight. Now, I know it's a different course this time round. It's over fences. And he did jump, obviously, the other day around Leopardstown, which is a left-handed track also. But I just think when this horse gets to Cheltenham again, he's going to have memories of last year. I think he's readily opposable. Having those 2 falls this season already, he has some engine on him without a shadow of a doubt. But just at that price, I'm going to take him on. I'm going to take a chance that he might just jump out to his right again on the left-handed track. And at 7-4, I'm willing to take him on in the 4 places. So going to take 50 quid out of him at 2.78.
That's the beautiful thing about this show, isn't it? People that are, they're either on Envoi Allen or they're thinking, I don't want to be worried throughout this that he's going to win. I want to enjoy him. Is there an angle? You've just found one there from Barry, and absolute loads of sense there, Keith, right?
Absolutely so. And I know there's a couple of people that do fancy Asterion Furlong. I think David Jennings.
Yes, he does.
Now,
him and Keeley this morning were like swashbuckling about it.
The thing with this one, he ran on the old course last year in the Ballymore, didn't he? And the old course is a bit tighter, and maybe if you squint hard enough and try and fool yourself, you might think that this that going on the new course where the bends are a little bit more sweeping might suit him.
It's known to be more stiff, isn't it, because of the bigger runs to hurdles.
Longer, more sweeping bends, bigger runs. Try and go on either a Racing Post course map or even Google Earth. Yep. See a top-down view of it if you've never been to Cheltenham, or if you're only used to sitting from the stands. There is a definite difference at that end of the back straight, top of the hill, more sweeping bends on the new course and a more sweeping bend into the fences in the straight. That's the difference between the 2 tracks, essentially. But Asterion Furlong is just mad. Is
there a track in Britain or Scotland or Ireland or America or Australia that you've not Google Earthed?
I've only really done British jumps tracks.
Okay, because you are. If you don't know, handicap chases for Keith, and fences is your main thing, isn't it? So let's stick with you before we bring
fences always hang around on Google Earth. Apart from Leopardstown, I did Leopardstown the other day, and they take away the fences in summer by the look of things.
Is that right?
Looks like it.
Smooth move. Well, let's stick with you for your tip. Obviously, you did the preview for this in the paper.
Yeah, and I think I'm a bit annoyed. I thought Shan Blue each way 9-1 anti-post was a really good bet. I thought he's going to be 9-2 second favourite on the day, this horse. But a little bit like the Ryanair, everything stood its ground. But each way Shan Blue, it was first 3 when I took the bet, was the bet. It remains sort of the bet for me because Shan Blue is an exceptional jumper of fences. I think he might be the best novice jumper of fences I've ever seen.
Wow.
And he, but for getting caught in a pace battle in the Scilly Isles, he would have won 2 of the 3 Grade 1 novices in Britain so far this season before Cheltenham. He's just a horse that's got a lot to like about him. And he might not be as good as Envoi Allen, but he's going to be in the first 3. And if he happens to win, happy days.
Right, okay, just before we bring G in, he is still here, don't worry about that. Chantry House in the without for me, I think they weren't that hard on him at Wetherby, makes a bit of sense. I could see Darva Star in that market. I think he's got a chance as well, but it's Chantry House in the without for me, Nicky Henderson's horse. Shamblue, I just worry about how hard a race he had in the City Isles, but we won't, hopefully. I think, he will get Envoi Allen at it at some stage. Could this be an in-running race for Envoi? Let's find out as we go along. G.
Yeah, I'm coming in a bit of trouble too. I mean, I was a bit of a mischievous mood,
Oh, great.
When everyone was calling Envoi Allen the second coming, it might not surprise you that every now and again I like to go against what everyone else is saying.
See the stars, etc.
Yeah, and I was sort of dead against him and saying I thought he might get beat, but now everyone's saying that, and I hate being among the crowd. I like being on the opposite side.
With hair like that, you're not among the crowd, my man.
No, you don't get anywhere in life by being one.
No, you're right. So come on, what's the angle?
So I just think Envoi Allen will win.
You just think it will? And so is this a no-play race for you? Just going to sit back and dream of what, and we'll plot him afterwards and look for horses that might have given him a scare?
Well, I mean, on figures, he's not got amazing figures, has he? But 11 wins from 11.
He's a honeysuckle.
Yeah, you don't you don't get that sort of record without being half useful. 2 wins at the festival. He jumps well.
Do you remember we looked into him at the start of the season? We've done it on this show as well, haven't we, and feature shows as well. And figures-wise, he's sort of behind a brilliant Shishkin, if you like, and even Monkfish at one point was behind. Even on his bumper form, there were loads of horses ahead of him. But novice hurdles showed him to be, he's a decent horse. And there's a massive Envoi Allen tribe. Everyone's backed him at the festival, haven't they? Everyone was on in the bumper. Everyone was on in the Ballymore. And he comes up good.
Yesterday, we were talking about Chacun Pour Soi, and we were saying, this is a horse that's 1.5 odds, I think he was, on Betfair, 1.6. We were saying, do you want to be on a horse like Chacun Pour Soi, who really, the only way he can win is if he turns in on the bridle and everything else is off the bridle, because if he gets in a battle, you may not fancy him. I think with Envoi Allen, I think that I think he will put his head down and battle all the way if he needs to. I think
Let's
he's
try
a real
and find
winner,
some negs then. I mean, the move to Henry de Bromhead, obviously we've spoken about this yesterday and what it might mean, and Henry's having a sizzling week. He's got the shine, hasn't he, all his horses. What are the negs there, Keith?
I'm not sure. I mean, it was an unknown before the week started. You've had a couple have run well for de Bromhead and Mullins, to be honest.
Sir Gerhard.
Sir Gerhard won the bumper yesterday. Tremendous ride, by the way. I think if Rachel Blackmore outrides Poyle Town once more, she gets to keep him.
Let's get it searched up on the screen. Great line there. Okay, Chris comes on the show. Good to have you along, Chris. Opening the show with Dava Star, 33-1 is a massive each-way price. Paul Keeley likes this. Racing Post top tips. You'd have read that in your sizzlers, based on the Champion Hurdle one, I presume, Keith.
Yeah, it is, and there's a talk of the good ground being the right sort of ground for him too. A lot coming back his way. Yes, absolutely. At that price, you can't be putting anybody off, and he is probably a bigger player than his price for the places than his price about 40s would.
Yeah,
let.
Keith Donohoe on a double, of course, after Tiger Roll yesterday. Great to have the social interaction up and running. G, anything else left field here? Foozle Raffles isn't a bad horse on his day, is he?
No, but I don't think he can win. If Chatham Street Lad runs like he did when he won that handicap at December,
how's that
give everything
form worked out?
It's a solid enough Cheltenham 2.5 mile handicap. It's just, but he's won it by 6. They never get won by 16 lengths, those races. Frodon did it, but he's obviously won a King George. Sometimes in really bad ground you get something like that, but horses do not win those races by that far.
Hasn't really worked. I mean, I know that Annie Mack has come out and won a lot to him. Master Tommy Tucker was in the race.
Midnight Shadow's got a lot of back form on that course. He'd won, he'd assumed the Dipper the year before. He was going to run a big race. I think did he fall in the Marsh last year or something? But he's got form round there. Basically,
9-year-olds are 0 from 4 in this race. Dava Star also a 9-year-old as well, of course.
Interesting with Chatham Street Lad is that he's run 21 times over fence or in his career, and that was the only graded.
It was
ever
a Gigginstown horse, wasn't he? And then he went to Mick Winters,
Yeah.
who's found this extra leg. Okay, great stuff. So listen, well, good luck wherever you're playing. We can see them coming out onto the track. Asterion Flange looks like he's absolutely full of himself. Envoi Allen, wasn't it a great comment in the paper overnight? Henry de Bromhead, he knows he's good, this horse. You can sense his presence. If anyone's going to know, it's Henry de Bromhead. It looks like Shamblu, Foozle Raffles. It looks like Chantry House is going to be fairly prominent, the way they're going.
I like how that implies the existence of a really moderate horse that thinks he's really good.
Right.
There must be some...
Well,
a bad horse, like a 50 rated player that just
Quixel
goes...
Crossit thought he was Mo Farah,
Why are you taking me to the 4th spot in the winners' inclusion? I should be at the winners' bit, shouldn't I?
That's it, absolutely amazing. All right, so listen, good luck. If you've taken, last year, if you backed Envoi Allen for the Marsh, this is your moment. Paul Dean, we're rooting for you in here. Let's hope he goes and does it. It's 50 grand difference for you, man, isn't it, of course?
Paul Dean's got his $250,000. Let me have my fun.
Just quickly, would you have cashed out? Cash out.
Of course you would. You would never have put $250,000 on...
For a fiver. It was the safe play.
I would have
driven you out.
I would have negotiated with Betfair all day.
It's very funny because I was thinking last night, I wonder if Betfair will offer him a partial cash out just so he can have a little bit of interest, and they've done it.
You've got Barry on your side, of course, and it's win-win for them as well.
He's a big drifter, it's worth noting here, Envoi Allen. I think he was 1.45 and now he's 1.62, so he's really drifting.
Barry, just bring you in just before they go off then.
Yeah, he's 1.6. Yeah, he's about a 6-4 on chance now. But
wow!
I suppose that's probably his true reflection of his price. At 2's on, he's probably a little bit short at that. But
the way it's gone this week, you're expecting back the Irish at any price. Back these Irish shorties at any price has been the sort of theme of the week, and yet Envoi Allen, the big one, has been easy enough to back. Yeah,
let us know what you think about that. The Irish versus the British runners. We're only at halfway, and a reminder, it can change. Sorry, Barry.
I'm just saying, come on, Envoi. I'd love to see him
We've got to
win impressively here today. I just want to see a good horse do great things in Prestbury Park. I think that's what this meeting's all about. And I've no financial involvement in it in terms of I wouldn't be betting odds on him, but I just love to see him win for everyone involved.
I'm with you as well. Okay, come on then. Let's have the Roar, the Thursday Roar. Hey, we're off and running in the Marsh.
Right.
No Bruce Millington, so I'm calling it Blackbow right out the back. This is an Eldorado Allen ride, isn't it? Pick up the pieces. Who's going to come up in front? Foozle Raffles. How's Chamblou going to take to that? He's eyeballing him at the moment. Chantry House on the outside in third. Envoi, perfect under Jack Kennedy in about fourth spot. Asterion Phalange, unsurprisingly on the outside, and Darvastar being ridden cold as well. 2 fences down. Keith Melrose, impressions?
Envoi Allen's got in a bit tight to both, I think. Chamblou is putting the worst jump of his career at the first, but that's to say it was moderate. And he's just let Foozle Raffles get on with it. Chantry House wanted to be up there too, has ducked out of the battle really. But apart from that, there's nothing else that you're really surprised about. Envoi Allen's jumping in the first... Remember, this is the first time he's had an actual race over fences, really. And he's not been terribly impressive at the first two, considering how brilliant he was in his earlier chases. So we're on to the main track now. Often those first 3 fences on the 2.5 mile track are just about establishing a pecking order. Now they get onto the course proper, you can't imagine this order will change much for the next 4 or 5 fences.
I love it. Absolutely superb. And that's exactly what they've done, G, isn't it? Pecking order has been just about restored now. Foozle strides on.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that Chamblou isn't striding on here. I thought he would definitely go on and make it, but he seems happy to...
Oh no! Envoi Allen has gone! He was a bit sticky over the first 2. My lord, multiples all over the place. You can hear the silence. Tragedy. Envoi Allen has gone.
Imagine if Paul hadn't cashed out.
My goodness gracious me, wow.
Right, well, it's there to be 1 now. So Foozle Raffles is in the lead and Chamblou is in second. So.
Sorry, G, unbelievable scenes. It came on to you. You'll be the man forever known. Speaking while Envoi Allen fell. What a surprise.
Yeah, I've obviously boxed him, haven't I?
You've boxed him. Barry, what does that mean for the market, man?
He's got up okay, but Asterion Phalange is now your favourite at 4.0. No, sorry, Foozle Raffles 3.254. Asterion Phalange 6.6. Chantry House 7.6. Chamblou. It's blown it wide open, obviously, Dave.
Yeah, we will get word immediately about Envoi. Absolutely, Barry, right to be thinking about that. Such was the shock. Unbelievable scenes. Irish Banker on day 3 doesn't get further than fence 3. Okay, Foozle Raffles jumping like a dart up front.
Now, Harry Skelton's saying, let's have it now, I think.
Oh, he loves it, doesn't he, Harry?
He loves it. He can't help himself.
What I love it. Well, you say that, Keith, but this week he's had to ride the cold ones, hasn't he? You know,
Apart from
Estebel in the... well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But Nube Negra was not a Harry ride.
He's taking it up now. He's got a length and
a half. Now, this will suit Chantry House, I think, and Chatham Street Lad. Horse and Rider okay, I'm hearing. Horse and Rider okay.
Great news.
Great news, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Darvastar looks like... I think we can put another 0 on Darvastar, Barry.
Yeah, he got hampered by the fall
of he's up that better.
Envoi Allen, unfortunately for Darvastar. He's out to 60, Dave.
I'll tell you who's catching my eye. You won't want to hear this, Barry. Asterion Phalange.
Jumping very sticky. Very, very sticky.
Okay, let's have a look at him.
He
has been a little straight, though. Listen, Chatham Street Lad. He's cruising. Call it Keith Melrose.
Harry Skelton is having the time of his life. He's gone 3 or 4 clear, coming to the ditch near the top of the hill. Foozle Raffles has a pack in second.
This
and
is 4 out.
In third. It's 4 out, and he's jumped it as well as he always does.
Foozle's beautiful, though.
Foozle Raffles jumped
Chantry House a little bit novice.
well.
You can tell he's not been in a proper race over fences
Chatham
yet.
Street Lad is still travelling very well.
He's the one
about fourth.
that could
He is
pick him up.
Absolutely. He is the one that you'd be travelling quite well.
This
You're
is
quite happy
4
with
out,
him.
sorry.
Chamblou has pinged that one again. Chantry said a little bit sticky, and Chatham House Lad the same. Now they head down the hill. Harry Skelton is niggling. He's trying to win the race down the hill.
You're excited about this, Keith Melrose, because you love his jumping.
I do love his jumping. It's going to be a joy to watch. Harry's going to have to throw him at 3 out.
Here we go. This is it. He ran around a little bit. Signing maybe he's tiring. Chantry House got a flyer. Blackbow out the back. Darvastar, forget about him. What will Foozle Raffles do? This will be interesting.
Foozle Raffles gets a shake of the reins. Chatham Street Lad is the only one that's really travelling.
You think winners in front, G? Chantry House, third in the Supreme last year. This is the third last.
Chatham Street Lad still travels. Harry, what's he going to do? I think he's trying to fiddle it. No, he throws him at it. He jumps it well.
Oh, Chantry not great.
Chatham House Lad has picked on landing there. He's still got 3 lengths and nothing travels better.
Asterion Phalange not totally out of this. What will he find up the straight?
He's going to finish in the first 4.
Winners in front. Winners in front.
I don't know. Here comes Chantry. I'm on with the without market. So whatever.
Oh, no, I don't. I think he's a sitting duck
Asterion
here.
Phalange, David Jennings will be screaming at the telly. Okay, come on. I'll tell you, this is. I think Chamblou is gone. He's absolutely walking.
Here comes Asterion.
Here comes Asterion Phalange. Chantry House 2 out. Over they come. Hendo 1-2 in the minute. This will be a massive swing, wouldn't it? Unbelievable scenes. Endo 1-2 we're looking at. Chantry, this is where he's going to assume. Massive moment for Nico de Boinville at the last.
Oh, he
Right,
jumped it
he's
well.
absolutely brilliant. Fusil Raffles not so good. Third in the Supreme last year, Chantry House. Wow, what a time to arrive. Is this another star in the making we're seeing? No, Envoi Allen jumping the name of the game. He's going to see off Fusil Raffles in the first. Asterion Phalange runs on into third place. He was much better today. Chatham House, only fourth. Shamblu back in fifth.
Yeah, I think he's gone too early there.
I think you can say that again, yeah.
You don't say. You were calling the winner in front, though. It just shows you what
if I'd been playing that racing running, I'd have been all over him because I love those sorts of attacking rides at Cheltenham. They rarely get caught, but he did this time.
Yeah, okay. Wow, unbelievable scenes here just when you think this festival cannot throw up any more drama. People worry about what the Thursday's going to bring. Do not be disappointed. The wonderful thing is, of course, Envoi Allen up and Ryder fine with us here and there now. Oh, man. I suppose the first question, the fallout, Keith, from this, before we go to Barry for the story of the race. I mean, where would he have finished there? It would have been perfectly run through, wouldn't it?
They've all finished quite close up with each other. I don't think there's a 165 performance in there among them, to be quite honest. He would have had every right to just win that on the bit.
This could be a Henderson benefit day, and you will love to hear that, because it's a horse that I can't believe we give him so many mentions yesterday. He was Caribbean Boy. He runs later. It's in the plate, isn't it? You're in love with this horse.
Yeah, I think he's top class.
He's got Champagne Platinum in the next. He's got My Big Hope of the Day, Mr. Fisher, running in the Ryanair.
Do you know how many people this morning I've told it's going to be Henderson's day today?
Zero.
A lot.
A lot.
I've told a lot, but I did not back either of his runners in that race because I thought Envoi Allen would just win.
You did, absolutely typical.
We're watching the replay now. By the way, Asterion Phalange runs on. You said that runs nowhere. That horse did not fancy it. He's just a.
But the one thing you would say is that he has jumped more.
Oh, I thought he did.
He jumped straighter. Well, he did. He jumped fine and then just didn't fancy it.
Yeah, he was a bit sticky, but he didn't jump out to his right the way he had in the Supreme the last time. Now, different track, like I said, but that's probably the first proper race he's had all year, really, Asterion.
Do you think we've seen a future Grade 1 winner, Dave?
Well, it's all about Ryanair now for this chap, isn't it? I think I'm not sure about the pedigree, Keith. I haven't really looked at it, but let's have a little word of that. Maybe Keith can just look at that. Where we go to Barry. At what point did Shamblu go very low in the run? Because Harry Skelton, he thought the cavalry was behind him.
Yeah, he traded low at 2.52, which is 6-4, Dave. And that was just turning out down the hill that time. 1.60 Fusil Raffles and 1.62, would you believe, Asterion Phalange. That traded that short. Unbelievable.
We heard the guys in the gallery getting excited about that horse. They must have backed it.
Yeah, honestly, yesterday it was like a carnival was next. It was like we were in Notting Hill or something in August. It was unbelievable.
Get them on for the
selection. Turn it down. Got a mouthful as well in my ear. Unbelievable.
There's more atmosphere out there than there is on the course.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise. On any normal, the gallery is absolutely mad. By the way,
we're watching Envoi Allen's fall again. Is
it novice-y? Is it just one of those clip the tops?
He didn't jump any fence well. He got
you did call that in fairness to you.
You know, he didn't. It's his first race over fences, really. And he's got into every fence. You know, he just got in tight, and I think because he got in tight, couldn't get his legs out, and that was it. He's gone.
Wow, 11 wins coming into the festival, an F next to his name. It's sad to see, really, because we just would have loved to have known what they'd done. But I mean, man, were you on Shamblu? What on earth are you thinking?
When you see the form figures, 1-1-1-1-1-F. What horse do you think of?
Yeah, Moscow Flyer.
Moscow Flyer.
I was thinking of the Real Bandit, actually. That David Johnson horse.
Of course he was. Yeah, no, you're right. Moscow Flyer came back. We were talking about horses that have regained their crowns. How many of them were there? Let's see if you can get the game's quiz. The quiz master. Who can
regained crowns in championship races?
Corto's the obvious one.
Obviously. Moscow Flyer did. Did English Dreaver.
Oh, good one. You wouldn't want to oppose him on a quiz team.
No.
What's the other one, G?
Hurricane Fly.
Hurricane Fly, we've got one more.
Sprinter, isn't it?
Yes, a sprinter.
Did you let him off the hook there?
He'd have got that one. He's a chase expert.
I'd have started sweating after 10 seconds.
Fair play, Keith. Okay, here we are. Time on the bottom there. What we got? Slow by 7.75. So what are we talking, Keith?
We're talking, it's ground that's getting on for good to soft. Basically,
which is what we want.
It's what you want. It needs to come into your mind because that's not testing ground. Basically, that's old Cheltenham ground. You were talking about it the other day. You wanted an old style Cheltenham with the first meeting on spring ground, and I think that's what we've ended up with this year.
It's one the bookies don't like that, isn't it? Good ground, of course. So I remember all my first festivals, the sun always seemed to be shining. You know what it's like when you have those memories, the grass is greener effect, they call it.
Every time that my memory takes me back to being at Cheltenham Festivals, the sun is always blazing, even though it probably wasn't all the time. That's why
even
I remember.
though you're freezing away. Yeah, absolutely. So listen, are you missing being at the festival this year? Of course you are. But I know loads of people that don't go. They think it's a scrum. They watch it in pubs, watch it at home, have a little party for it. Of course, the one thing we're missing this week is the noise of the crowds. Never more so we felt that than when Tiger Roll went back and regained. He's just gone on the list as course a Tiger Roll, isn't he, in the cross country?
Yeah,
Regained the cross country.
Come on, it's a race at Cheltenham. I knew you were going to pour cold water on this. Mean Melrose.
His name still fits nicely in amongst those greats, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. So listen, but we are
regain the Grand National. There wasn't one last. Oh no, wait. They took him out.
A big chat about that, by the way, here on this show yesterday.
Well, hope we can have another one.
There have been comments from Michael O'Leary, haven't there, saying he's going to run him in the bowl now, which just, that's max to me of just like, I don't know, bit of...
It's the only way they could come out of it without showing their backsides, really.
It's pretty sore, that, I think, isn't it? You know, and then he'll show everyone he's not a 166 horse, they said.
Well,
what?
I mean, it's basically a massive case of arsenal.
Run him in the Irish National then. Let's see how he gets on in there. Go and win it easy, you know. So look, anyway, I mean, whatever you think of that.
It just looks unseemly. The whole season looks like a ploy to fool Martin Greenwood.
The new BH. Yeah, of course, no Phil Smith, is it? This is Martin's first Grand National, and guess what? He would have been vindicated. But we gave him a Racing Post rating, by the way, of 166. So there were a lot of people, including us on this show, saying, will he be, Cloth Cap looked like he had the handicapping sewn up in the National. We were thinking, would Tiger Roll? It looks like he would be just on a fair mark.
Oh, he would be. Well, his best 170 or something, isn't it? And that would be
171.
Yeah, so that's not top in a National. You're not £5 better. £5 ahead of your BHA mark doesn't put you top in a National.
Just hearing all okay with Envoi Allen, according to the groom. He will live to fight another day. Probably go back to Punchestown, won't he? That was the Golden Miller. That was the Marsh Chase.
Are we calling races by their Sunday name?
Well, I don't mind.
I like that.
You like that?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, because the third race, we might not be calling the third race soon, might we?
Oh yeah.
That might be the
Tell
festival.
You what festival plate again?
Well, the festival
Never
chase.
Been the festival plate.
I don't know why they don't just name these races after good horses in case the sponsors do change about. You know,
or to name it after Libertine.
Well, there's a lot of talk about Tiger now, but you know, the cross country will be known as the Tiger Roll cross country. There's rumours of statues and everything. So.
Oh really?
That will not annoy you, but everyone else will love it.
Obviously, we conversed with some of the Irish lads, and he's a real hero to the Irish guys. Like
what a surprise!
He's a folk hero over there.
Yeah, quite. Quite.
He's on the verge of getting letters to himself and things like that. Really,
you know, and it's such a shame. The whole COVID thing hitting would have been 3 Grand Nationals, wouldn't it? So you have to say.
Was he in the same sort of form this time last year?
But he comes alive when the sun's on him, you know.
So they say.
Yeah, anyway, listen, there we are. We're off and running here on RP Live. Myself, Dave Orton, Graeme Rodway, Keith Melrose and Barry Orr, bringing it all to you. Let's get some more viewer interaction on the social corner. Let's have a look. We've got Luke Strauss. Good to be back on, Luke. Storm Goddess for me in the next. And as if by magic, I believe the Pertemps Network Final. They seem to have been running these Pertemps qualifiers since June, don't they, basically? Perhaps Keith could tell us when the first one is. I can't remember. It's definitely got to be, I think it's September or something madness, isn't it? But if you finish in the top 6, basically, in a Pertemps qualifier, you get a run at the festival if you got the right ratings
the
band.
ones I like are the ones where there's only 6 runners in. Great, isn't it? If I was a trainer,
there was one at Chepstow the other week where there was literally 6 runners.
Some would call that a genius training move.
Yeah, exactly.
Some would call that a genius training move. We're being mischievous. Okay, who's going to be favourite then, Barry Orr in the Pertemps? Is it the Boss's Oscar?
Yeah, clear favourite as well. I know this is 10-point Tom's nap at a meeting. It looks like he's had his communion money on this one. 5.6 at the moment now, the Boss's Oscar. Imperial Oscar 789 for Milner. Plenty of money for that one with Rachel Blackmore. Champagne Platinum 10. 13.5. Come on, Teddy. Miss Milner, not to be confused with Milner, is 17.5. Brian Cooper in the plate there. I'm going to take a flyer here. There's a horse I fancy, and he was among one of the top novice chasers last season. Copperhead. He went off a 6-1 chance, would you believe, in the RSA. He pulled up a first couple of runs this time round in a hurl racing in the Ladbrokes Trophy. But in a qualifier in Chepstow in his most recent run, he just showed a little bit of sparkle Stable's in better form as well. It was in the doldrums when he was pulled up in those 2 runs that I spoke about previously. And he's £7 better off handicap versus his chase mark, 143 versus 150. So I'm going to have a 25 quid win Copperhead at 50. And we're going to look at 7 places.
Hello.
The 7th place market, please, Keith. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And in the 7th place market, I think he's around a 4-1 chance. We're going to have 25 quid on him in the 7 places as well. So 50-1 chance in the win market. We're going to take a bit of a flyer with him. Stable in better form. Good jockey booking that caught my eye. And he's a talented horse without a shadow of a doubt. And hopefully he can transfer that to a workable hurl mark of 143 here.
What's the Betfair SP at the moment, Barry, with him? What price was he again? Just remind me, sorry.
He was 50.
50, okay. The reason why I'm bringing that in, biggest price winner of this in the last 10 years? Quizmaster?
I don't actually know this.
Holywell won at 25-1, would you believe it?
Is that the biggest price?
Yeah. It's one of these red herrings of a race. It's mainly because of the stranglehold of the 2 stables that have won the last 6 renewals. This Patrick Kelly, back-to-back with Maldini and presenting Bercy, and Gordon Elliott, now under Denise Foster Monica, have won the last 3, including twice with Subside du Burley, who goes in the stayers in race number 4.
Because it's a race where the qualification conditions are set out, it's really easy to spot the ones that are getting laid out. That's maybe why you get these shorter SPs, because there's no conditions for laying one out for the plate or the county hurdle. But if you're laying one out for the Pertemps Final, you've got to go in a qualifier, you've got to finish in the first 6, and it's easy to spot the non-jiggers.
Should we just talk about Copperhead, because I know a Shrewdy that I know that's been following this off a cliff, thinking it's today he bounces back. It's today he bounces back. And I mean, this would be a jaw-dropping moment. All went wrong after the RSA last year.
He was one of my naps in a meeting last year in the RSA. I loved that Ascot performance. It was on really bad ground, and today's obviously a lot better. But he has got ability in advance of that mark, no question. And you could just about, if you squint, put all the bad ones this year down to yard form. So I can definitely see it at those sorts of fancy prices.
Yeah, Tizzies have run quite well this week, haven't they? We had Fiddler on the Roof and the Big Breakaway ran well, didn't they?
One of your big calls yesterday, of course, was Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, Monkfish, they both ran well. But I've always thought he's just a soft ground slogger. And I don't know if he's going to really appreciate this sort of ground. This looks fairly lively, doesn't it?
You can see the back class, though, can't you? And why Barry would be looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is a hurdle race, isn't it? As well.
And who is the pick?
Oh, the favourite to win this, Boss is Oscar.
You're with 10-point Tom
Yeah,
Collins.
well, this is one of my things that we had this discussion, I think, last time I was on, or the time before last, about, what is a jockey worth? Is a £7 claimer
some
worth
Jordan
£7
Gainford chat,
as opposed to Daryl Jacob, for example? Now, for me, I don't think there is £7 between a Jordan Gainford and a top jockey. I think maybe there might be a couple of pound in it, but let's be honest, if Jordan Gainford rides an adequate race, then what exactly can the professional do that is that much different to what Jordan Gainford's going to do? I mean, he's obviously held in high regard.
That's the whole point, isn't it? It's like the difference between Jordan Gainford and Daryl Jacob, let's say, might be £0 in one race and then a stone in the next.
Exactly.
So it's not like a settled. It's just a bit of a line of best fit. Really.
You have to. For me, when I'm betting, I always think towards the positives. I don't try to overcomplicate. I just assume that Jordan Gainford is going to ride a perfectly adequate race here.
Yeah.
What exactly can he do wrong that a professional can do right? Yes, I mean, he could go off 1,000,000 miles an hour, or
he's only ridden once at Cheltenham.
But he's a straightforward ride, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a purely.
Look, we've spoken about this a lot this week. Jordan Gainford had a lot of rides in the last month. Basically,
Ireland once it was amateur riders weren't allowed. It looked like the whole of Ireland's got together and just went, right, who are we going to turn professional to take these rides, lad?
Yeah.
Jordan's good.
Well, he's got the shunter later on the plate. That's a very short price favourite, not just...
that's an obscenely short price.
And that's Emmett Mullins saying this guy's mustard as well. But whenever I first used to go to Cheltenham, I bumped into Tony Martin and the likes of that. They used to love spotting the next star. And Tony Martin used to come up to me in these boxes I was in, lucky enough to be with Tony, in his absolute heyday, and he'd go, let me tell you, this Ruby Walsh is worth a stone around here. This is when Ruby was claiming, you know. And so this isn't just like an ordinary conditional, I don't think. This is one that they are like, let me tell you, they will be saying if they were all at the track now. Yeah, this is a future star.
And if when Ryan Moore was claiming £5, I mean, it must have been ridiculous, mustn't it? And all these top jockeys have to come through with a claim. So is Jordan Gainford the next one? The Irish trainers seem to think he is.
What's left to tell is that if you're a £7 claimer, whether you're going to be now, I picked this guy's name out the top of my head, he's a very good jockey, but whether you're going to be Henry Brook or Ruby Walsh, when you're claiming 7, you're looking good for that £7 claim. What happens is when they lose that claim, it's always a big part. That's when some people kick on. It can be to do with their connection sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it can be to do with their riding style. But any good jockey, anybody who's going to be a competent professional jockey, is going to look good claiming 7. No question.
Well, and look how good now Harry Skelton is now. 5 years ago, before whenever his brother started training, he was kind of fading away in the background at Nicholls' yard. But now that he's been given the chance, we see how good he is. And a lot of these jockeys, I think, like I've said on many shows before, bar one or two exceptions, I don't think there's a huge amount of difference in ability between them.
That's why you like a conditional or an apprentice on the flat.
That's why I like a conditional or an apprentice on the flat.
Yeah.
How many £7 claimers have ridden 2 Cheltenham Festival favourites on a day? I bet the answer's nearly none.
Well, hardly any, and it's because Jimmy Codd would be riding him normally, or Derek O'Connor, or they'd got, but because of the unique conditions this year, there's had to be an anointed one. They've picked the most promising claimer in Ireland. Turn him pro, off you go, Jordan. Have all these big rides, and he must be rubbing his hands.
I'm absolutely loving this chat. Of course, we've got the betting editor there. We've also got the assistant betting editor as well, with G, of course, when Keith's out of the way. You're running the show, and this is the sort of chat they have in the departments. It's the fly-on-the-wall style that we know you love. Jordan Gainford, you've just been told about him. Let's get another social up. Who is coming on? Nathan Davies says, what's the tips, lads? Back to the tips, they want to know. So, Keith Melrose, remind us.
Well, there was a 6-runner qualifier at Chepstow the other week, and I think what happened, it was on the 25th of February, and between the 15th when he ran at Warwick and about the 20th when they must have entered, the Skelton Yard realised that Spirit of the Games is much better treated over hurdles than he is fences. Now, I'm aware that the hurdles and fence chase courses at Cheltenham are different, but Spirit of the Games record on the chase course at Cheltenham needs no introduction, tanks through these big handicaps, might not be the dotiest when it comes down to a fight, but each way with 6-7 places on offer in places. Off the mark he is now, 141. He ran very well at Chepstow. I think he's, it's a race where I like to play each way because you could pick a horse with half a stone in hand. It'll run well and finish third. That's the way these races can go. Okay. So I like playing each way, and I've backed Spirit of the Games each way.
This is causing me problems now.
Why?
Because I looked at Spirit of the Games, I really fancied him a little bit. And
don't worry, I think he's talking.
And now Keith's made a really strong case for him, but
I'm surprised that you've fallen for a horse like this.
Do you think he stayed, Keith? That was my thing. I'm not sure he really stayed this trip.
Yeah, he needs to get carried into it over 3 miles.
He needs to be a reinvent himself like Sky Pirate, and I just don't think he's going to happen in this race.
He doesn't really want it. But
the extra place angles is your way in.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
he has definitely got the talent to be there too, Al.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just for Harry Skelton will need to smuggle him into the race because that's how he does it round the chase track. But he'll present him as late as he can. If he's closer than 6th jumping the last, I'll be amazed.
Wow.
He's going to be presented late because he does throw his head in the air. He's not the hardest battler, but he's the sort of horse that you smuggle through these big handicaps. He finishes reliably in the first half dozen, and there you go. Copped your first 5-6 places.
Okay, let's get the rest of the tips out. Thank you, Keith. I'm on Champagne Platinum, one of my stronger plays of the week. So delighted to see that JP and Chantry. Is that JP's first win of the week?
I think it is, yeah.
I mean, it is, isn't it? Do you remember last year he won 4 of the 5 handicap hurdles, didn't he? This chap was a gamble for the Kinmure last year. I said they should have run him in the plate. Jamie Codd was on, I believe, in the Kinmure. It was a massive gamble. Oh, yeah. And I thought, I've absolutely stumbled on this plot. It was gunpowder treason and plot, this was. And he just didn't quite come up. The fact that he was still in with a chance, despite fiddling a lot of the fences, was testament to his ability. He's been massively eye-catching in his 2 runs back, once at Newbury, where perhaps you could see why he's wearing the headgear, but last time at Haydock, on ground that wouldn't have been ideal for him, and behind an absolute snip of a revelation in Bushy Park, who just gets at Haydock and these northern tracks on soft ground and just keeps going. It was hugely eye-catching. You have got time to watch that back in your members section on your replay. Watch it. Tell me you're not going to be with him. Champagne Platinum.
Can we talk about the Boss's Oscar again? It's unlike...
I thought he was going to say fair play, Dave. You've absolutely got the right one. You've straight to the Boss's Oscar.
You've summed up Champagne Platinum. Well done.
Thank you, Keith. That's all I wanted, really.
But it's not... Obviously, Sarda Berley's been plotted to this race by the same yard. Obviously, it was Elliott's name on the licence in previous years. And that horse, they took no chances with Sarda Berley, let's say, in terms of getting him here. And generally, with these Elliott horses plotted to Cheltenham, they take very few chances. Have they made a pig's ear of it with this horse?
Maybe that's why they think they've got Jordan Gainford.
That's why that's why Gainford's on,
because
isn't it?
he keeps running well without winning, going up in the weights. But
they'd have got this horse here of 139 had it been a really careful Elliott plot, but he's here off 151. It's a high mark.
Do you need to be plotted up to win these races, though, or do you just need to be the best horse?
Well, Sarda Berley used to come into it having run third or fourth.
The fact you've had 2 dual winners in the last 10 or so years tells you that you don't. There's a plot element to Buena Vista.
The other one?
Yeah. Both claimers when he won it, actually. Haddon Frost and Conor O'Farrell, possibly. With the two.
Of course, which brings me to Haddon Frost, Bryony Frost, who's been great columns for us this week in the paper, been breath of fresh air reading them, actually. And she said the Pertemps was one of my family's favourite moments because of Haddon, of course, riding that. She's on Storm Arising. You wouldn't want to be Paul Nicholls' stable cat, said Bruce Millington yesterday when he was on the show. Nothing's been going right, hasn't it? Amazing how quickly these things can turn. Southfield Harvest out. So that was a strong fancy. But Storm Rising keeps improving, and this is Bryony's ride. She gets on really well with it. And Harry Durham, his assistant, said to me, it's just the perfect race for Storm Rising because you take your time. You think they've gone, but this is a race where they all concertito. He's ridden it a few times himself.
Well, he would have done. And it is something that does happen in these big handicaps, actually, is that they fan out down the hill, and what's the highest you've seen? I think I've seen 15 jump the second last upside.
Wow.
It's ridiculous what happens.
And when presenting Percy, you want to just sigh through the pack from absolutely out of nowhere. I don't want to get you started on that.
I've got memories of that McManus horse that couldn't jump fences that got no run. What was it called? No comment.
Oh, I can't remember.
Finished fourth in an RSA as well.
I can't remember. Right, Keith, let's go to some socials. I've got to think we might have some interaction coming in. Chris Timms, a regular contributor, says, I'm on the Boss's Oscar anti-post, and I've also had a few quid on Spirit of the Games. Another rogue out there. Each way
7 places. It's the sort of bet to have on that horse because, to be honest, if the Win Park cops, I'm going to say, well, I might even give it to Chap. Well, not after this week, actually. But you're betting that horse for the place element.
Really. Look, you're with Keith. It's usually not such a bad place to be. George Watts, great to have you on, George, says, come on, Teddy. He's my second pick for this, actually, George. Come on, Teddy G, a word.
I don't think that he can win.
Happy days.
So you asked for one word, I gave you 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fine. A word. Yeah, that, all right.
They're both that,
Jesus. Who have I got in tomorrow? Enzo instead. Happy days. No, okay, just give me a line then.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a solid sort of stay in time.
He showed his hand a bit more.
I mean,
he did find some trouble at Warwick when he was qualifying for this last time. He likes Cheltenham.
this sort of horse don't win this race, does it?
Did you do the feature show when we had Noel Fahili? Were you with me? I think you were for that.
Yeah, I think I was.
He said it's obviously Noel Fahili's racing club though, but this was the big day for him, wasn't it, today?
Was it?
There's been money, yeah.
Was that on New Year's Day?
I can't remember.
I had a heavy night the night before. I don't remember much.
Even in lockdown.
That show.
We've got one more social coming in. Let's keep it going. We're having great fun here now. And Dean Gripton joins the party.
Oh, no.
Good to have you, Dean. He says, Rodder's doing a Boris with his hair there. Where's your comb, man?
To be fair to them, it's thick.
5 of them are broken.
It's much thicker than Johnson's hair. Have you seen Johnson? Johnson's losing it.
Oh,
He's not.
Well, I've got this theory on locking down, and I just think the reason that he's closed all the barbers is so he wants the whole population to look like himself.
Maybe well, yeah, well.
Anyway, how do you two get your hair cut? Come on, Dave. What's your
You think
secret?
this has been cut?
You've been getting the old shavers out.
It's the missus.
Well, he can. That's
She used to work in
feasibly
a-
clippers. This has not been cut since
No, I was
December.
going to say yours is probably
How short was it, man?
Wasn't that short?
Yeah, absolutely. That could, of course, be a syrup. That would be one of the best. It's like Don King, isn't it? Absolutely. We got Don King in the studio. Happy days to see the guys in the gallery. It's all going on for them as well. I've got a quote here I want to give you guys. It is from Jack, from Henry de Bromhead, actually. Jack said he was just a little bit keen when he launched at the fence. Envoi Allen, unfortunately. That was that. Had a look at him. He looks fine. Jack's fine too, so that's good. That's from Graeme Dench. Brilliant. mention my old mentor Graeme Dench on the show as well via James Stevens. We are going to try and go into the other track for you with our reporters down there, Lewis Porteous, Lee Mottershead and James Stevens, our roving reporters down there. They've also sent me something from, it's actually from Maddie Playall as well. Nicky saying Chantry House, of course, surgery on his back since his last run at the track.
Did he tell us that before the race?
That was, of course he got, no, he didn't tell us before that race.
Right, okay.
No, funny enough, he was straight on that one. But do you remember it was when he got, when was he beaten? Was it the December meeting?
Yeah, I backed him that day.
Oh, okay. So, and there was an excuse, I think, wasn't it? Obviously, the back issues.
Yeah, I can't remember what beat him, do you? But it was disappointing, I remember, because he was odds on that day, Chantry House.
Let's get another social. Up there. What we got? They're all coming in lovely. 8S Coverdale. The old eyes really tested there. Imperial Alcazar is a stayers hurdle horse in a handicap. Should go very well. We must talk about Imperial Alcazar.
Copying David Jennings, that isn't it? That's exactly what Jennings thinks.
This is the armband, isn't it, for Jennings?
I think it is, and to be honest,
lovely.
The horse is good enough. The horse is as good as they say, I think. But does he need the mud?
I don't know.
It's a soft ground pedigree, I think, from what I remember.
Well, and he has won a 2-runner race on good to soft. That's Dave's pinning a bit of hope on that. But it's not surprised to see him maybe drifting. Because
that Warwick Classic Chase meeting, it gets very deep there, and it was deep this year. His form's all on bad ground. But in terms of the ability, I think they're absolutely spot on. This horse has got a 155, maybe a 160 in him. And off 147, that is absolutely legitimately makes him a contender. It's the conditions that are the issue for me.
Yeah, he's really well thought of, Imperial Alcazar, to give you a bit of hope there. Barry, let's bring you back in. They're jostling around at the start for the Pertemps. Who's the buzzer?
Yeah, Imperial Alcazar very strong, but the bosses Oscar, they're back in such a competitive handicap, ridiculous price now, 5.3, so a little over 9-2. Champagne Platinum in for support from 11 into 9.8. Miss Milner strong at the 15 mark. The horse we backed is out to 60. It's just all about one horse at the head of the market. Very, very strong. The bosses Oscar looks like he's been laid out for a long time, but I think readily opposable at the price.
Yeah, I wonder whether he's shown his hand a little bit much. I did think that as well.
It's just not like that Elliott Yard at all.
If you look at the historical winners of this race, he is pretty high. So it's the £7, isn't it? You're basing it on Jordan, Gainford, just basically being competent.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Jordan Gainford can ride the same race that any average jockey can ride, then the £7 is there for nothing, surely, isn't it? I mean, he's going to be fairly strong in the finish, isn't he?
What about Milliner, Barry? This is also very popular, isn't it, for them, that team?
Yeah, for Henry de Bromhead, that one.
Yeah.
The Jigginstown horse. Yeah, he's sneaks in at the bottom of the weights. Last day, third to Atlantic Shore and Punchestown wasn't a bad run. He's not a horse that he went off 11-4 favourite that day, and you can look at that run two ways. It might have just been put him spot on for this, or he was a disappointing favourite. But they did punt him that day. And,
they punted him, and they would have thought at the time that they needed to get his mark higher than 126 to get in, because this is the first time a mark that low's got in for years.
He's only 1-2. He's only 1-2-3 in Ireland. Yeah, they'd always add the English handicap will always add a few pounds on.
They would have felt they needed the penalty. So he would have been off for his life that day.
You could have been putting another stone on these horses, by the way.
This is so strong, this Fab. It's so strong. I mean, what is it?
Where does he sit in the run, G? Where does he sit in the run? Where should I be looking for him?
Where's he lining up? At the front by the looks of it. Maybe that's why the money's really piling into him. You often see on Betfair when Fancied Horse lines up towards the front, you do see sometimes a bit of a crash because
it's enough to make your mind up.
Copperhead's going forward, which is a bit surprising to me. He's not.
Why not try that with a horse?
Absolutely, yeah. It's not what you'd expect to see, but they're having a go. They're doing it a bit differently this time.
Now let's hope we get a proper start. What was the race yesterday where we had all
Cup.
sorts of Coral Cup, wasn't it?
And then the thing that got a break went and won.
He wanted someone to go and have a pop at the starter.
Yeah,
it was sad.
Send someone down there.
They should have let them go first.
Get Renton to get down there and have a go at him. He said.
Yeah, should have sent someone down. Is it the same guy today? Oh, we got a new one.
Robbie Supple.
A new bloke.
A new starter down there. Good luck then wherever you're playing in the second race of the day here. Thursday it is. Would you believe it, already at the Cheltenham Festival? So much still ahead of us. Do not get FOMO yet.
Milliner is 12 wide at the start here.
Well, Brinkley's up there as well. Another horse we've not mentioned as he wants off the ground for Team Pipe. He's finally showed his true colours this year, hasn't he? Come on, Teddy, right out the back.
You'll notice that there's 12 in the front run.
Dandy Mag, another horse from Willie Munnings. He's out the back.
Figures.
Is it she, Dandy Mag, or he? That means it's he, isn't it? Okay, Storm Goddess
Flag's
is
up.
definitely there. Flag is up there in the 155.
Nothing's too keen. They should get away.
And
Let them go.
away
Good
they
all.
go and running. And the one that I don't have on my screen who's in front is Redford Road, horse that can't jump fences for Team Twister that goes on the inside. If he's obviously no problems with stamina here.
Hope this calms down a bit, lads.
Potters, yeah, this is a cavalry charge. We're watching the
Stewards'
Commonwealth
Cup,
aren't we?
Bosses Oscar's come through to take second early doors.
Potter's
Bit
Hedges
keen,
up
is he?
there. Yeah, Boss is up there
Yeah,
a
he
little
is.
bit keen.
He is a little bit
Jordan
keen.
struggling to
Potter's
hold
Hedges
this
in
one.
front and Redford Road, and then you've got Bosses Oscar sitting in third.
I love it, Keith Melrose. Oh, the Storm Goddess!
Oh, Storm Goddess is gone.
I'll tell you what, Keeley was in the play spot despite Envoi Allen last time, but I can tell you what, that might have knocked him out. He really fancied Storm Goddess, so did Tom Segal. Tom Butley just couldn't sit that one. Spirit of the Game's out the back, right upside Imperial Alcazar and Storm arising as
I
well.
don't think they're going that fast. You what?
They steadied-
27
they have-
miles. They steadied it down. I
they
mean, the
have
first
steadied
part
it.
of this race is downhill as well.
Well, that's people often say, and I've fallen into it myself there. A commentator will say after a fence, "Oh, they're going really heavily here, lads." Don't say it. Say
Yeah.
that after
Yeah,
three
yeah, yeah.
fences. Say that
Exactly.
after 3 hurdles.
You said in the first race, pecking order, get it, and then we can just take a breather and do it. Okay, loads of horses really looking enthusiastic about the task ahead of them. Love to see that. I'm very happy with
Imperial
Champagne.
Alcazar. Oh, that was a dodgy
Shane-
jump.
Imperial Alcazar hit one,
Yeah,
did
he got in tight.
Well, he won't have gone this pace, of course, if ever. Of course, but don't remember, he did win at the track. Do you remember that Protectorat?
Yes,
the very
he
famous
did,
one.
yeah.
It was reversed, wasn't it? I think it went to court.
I forget who won and who didn't, to be honest, because
Protectorat
it got reversed that
was
many
second,
times.
wasn't he? I think, yeah. And it was Paddy Brennan coming across
They
him,
seem
but
to
he
have
has won
steadied it
it.
right down again. Now they're going to go downhill again, so you might see that speedometer
It
just
should,
kind
it
of
should,
crank
yeah.
up a little bit. as
Another
they come
horse that we didn't
downhill,
mention, Mrs. Milner, of course. Remember at the open meeting, she ran a blinder over 3 miles there, didn't she? Brian Cooper, Paul Nolan, no latest exhibition, but one of his stable stars is here. She's going quite well at the moment. What's
A
that
lot more
Keen?
zest from Copperhead today. The problem with him in early starts this season was he was showing no life at all, and he's looking a lot more enthusiastic today.
I'd really hope if you've been back in Copperhead, you've had at least a
You don't
small
put the
five
evil
on it.
eye on
he's
him,
gone.
Melrose.
Kansas City Chief, I think it is.
Yes, it was Kansas City
The
Chief.
evil eye of Melrose, says Barry, on Copperhead, just sitting there quietly. Let's get some market movers then, Barry. The boss is Oscar. Where is he now?
Kansas City Chief gone. The boss is Oscar 4.4. The Betfair SP at 4.5. So no real move in him. 7.2 Imperial Alcazar. 7.6 Milner. Brinkley 18.5 now. Had a Betfair SP of 25. And what else is up there? Redford Road is 60. He's leading.
Thank you very much, Barry. Or Keeper Hill catching my out wide. Could he just put it all
Oh,
together?
loose horse. Might
Hello.
cause some damage.
Here we go, loose one coming. We're in the home straight,
He's
basically.
he's
We're
still
jumping,
better of it.
we're jumping the last first time round.
Going to go and go off down, yeah.
Boss is Oscar. That was beautiful. Skipped around that beautifully, didn't he? No problems. Let's look at the horse down
This
the
horse
bottom.
has gone
Giggins
straight
down.
home, so that's good.
There is a loose horse in the middle of the pack, though, right next to the
Yeah,
boss
there
of
is,
Oscar,
yeah.
which could cause problems
We've
there.
got Mrs. Milner and Milliner, of course. Milliner for Rachel Blackhead. Just lost a position.
Oh,
or two.
Keeper's Hill seems to be having it today,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's loving it. My horse, Champagne Platinum, tanking along upsides him. Imperial Alcazar just getting maybe a little bit closer. When do they rev it up, Mr. Melrose? We're on the far side.
Probably now, because this bit is slightly downhill. They run downhill for a long way, and then they go up for the last bit to jump the last one at the top of the hill. And it's that point where you see the camera pans, you see a real slope downwards, and that's when the racing really starts for position.
Do you think, just because there were a few winners yesterday, weren't there, that got a really fairly easy lead and just kicked off the front and never get caught?
Oh, heaven help us.
Yeah, do you think that maybe the lack of a crowd this year, the jockeys aren't quite as revved up or
Well, someone said they thought it was the Ida, didn't they, in the Coral Cup, and they let him go, and they had another lap, of course. But no, this time they're certainly not letting anyone go. Interestingly, I'll tell you who's catching my eye. You know what I mean, Harry. He's usually out the back at this point. The old Stayers Hurdle winner. Wow.
Which
he's-
cap is he, sorry?
He is one of the
Star
green
caps.
green with the white star. No comment. The other one too keen out the back, I'd imagine, for him. Just seen one cracking right out the back. Perfect man. He was one of the rags. So we are approaching what?
So
three
this
out,
is this is coming at the top of the hill. Is it 3 out?
I think it's 4 out. This must
4
be.
out,
I
yeah,
always
yeah,
get
yeah.
it wrong. Okay, all to play for still. Now they're starting to wing. Brinkley going really well. Team Pond House will be looking for one. Didn't really see a stride there though. Champagne Platinum starting to warm up for Team Henderson and JP McManus. Looking for the boss's Oscar. Still up
not?
there,
On the
Jim.
outside, yeah, Jordan
Here
just
comes a
making the
fanning
move.
out. They're going to turn the bend out.
Imperial Alcazar, DJ will
Oh,
get
Trouble
it.
on the inside.
Oh, that was who
Release
was that got
horse.
mullered?
Copperhead was involved. Anything will do
Anything will
got
do.
smashed.
Okay, and
I think
Imperial
Mrs. Milner
Alcazar
got
had
pushed
to
back.
pirouette around that as well, but he's still going fine. Ask Dylan out the back at the moment as well. Storm Rising, he's getting nice and warm on the inside with Bryony. Now we're really getting it. Call it, Mr. Melrose.
I think the ones at the front are the ones you want, because I don't think they've gone that hard. I think those that have been out the back and taken their chance are going to struggle to get involved in this. Keeper Hill is spun wide.
Boss
You're
is
gonna get
Oscar's
about-
cruising, isn't
Yes,
he?
come
is
on,
cruising.
Jordan.
There's quite a few cruising.
Loose horse. We're jumping
Loose
2
horse.
out now, loose horse.
one.
Oh, okay, Champagne
Come on,
Platinum just
Jordan.
spotted. Imperial
Buses
Alcazar
Oscar,
starts.
look.
Come on,
Nice.
Platinum.
Jordan.
Come on, Platinum on the inside. This is where it all goes out the
272
window.
Oscar.
The commentary. Platinum, Champagne Platinum's about to take it up. Boss is Oscar absolutely cruising. He looks the one at the minute, doesn't he? Okay, we're coming to last. Go on, Champagne Platinum. You've got the rags to pass. This is your day in the sun, my friend. Come on up then. Could this be, oh my goodness, Mrs. Milner on the inside. Boss is Oscar's getting outpaced in a minute. Champagne Platinum starting to feel it now. He's gone too soon. Mrs. Milner, we've got, I believe we've frozen on our TVs. Unbelievable what's
Lost
going
the
on.
finish.
Okay, Mrs. Milner jumps to last. He
Oh,
finds
she's
she's
well
got
clear,
this.
well clear.
Champagne Platinum, Storm Rising, coming up the back.
Come on, Harry,
Come on,
get-
Teddy.
get fifth,
Boss
Harry.
is Oscar finding absolutely nothing. This is one-way traffic. Fair play, Paul Nolan. No latest exhibition. Mrs. Milner clings on. Absolutely fantastic up the hill. Boss is Oscar second. I don't know about the placed horses. I absolutely lost it there.
Yeah, we lost about 6 seconds there, didn't we?
Something like that. Brian Cooper, massive day in the sun for him. It seems like a long time ago that Brian was the man at the Cheltenham Festival, Don Cossack, etc. He punches the air, something we've not seen a great deal of this season.
Come on, Teddy's third.
Boss is Oscar second. Come on, Teddy
Milner
third.
fourth.
Milner fourth. Champagne
Champagne
Platinum, thank
fifth.
the Lord, fifth. Ask Dylan steaming up the hill in sixth. Dandy Mag seventh and eighth.
Eighth. The fate of all great each way bets.
Spirit of the games, eighth.
He got left plenty to do with just picking them off. I think he bet the farm and I'm going too hard and it didn't come off for him.
Wow, okay. You could sense I got a little bit excited there. I had a really nice position about Champagne Platinum. I think he probably went a little bit too soon. He's just one of those that once he gets to the front, potentially. Boss's Oscar didn't find much, did he, G? I mean,
Well,
he
I don't know.
absolutely
I don't know.
cruising.
Take the winner out and he wins, don't he? I mean, I just think.
Yeah,
that,
but this has not looked like a horse that, I mean, she was beaten on merit pretty much. She was a really close finish, do you remember, at the November meeting? Was it the 3-mile race she was in? Pappy Powell's on that day, wasn't she? And she fell last time out, and I don't know.
Shall I tell you
she
what?
looks solid, but she's not seen this performance coming.
This is one of those ones that you know it's easy when you see it go past the line and you know it hits you. But I spoke to David Jennings at the start of the week and asked him why there was no latest exhibition this year, and he said, "Oh, Paul doesn't fancy coming over. It's complicated, and not sure he can beat Monkfish. He's not bringing that many over. He's going to save them all for Furious." Well,
He must have rued that decision yesterday, by
But
the
the-
way,
you
the
know,
way
the-
Monkfish won.
this is his only runner all week, Paul Nolan.
Yeah, and again, we think about Paul Nolan, some of his old stars that used to run Barry,
Accordion
of
at
course.
12, yep.
Barry, let's go to you then. That was the Pertemps. When did they know Mrs. Milner was the one?
Yeah, well before the last, that's for sure. When it scooted clear, had the company of the loose horse as well to keep them going. The Boss's Oscar traded a short of 2.32. Your Horse Champagne Platinum traded a low of 4-1. No real massive in-running stories. There was just so much going on in those races. It's hard to really focus in and pick one out, isn't it, for a lot of players?
Yeah, I think let's concentrate on the ground here a little bit because it has beaten a few, hasn't it? I think certainly Imperial Alcazar, slightly rough race, I think, but the sun bleating down. If you've been following DJ all year with that one, he just
But what
got
do you mean?
tapped for toe, didn't he?
Well, he's got in tight to a couple of hurdles there.
That's ground though, isn't it? It's so different jumping on
No,
this
you
sort of
can't
ground.
say it's ground.
It's
It might
because
be.
of the pace they're going. You see what I mean?
I know what you're saying, and it can be that, is what I'm saying. It's not. I wouldn't just say, oh, it's that. It can be that for definite.
Are you suggesting it's the big field that's done him there? Because he was one of the small.
What
field
happens in a lot
one
of
at
the time,
Warwick.
and one of my handicap bets of the week, one for the team, it happened to him, is when the pace lifts, if you make mistakes at that stage, you are dead.
You're gone.
Finished. And I think that's what's happened here. Paddy's he's scraped the paint all the way. He's hit 4 out here, and this is 3 out they're coming to. We're watching the replay now, and I think he hits 3 out as well. Nope, that was a 4 out that he must have made the mistake before. He's jumped that fine, he's scraping pin up the inside, and we'll see what happens, because I think what happens as well is there's a loose horse on the inside coming down the hill. I think they all go wide to avoid the loose horse. And then all of a sudden, Paddy Brennan's not in a good spot anymore, even though he's scraped the paint all the way.
This is where it gets really tight, isn't it? The loose horse on the inside causes
Mrs. Milner actually gets caught up in it, look.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She's lost a length there, hasn't she, at least?
And actually gets in the way of Imperial Alcazar, who nips up her inside and is now in a better spot than the winner.
Yeah, I was getting very excited coming to 2 out because Champagne Platinum was travelling well. Is
that right, Dave?
What's that, sorry? Is that all right? You're wondering if I got excited or
Tell you
not?
what, I'll play it poker. We're going to get a poker school going after this because I'm going to take you home.
There are calmer alternatives out there for you if you'd like them. But this is the great thing about it. You see what we back. It's what we do, isn't it? You know, we put our money where our mouths are to a certain extent, unlike other alternatives out there. But
look at the 2-out mistake from Imperial Alcazar.
Yeah, that
was
the one. So he's belted that, but he's still.
That's the end of the day. That's the end of the game for him.
So you're calling it errors. I'm calling it ground. Probably was the reason why maybe
there were errors, and maybe it was because of ground and fast-paced that happened, but it was definitely errors.
Yeah, I'm looking for eye catches in behind. Come on, Teddy's won another belt. He really likes Cheltenham, doesn't he? Spirit of the game is just think Harry Skelton's thinking, well, I'll wait until everything looks like they're exhausted.
He bet the farm and I'm going too hard, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
He sort of tried to ride him to get the trip.
A little bit too, but he's a horse that throws his head in the air if he gets there.
He has to come there at the last with everything else.
Yeah.
Sort of
I said I'd be surprised if he jumped last in the first 6. He's jumped at 9th.
Yeah.
You know, he's made up another place. Imperial Alcazar has stopped to a walk after the last. I don't know what's happened to him.
Okay, and the stablemate Ars Dillon, as I said, he would look like an eye catcher as well. Well done to anyone that found Mrs. Milner out there. She got that course experience in November. Turns out some better ground. This is her time of year. Absolutely flying. I wonder if they'll go over fences next. Surely they will. Lots of applause, actually, we're seeing for Brian Cooper coming back in amongst the Irish lads and lasses out there adorning the stairs. That's great to see. This is a massive moment for Brian Cooper. I'm sure that we will be getting the story on this because he went absolutely into the wilderness. He went from, talk about when you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. It was wilderness stuff.
The two worst things to be are injury prone and the main rider for Gigginstown. And he was both. And that's what poor old Brian suffered for. He was a great jockey, Brian.
But Willie Mullins has put quite a bit of faith in him this season. Paul Nolan's always lent on him as well. I mean, that was one where he probably just didn't have to do a great deal. But that I guess that melee before the second last was it after the second last, before the second last, that where the loose horse, was it just after, was it? So look, she's done really well to win that. You can mark her up. I don't know. The Pertemps Network is always, every year, it's a race that worth talking about. And sometimes they can work out to be great form.
Brinkley's going to be a good chaser next year.
Which one?
Brinkley.
Yeah, he wants softer ground as well, doesn't he? I think to absolutely be at his best. And there's Joey Green. Dave-O, we love your enthusiasm. Aye. I could be in the pub watching it with you. Maybe next year, Joey
Imagine Dave
Green.
Orton in a pub.
Oh, I know. Masks on,
everyone
please,
else
lads.
would go. We're the only one left.
There would be an exclusion zone. Social distancing.
I do struggle to leave them, in fairness. I really, really do. Yeah, listen, let's hope we're all back in the pub. Cheers, Joey Green. Great to have you on. Super duper. All right, we're not far away from the 2:30. It is the Ryanair. How are we doing after race 2? Envoi Allen lives to fight another day. Has that made you go out and walk the dog? Did you need some fresh air? Or were you on Chantry House? Let us know. Did you find Miss Milner? Did you get one of those extended places? Let us know. Okay, Barry Orr. Let's get the market up, shall we? Guys in the gallery for the Ryanair. We're going to need a long time to talk about this race because someone very neatly put this to me overnight. He said, I've backed every horse in this race and had a win out of them. They're all favourite horses in this. Barry Orr, Will Allaho, he was the anti-post market leader. Will he find his way that way on the race day?
He's just been usurped at the top of the market by his stable companion now, Min, who's 5.2, 5.4 Allaho, Fakar Dudar Rees 8.6, Sam Crow. He seems to be a forgotten about horse here, 8.4, 9.2 Mellon, Imperial Aura 9.6. 10-5 Mr. Fisher. You keep going on. Every single one of them seems to have a decent chance in it. You can't really rule anything out in the race. But the horse I like is Imperial Aura. I backed it last year when it won the festival handicap. That was the last running of that race. That has given way. You look at this horse's record. He's 12 runs. He's 7 wins. He's second twice and he's third twice. The only blot in his copybook was last day when he unseated David Bass. He didn't fall. He unseated him. He went off even money favour for that. Just think he's been the forgotten horse. That was back in January. They've put him away since. I'm sure he's going to be coming here in fine fettle. And I just think he's a bit of value at around the 10 mark. So we're going to have 25 quid win on him, please, Keith, in the win market. And I'm happy to be a price taker here 9.8, 10, around that mark. And then we're going to back him in just the standard 3 places. You can bet down 2, 3, 4, or 5 places here on the Betfair Exchange. But 25 quid in the win market to win around 200 odd quid. And then back him in the 3 places, just the standard place terms. Happy to have 25 quid on him there and just be a price taker again. Just think he's the forgotten horse of the race, Dave, in a wide open contest. Haven't really a massively strong opinion on it. But when you go back to him winning that Itchy Feet back in November in Ascot, he just looked really good that day. Now, I know Itchy Feet been very disappointing horse for Ollie Murphy, but that was a grade 2 race, and he's a horse that was on the up all the way through last year. Accumulated with a nice win at the festival. He's had 2 good wins this season, and then that blot in his copybook, like I said. So I'm willing to forgive him that in a wide open contest.
Thank you, Barry Orr. Forgotten about horse then, Imperial Orr. I want to cover, let's start with Imperial Orr. Why not? Bidding to give the Imperial Syndicate, Imperial Alcazar, it was a disappointment for them in the Pertemps. This could be a bang back. And a good judge I know is absolutely all over this. In the last 10 years, the one horse to win this with a letter next to their name rather than a number was a U. Quizmaster Melrose, can you name it?
A U.
And the U is actually the key here.
Oh, I can't. Was it? Oh, Ryanair winners? No.
I mean,
Shattered Love, no?
No.
Did she win it?
She won a Marsh, didn't she?
Did she?
Yeah, she won the
Marsh.
Marsh.
Lots of people confuse that.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
It was an Alan King trained horse.
Alexandra.
I got it.
It was a guess.
It was a U in more than one. It was double U.
Was that famously McCoy's last Cheltenham winner, wasn't it?
It was the horse that threatened so much, wasn't it? And he won that. He sort of came out on top. That was a massive celebration from AP that day, wasn't it? So it can be done, is what I'm trying to say. Weak Sandra.
Well, the better hope that it can be done, because half this field have got letters by them.
Someone very cleverly telling me Alberta's run in 2011 pulled up before this as well. So that gives Min another chance. I mean, if any horse can win this, with a P next to his name, it's Nin. But can we talk about Imperial Aura first? Let's go down the line.
I mean, I'm not... The forgotten horse angle is one I'm not so sure on, because he's never run on a grade 1, but I absolutely get his class is there, isn't it? He's a very good horse. When you was anti-post favourite for this race, or near about most of the winter, you were not anticipating this field turning up against him.
Oh no,
that's the thing, isn't it? He was the fact he was untested at this level was always priced in at a time where you thought it'd be Min, Alaho, and him. But you've got so much more in here. It's a very, very tough ask for him. It's several degrees higher than anything he's faced before.
However, if passing the line, G, when he won that novice handicap last year, if you could have asked Kim Bailey what conditions he would like for Imperial or in a Ryanair bid, something similar to what we've seen in the skies this week, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be, yeah. But I don't like the horse very much. He's not a horse that I've warmed to over the year. I just think that he has been a bit overrated.
The U, of course, we should say, behind Master Tommy Tucker.
He's a bigger price now.
He sort of looked at the photographer we were hearing, wasn't it? That's what Dave Bass seemed to think. Apparently, he's a horse that has not quite mentally put it all in yet.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I'm always a bit
lukewarm on him.
It may not surprise you that I don't believe everything that jockeys and trainers tell me. I don't know. Like,
shock horror.
Again, I've never ridden a horse, so this is completely. But
if you're right, ever sat on a horse ever?
No, obviously no. Look, you've seen the size of me.
I mean, not even sat. I've sat on a horse, man. It didn't go well. Let me tell you. I mean, I was probably about 8.
I don't know. I'd love to have a jockey. If we had like Batch or something like that, he could tell me. But I don't know. If you're sitting on top of a horse, can you really see if a horse is looking at the camera?
Yeah, but they
have just had a look to the camera. Can you? I don't know. Next time we get a jockey, and just ask him for me. I mean, I'm not saying you can't. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just questioning that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So you think they might be giving the horse a bit of an excuse. What a surprise. Okay, so we've done Imperial Aura. If he becomes back, he needs a PB, obviously. But he's, when he won at Ascot, like Barry, this looked like it was his race. Okay, let's start with Min, please, Keith.
Well, Min can, obviously, he did win the race last year, and I would be more willing than most to forgive the run last time, where he was pulled up. The Dublin Chase was Chacun Poursois race. Min was probably there to get him spot on for this. Made a couple of uncharacteristic jumping mistakes. Patrick Mullins was riding him, wasn't he? Who's not his regular rider, and he absolutely bellied one down the back, and that was it. He just pulled him up after it, because it was, that's not why we're here today, lads. Pulled him up straight away, so disregard that run. He's back, and he is 10 now. So that's, you're hoping that maybe a younger horse could improve past him. But anybody that's backing Min you can't have a go at them for it because he's absolutely solid.
He's a worldie, isn't he? And you need to be a worldie to bounce back. It was too bad to be true. Patrick did the right thing at Dublin Festival. Let's get the tips out of the way before we go with the rest. Is Min the tip?
No, I have backed 5 in this race.
Oh, what a surprise. Here we
I just
go.
looked-
Who's the headline?
As I said in the preview night, I wouldn't thought Allaho was going to win this Ryanair since we were all washing our shopping. So
You're the only one here on this panel that thinks that, I think.
Well, I've backed him, and I've had to sort of go and make sure he was a really good result for me. Mr. Fisher each way, I was on that angle again.
Now you're getting warmer.
Yeah, I was, before this race was going to turn out as warm as it did, I went back to each way. I'm now thinking, well, that might be sunk. And I've actually backed probably the 3 outsiders of the whole field. I'll tell a lie, I've not backed Tornado Flyer. I've backed Kalashnikov, all tiny stakes here, by the way. Kalashnikov, Chris's Dream, and Fanion D'Estraval.
Yes.
All for tiny
Will
stakes.
you stop with this Fanion D'Estraval thing? This has been your big... Did you back him in the game spirit? This has been
no,
your...
I didn't.
You and Tom Segal have... you've been waiting for the monstrous performance.
After the reason I didn't back him in the game spirit is after the Victor Chandler, or the Clarence House, not the Victor Chandler anymore.
Yes, you ran all right in that.
I thought, I'm not backing him until he goes to 2.5 miles now.
So, because he was a flyer in the market, wasn't he, in the game spirit? He couldn't go to pace.
What I see with Fanion D'Estraval is you look at Fakir Dudery, who's about 7-1 for this race, right? Everybody's been desperate for this horse to go up to 2.5 miles and get 2.5 miles. I've been the same with Fanion D'Estraval, and his form's £5 worse. Fakir Dudery's 8s, Fanion D'Estraval 70. So I've got to have a small bet on.
The problem is, though, Keith, is fencing with him, isn't it? That's been the...
Up in trip is partly for his fencing because he can just make an absolutely howling error.
So you're hoping that slower rhythm will help him.
He was probably going to be 3rd or 4th, or maybe even better in the Peterborough Chase here with Mr. Fisher.
Yeah,
and
he would have
Kalashnikov
run close in that. Yeah.
And Clondalk Castle was the horse in 3rd, and he's obviously come out and won the Old Racing Post Chase very well.
Peterborough form looks great, doesn't it?
His form is so much better than an 80s chance, but the race is so competitive.
Yeah, Chris's Dream. Ground would be my query mark. We spoke about him when he came into the office this morning. I said he does tick boxes for this.
He does. He's another horse that he ran in the Gold Cup last year and patently didn't stay. He barely stays 3 miles. He got outstayed really by the Storyteller in the Down Royal Champion Chase. 2.5, stiff 2.5 is exactly what the horse wants, and his form's as good as. His form's not far off Allaho's, to be quite honest. And again, you can back him at 40. So it's just these horses are being forgotten about because, there's not enough room for all these horses in the Ryanair. It's such a competitive race.
Yeah.
But if you told me Chris's Dream would be 40 for the Ryanair, I'd say that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I can tell. I can definitely see why you're thinking, why on earth is Kalashnikov twice the price of Mr. Fisher as well? First time
his
cheap
jumping,
pieces on.
He's another horse you go, if this horse ever jumps. And
He won running the Denman Chase, didn't he?
He did.
I thought that's absolutely as far as he wants to go.
Probably is. And he's the bad jumping's so set now that you just don't think he'll ever do it, but he's such a likeable horse otherwise that you can't help yourself but maybe just think he will one day. And so I've done it again. And so I've backed the 3 rags of the field.
And Allaho on top.
And Allaho on top. And Mr. Fisher each way.
Yeah, okay.
And he post.
Now he's talking, isn't he, G, with Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, I'm quite nervous coming into this one because I've not had a great festival so far. This is one of my strongest bets of the whole week. I really fancy Mr. Fisher. Really fancy him. Sometimes you just get a gut feeling about a race for a horse. A lot of people seem to have a gut feeling for Imperial Aura for this race all season. But for me, this race has always been Mr. Fisher's to go and win.
Same.
I think that I saw him win there last year at Cheltenham. Before the whole COVID thing, when you were actually allowed to go, he was very impressive there as a novice. I think that was over 2.5, his first run over 2.5. And when he won that race, I thought, he could be a real Ryanair horse next year. Then he really went and proved it, didn't he, in the Peterborough Chase last time out. He likes good ground. He acts really well over the course and distance. He touchwood. He's usually a very sound jumper. Nicky Henderson has just gone in with Chantry House in a very similar sort of race. It's the sort of thing that Nicky Henderson excels with, isn't it? This sort of horse. He's 168, I think, for the Peterborough.
Yes.
Which only leaves him, I think, £4 off Min's absolute best. He surely is going forward quicker than Min will be. Min is surely coming back.
Yeah.
Dashel Drasher was 171. He doesn't run. For me, he's got the highest figure in the race, bar Min, and he's the most progressive horse in the race. And we did a few things about Nicky Henderson coming into this, didn't we, Keith? We ran out some stats on the Henderson horses, and what often happens with Henderson horses is for their prep run they're there, and then at Cheltenham they go like that.
Chantry House.
Yeah, they just suddenly at Cheltenham they find £5 or £6.
Yeah.
If Mr. Fisher finds £5 or £6, he will win this race.
Yes, I love that. I'm absolutely adoring to hear that because he is my nap of the day. Mr. Fisher, 100%. I'm all over this. They were keen to run him in the Ascot Chase.
Yeah, because you've got a mole at the Henderson yard.
I do get the odd rumour coming out, and the one horse this week, Bar Shishkin, that you know when sometimes you get a trainer that's like, you know, when you got someone that wants something to run in I just wish the Guineas was now, or something like that. I wish the Gold Cup was now. All week we wish the Ryanair was now. He has been in savage form, to coin Henry de Bromhead's saying. This horse is savage at home at the minute. And what I love about this horse, at the start of his career, they weren't sure about him off a flat track. They weren't sure about him on soft ground. You remember, he ran no sort of race in the Supreme. He started to get bashed with a few sticks there. He came into last year's Marsh, which was a super race. Sam Crow, of course, came out on top that day. They're around about the same price, aren't they now? And he on that, you know, he can't win this, but he was just getting going. It's a big thing with Aplutard, I think, who I like. You don't like him for the Gold Cup. We won't get into that conversation now. Watch back Aplutard, and all he does is stay on. You watch back these previous festival races, Happy Go Lucky in the Mountain Pipe last year, for example, second in an Ultima. This horse was just getting going at the end of that race. Immaturity has been the thing. One thing that he showed us in the Peterborough was that he's a bit more of a man now, and he found. There's an early error in that, I think. I also like the fact that Nico is going to do what he did on Chantry House and just sit just behind the leaders.
It's what he needs to do, because the thing with this horse, remember he ran in the Paddy Power Gold Cup and he basically went home crying to his mummy a little bit, didn't he?
The ground, it was wheel spinning, they thought, that day, but it was a remarkable change from first to second run for this horse.
Yeah, it was, and its form has generally been in smaller fields, and this very competitive Ryanair maybe won't suit him as well as a smaller one might have. But if Nico de Boinville is going to sit off...
Well, he's won the first. He's gone for glory before the last on Champagne Platinum, who obviously the Betfarians quite rightly thought he's gone too soon on him. But he'll be full of himself now, Nico. Having, you know, he's got Shishkin off the mark. He's on a treble all of a sudden, isn't he? And Team Henderson, amazing how it swings this game, isn't it? Always at half time you see it. They'll be really fancying him. Look, that's Mr. Fisher. I'll throw another one into the mix. Maybe I'll come to Barry on this. Fakir Du Dairies. He's been some gamble for this, Barry, hasn't he?
Yeah, really has, Dave. Into 8 now. Looks like clear third favourite. Has been as big as 10.5. Only for small money now at 10.5. Bigger sums at 9.28. 9.7. 10.55 is 159 quid match. So down from that price all the way down to what's trading at now, which is into 13-2 since I start talking, even 7.8 now. So really, really strong. The trip should suit. This should be his ideal trip. Obviously, started him out over the 3 miles in Leopardstown, didn't get home. But then his last day, we were watching the race. David was on Racing Post Live, and he ran considerably better, obviously, to finish second that day behind the good horse. And it's a trip that should suit him.
Yeah, Chacun Pour Soi, of course, wasn't it? And I thought that they might go to the Marsh with him last year. They went to the Arkle, of course. We've seen the Arkle form, extremely well advertised. Start of the week, we were told that JP was with the owner. This is one of his plays. I thought at one point he might even go off favourite. It looks now that Allaho's got the stronghold there. This is again Mullins money, I think we're seeing here now. But Fakir Du Dairy?
Yeah, he's been a horse. There's been people I've been seeing for a good year now. Wait until this horse gets 2.5 miles, and he's not had it yet. He's run over 2. He went up to 3 for the Savills, didn't he? And that was a bit of a field experiment. But he's gone back 2 after that, finished second to Chacun Pour Soi, and now he gets the trip that the fans have always said this is the trip for him. I'm sort of not quite as convinced as some, but you know, the people that say you're going to see the best of Fakir Du Dairy at X a point, I've basically been seeing about today.
Yeah, he was my dark horse in the analysis in the preview book we did. Didn't look very dark now, does he? At 13-2. Okay, let's get some socials up on the screen. Great preview there from the guys on this. I'm really glad, Ronan McGinley, that you have said Sam Crow banker, because he was going to be my next horse to talk about. Let's go. What a surprise. It's another one from Big Toe Dan 50. There's an image. Sam Crow, dark horse. Well, there has been money for Sam Crow, hasn't there? Barry, what price was it at the start of the week? He was probably around about 10s, wasn't he? Now scouting around the 6.5 point. Last year's Marsh winner in front of Mr. Fisher, of course.
Matched at a high of around 14 into the 8 mark now, Dave. Again, it was quite an illiquid market at 14, just 102 quid matched at that price. Obviously, he's pulled up last day behind that Plutard. That was in the Savills over 3 miles. I don't know. He's one of those horses. Like, he's never truly, what is he, a dual festival winner? But he's never truly seemed to fulfill his potential. There was all the things wrong with him. They've done his weigh-in. They put him in a box where he was facing outside. Literally, he had a back garden, his box in Gordon Elliott's Calantry yard. They've tried everything with the horse. And I think overall, he's been a little bit disappointing. And he's 2 ways of running. They thought they bottomed him last year in that race behind Faugheen in Limerick at Christmas. He went on then, and then he went on to finish second, or to win, beat Mellon and Nose, didn't he, at the festival?
Yeah.
And then he hasn't won since, and he pulled up last day. So be a watch and brief for him at the moment with me.
Okay, great insight there onto Sam Grove. We know that so many of you love him out there. That year he won the Ballymore. Everyone thought he was the second coming, didn't they? Of course, he won the Marsh last year, so it hasn't quite been plain sailing since. Could easily bounce back. Another horse bidding to bounce back. Mellon, the aforementioned Mellon. Brian Cooper on a quick double. Graeme, Mellon, second at the festival.
Do not like this horse.
Okay.
I think that I don't like him in a battle.
Keith is in stitches, I think. You never know what you're going to get with him, do you?
Do not like this horse in a battle at all. I think that he always
great jumper of a fence,
always
though,
going to
isn't
come
he?
off second best.
For one of these champion hurdle horses, it's hard for when a horse is allowed to go beyond a certain age to try and win the champion hurdle, because if you really want to be a good novice chase, you've got to be 6, 7, young horse, and then when you're 8, 9, you can go for the biggies. And this chap has had to reinvent himself. He got called a couple of names in his novice season, failed by a Nats whatever to win the Marsh, and it was very unlucky in the Savills because Patrick let him stride on because he was jumping so well. They held on to him last time, not so good, but he's a pace angler, isn't he?
Yeah, well, they're going to have to ride in the same way as they did at Leopardstown, won't they?
What do you think? Do you think to try and hold him?
I think they've run this horse as a pacemaker in the champion hurdle before. So they'll probably run him with Hallihoe and Min up there. They'll probably run him as a pacemaker here.
Who did they run him a pacemaker for? Hurricane Fly, was it?
Possibly. Well, it was after that. It was after that. Faugheen, possibly.
Oh, Faugheen, of course. Sorry, yeah, of course.
Or Annie Power, maybe.
Now, this is an interesting angle on the race, isn't it? I'm so glad that we had so long to talk about the Ryanair, because you've got Mellon, likes to get on with it. You've got Allaho, definitely likes to get on with it, and you've got Min, who pretty much made all in this race.
All trained by Mullins, though.
All trained by Mullins. So what sort of gallop are we going to have?
Well, that's because they're all trained by the same person. That's exactly the scenario in which one will be allowed to lead.
So do we see? And here's the other rhetoric, which is really interesting. You've got this Rachel Blackmore has got Paul Townend in her pocket. Do you remember you say that about Davy Russell with certain jockeys, didn't they? Or certain jockeys with Davy Russell. And is this going to be another case where she's like, we're going to go in a minute, Paul, off we go, and she's harded it all the way up the running?
Well, who would commit first for home out of those two? Probably Allaho, I would have thought.
Because this is why I'm surprised. I'm glad that I got this line in. I'm surprised you've gone with Allaho, because I thought this wasn't the sort of horse you liked. Who hasn't shown exactly what he really needs yet.
Yeah, they've tried to make him a 3-miler when he was never a 3-miler.
He's the shunter. He could run in anything,
Well, they could, but he couldn't run over 3 miles because he doesn't stay.
He doesn't quite stay. I agree.
And this was always the race to which he's going to show his best. I get it. He's on form. He's a 12's chance, but he is going. This is the conditions that you thought were always going to be best for him. Mellon's going to give him a lead, and that's the case for Allaho here. When I said last year, I thought after the RSA, I thought he'd win this race. I wasn't expecting this strong a field, but when you thought a horse is going to win a race for a year, you need to back it up on the day. I think a little bit. It's a bit of a fallacy, but
this is an acid test for Allaho, isn't it? Definitely. Okay, let's give the last word to Barry. Then it looks like he is now going to go off favourite, Barry.
Yeah, he's 4.7 now, so he's particularly strong of the 3 Willie Mullins horses. He's 7-2 and hardening all the time. 6.0 Min and Mellon 10.5 out to 11 now. Actually, Mellon, but Packer Dudarri is strong, so it's Allaho and Packer Dudarri according to the market.
Super duper stuff from Barry Orr as ever. Okay, so Imperial Aura for Barry. Clean sweep, Mr. Fisher's down there. Keith's thrown in a couple for you as well. Good luck wherever you are playing. I believe, Quizmaster, you are going to take the call on this one.
I do. I want to have a go at
Fancy
calling
a
this
wee
one.
pop, don't you? Like a Bruce Millington in the making here.
Well, no, Bruce absolutely loves it, doesn't he? He's like a dog at the door trying to get it for his run.
Put the kettle on steam's home. Let's get a quick social before the off then. Final social coming in before the Ryanair. It's from Amster 420. Come on, Allaho! With all the exclamation marks to go as well. He does have a massive following, this horse.
A man called Amster 420 to be a bit more placid than that.
Yeah, well, listen, if you're going to ask a guy to pronounce a horse like me, make sure you've got exclamation marks on the back of it. I'm really, really excited for this then. We're seeing them line up, G, down at the start. It looks like the one that's going to be ridden cold, not surprisingly perhaps, is Tornado Flyer. Otherwise, there's 8 horses lining up for the lead.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised Allaho's not lining up, is he? He's lining up behind Mr. Fisher, is he? Or alongside him?
Alongside him. So I think, Imperial Aura's not having any of this. David Bass is not being dictated to by the Mullins horses, basically. He's going to sit up there with whatever leads it looks like. Mellon is the Mullins horse that looks like he's going forward. And Min's going to stay prominent as well. Allaho is going to be held up along with Chris's Dream.
Off we go. The
and
flag
Tornado
is
Flyer.
up
The
there.
flag is raised. They're going a bit quickly here.
You're kidding. What was wrong with that?
They were going too fast. They definitely were there.
What?
They were going at a full
That was
gallop.
absolutely fine. Let's see if anyone's been really put off by that. Thankfully, Mr. Fisher, absolutely lovely. Yeah, a couple. I don't know, mate. Yeah, we're fine, aren't we? But I would have let them go. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's... You definitely think that's ridiculous.
I definitely would have let them go, yeah.
They're going too fast in a Ryanair to the first benchmark.
Well, there'd have been 8 dead if they jumped at that quick. It'd be
I
ridiculous.
don't know about that. I think. Look, what are we expecting? What do they expect is going to happen next time? All these horses want to lead. So this is running into the homework a bit, these starters.
Now, is he
They were going faster there than in the Coral Cup.
Not
guaranteed.
standing start now,
Is it the same fella? Because the last yesterday he made them all stand there like a
for your
standing
ticker
start.
it's not.
And he's
Yeah.
not meant to. He's meant to make them all come in again. Look, he is.
No, they get a walking start second time, don't
Walking
that's
start.
better.
There, they're off and running.
Perfect.
There we go. Exactly like the first.
perfect.
Over to Quizmaster to call home the Ryanair.
So Min's taking lead unexpectedly in the first and run to the first. Min is going to take off in front.
Oh.
And Kalashnikov's got it a bit tight. Finding Destraval was a bit... he's at the back of the field with Chris's Dream and Tornado Flyer. Kalashnikov in midfield along with Fakir Dudari. Min still leads as they get towards the second. He jumps it clear with Allaho. And on the outside, there is Imperial Aura. Sam Crow on the outside as well, taking a strong grip. Mr. Fisher is in behind the leaders. And Kalashnikov's at the back along with Tornado Flyer. Chris's Dream, finding Destraval last of all. Mellon looks to have been the loser out of the second start because he is 4th last.
Yeah, and I would say his chance has been compromised with results. So here we go. This is the bumper Mark 2, isn't it? Kilroot versus Galahad, Rachel, and Paul Townend's not having a bit of it at all, is it? Interesting this, and good to see for the game. I know they're 2 owners, but we see a lot of team tactics on the flat. We have seen it a bit over jumps as well. Not this time. They've gone clear, G.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of pace to the race, and I'm quite happy with our positioning 3rd or 4th for you, Dave, with Mr. Fisher.
He took a little bit of a keen hold. You can see Nico didn't want to get far back over the first couple. It lit him up, but now he's in a beautiful position.
Jumping the third now, and it's Rachel Blackmore is in front now slightly. Tornado Flyer's made another mistake there. He's made 3 or 4 already, and there's not even been that many fences. Now it's a clear lead for Allaho coming down to this fence, ridden into it, and now gets a couple of lengths clear. They're all over that safely, no mistakes there. There's probably about 15 lengths first to last. Allaho is taking a strong grip. Rachel Blackmore is going to do well to hold on to him through this race, it looks like, because that horse is going to take a fierce hold.
You wouldn't want to let him go, though, would you? They're coming up to the 4th here. You wouldn't really want to let him go. Imperial Aura and Mr. Fisher are trying to keep tabs.
No, absolutely, and he has jumped that one. Oh, Chris's Dream has hit that one. That was a bad mistake. So we've got the 2 are clear. There's about 4 lengths after Min. So Imperial Aura, Mr. Fisher, Mellon, Kalashnikov, Fakir Dudari. Sam Crow has dropped right back, actually, and jumped up terribly.
Yeah,
Sam Crow is maybe not
now.
fancying it, actually. And last of all, Fanion Destraval, actually, Chris's Dream on that fence, just been bustled back to last. But there's still 5 lengths from Min back to the main pack.
Mark Walsh on Fakir Dudari, obviously on a horse that's yet to totally prove that he really gets home over strong on Tumavor. He doesn't fancy this gallop at all, G, does he?
No, he seems to be sitting him right off it, and then maybe he is riding him to get the trip.
Bass wants to be up. Look at Bass is riding Imperial Aura to make
this
up
is Bass all over, isn't
well,
it?
it is. It's stupid to do this, though, because you don't want to be making up a 5 lengths gap down that hill.
Mr. Fisher, so far, as I hope I don't curse him, he's really impressing me again with his jumping.
Yes,
Min's
he's
in a lovely place,
He's
isn't
probably
he, as
in the
well?
best spot, Mr. Fisher.
I think he is. Kalashnikov, his old rival, is tracking him on the inside.
Oh, it was a big jump from Allaho. Min the same.
Oh,
Mr. Fisher left his leg.
What is it there this show? He puts his legs in the water.
That
Goes
was a
and wins
bad-
after that.
I mean, that was a big splash.
Let's go
as
to
well.
Barry then. Let's go to Barry. Is that he must have gone short.
Samko pulled up.
Yeah, Mr. Fisher out to 8 now.
Ah.
Your favourite 2.76 Allaho, very strong at the head of
Wow.
the market. 5-6 Min,
There's a
Fakir
few at it.
5-7, 8-6 Mr. Fisher.
They've gone hard up front,
yeah,
but
they
this
have.
is...
Imperial and Mellon both hit
Imperial
that.
44
Yeah,
there.
he hit that one badly. Kalashnikov travels into fourth.
Yeah.
Fakir Dudari still travels
He's
fairly
the
well.
one that's hoping they come back. He's got 2 Mullins horses, gone hammer and tongs.
Allaho, he pings that
Lost his
ditch.
5 out, I think, isn't it? Mr. Fisher's
so
jump
Mr.
has
Fisher
gone
is
wrong.
gone. Well, he
Holy.
could have hurt
Imperial
himself
pulled
there.
up.
He's probably hurt himself in the
Imperial
water,
Stuck
isn't
till
he?
walking is getting pulled up. There's hardly any in this. They've
Yeah.
gone very hard.
Nico's just gonna have to
Kalashnikov's
let
off the
Mr.
bridle.
Fisher
Mr.
breathe
Fisher's
now.
come back on it.
Yeah, he has a little bit. Allaho not so good there. Now they're closing a bit.
Just trying to make his mind up now on Mr. Fisher because he's got a few wrong. So you saw him there.
It's all about rhythm, getting it back. If he jumps
Fakir
3 out, he'll win
tanks
this.
into
Yeah,
fifth.
travelling, isn't he? Fakir?
Top of the
Tornado
hill
Flyer
now.
creeping closer.
This is the big ditch, isn't it, at the top of the hill?
This is the one.
This is the big ditch. So Rachel Blackmore's seen a stride now, or she's not. She's blacked out of it.
Another
and he's
good
got
jump
in
from
tight.
Fisher. Good lad.
Fania Destraval's the last one that's really
He's
got
picking
a
them off
chance.
sort of one by one, isn't he? Now they're going for it. Min's surely going to
Mr.
go short now.
Mr. Fisher in third, Kalashnikov fourth.
Min's
He's been
4-1.
Min's 4-1.
Wow, he's lovely position for me.
He's
Min.
not, he doesn't travel as well as Allaho, who's in front.
Okay, 3 out, guys. Mr.
Blackmore's
Fisher
seen a
pulling
stride.
wide.
She's seen a stride here.
In front.
Oh, he's,
Oh,
Mr. Fisher's down.
Fisher's
Oh,
all
no,
but
not
gone.
quite. Allaho's 3
Unbelievable
lengths clear.
scenes.
He's got them all at it. He must win
This
this.
is how
He
far,
must
isn't
win
it? As
this.
Barry's saying. Barry's saying, how
clear.
far?
5 clear. And Kalashnikov stays on into second. He's the one that's going to pick
Fisher
up pieces.
left it
Fakir Dudari
behind.
in third. But there's 7 lengths, 8 lengths. This is over if he gets over these last 2 fences. Kalashnikov stays on. Fakir Dudari as well.
Min's
Mr.
falling in the
Fisher
hole.
pulled up. Mr. Fisher has been
1-1-2,
pulled
8-1
up.
Oh, man. You got to
Jumps
jump.
2 out. Yes,
This
he's
is
got 2 out.
impressive.
Jumped nice well.
Fakir Dudari is storming up the running. Could we see the
Kalashnikov is
on.
staying. Kalashnikov
No,
is
he's got it.
staying.
On.
No, that's it. It's game over. He
6
just
is
jumped
on.
the last. Jumped the last.
Oh,
he was in
over
tight.
he goes.
He's paddling, and
man.
nothing's coming at him though. He has run them ragged.
Burnt
They
them
are
off.
walking up the line. This has been a demonstration of force. It has been a David Bass ride. It has been a First Flow. It has been a Harry Skelton, but it is Rachel Blackmore. She has ridden them absolutely ragged in the Ryan here. Fakir Dudari is second again. Tornado Flyer third. Kalashnikov fourth. But that was the race. In a way, it was a great race. In a way, it was a non-event because Allaho has absolutely battered them.
And well done, Keith Melrose. You kept the face with this horse. Well done to you punters out there that made him favourite. This is the Rachel Blackmore effect, isn't it? First time on. I mean, he's done so much up front. Min was keeping him cosy, wasn't he? And yet he just kept going. Unbelievable scenes. We've still got Manila Indo and Champ to come from last year's RSA. This boy was third.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that good, to be honest, but he's put in a fantastic performance, and he jumped beautifully and never looked like being caught.
Let's be honest. I didn't think he was that good. I nearly swore that was brilliant.
But you've got it right. And it was great to see. I mean, 3 out when he wasn't great and he just strode on. Thank you very much. They've got his trip right now. He has shown himself absolutely some
That was like
decent
watching
ground as well.
Vautour.
What price Ellie May now, of course, in the Mare's Chase tomorrow, the horse that chased him home in Ireland last time. She's a bit bound to go short, I'm sure. But Barry, let's come to you. Loads of drama in that race. What was the story of it?
Yeah, so Min hit a low of 3.6, which is 5-2, and Fakir Dudari hit a low of 3.35. But like the winner's up there all the way throughout, as you well know. Like I think he's never headed, was he?
No, from about the third or fourth, he took the lead and was never headed.
Made virtually all would be the comment.
I think
That's what I would have said.
One of the first, maybe the first fence on the course proper, she took the lead and never headed.
And okay, the other thing we've got to talk about, it's the first time tongue-tying this horse. On Tuesday, when we were coming into the office, we were like, hang on a minute, there's a big drift here on the exchange, Barry. It was Allaho. Everyone thought he would be a non-runner.
He was declared late, wasn't he?
Go on, Barry.
Didn't he go out to 40 or something on the exchange at one stage, and everybody said, oh, this is a disgrace. Willie Mullins' horse is clearly injured and people are trying to lay it. And I just remind people when I hear that sometimes about Kick and King, who hit 1,000 before he went on to win a Gold Cup. So, Willie can be a bit tardy sometimes, or he plays his little games with declaring horses late. That's obviously
Which ones will be on. And the other thing to say is that his comments along the line when quizzed by David Jennings at the Racing Post were along the lines of, get on.
Yeah, it was Lydia Hislop, wasn't it? GSI.
Oh, yeah, that's right, of course.
GSI gets stuck.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, I'm not going to take a trainer's word for that, but it just showed you there was nothing wrong. And I think the drift was a late declaration. He only got declared about 2 minutes before the cut-off.
I must apologise to you, because we probably wouldn't have won. But I said I don't want to curse him. And if you've been watching this show, you're a regular follower of this, it's amazing how many horses have just all of a sudden fallen in a hole or indeed departed at a fence when we say, how well's that going? And his legs were just hind legs in the water. He probably did well to carry on as long as he did, didn't he?
It was quite remarkable, wasn't it, Dave? As soon as he said how well he was jumping, suddenly his jumping fell apart.
He made a pig's ear of
Mr.
the
Fisher,
He must have pulled
about
something in
Mr.
that,
Fisher.
Keith, mustn't he? Mr.
Well,
Fisher.
Here it is. Just
it's
it's
awful. That looks really bad.
Reminds me of when
Yeah.
Azertiu put his feet in the water
he
when he
did
would
hurt
have beaten
himself, didn't
Moscow
he?
Flyer the second time.
Now let's pick it up here. We're on the far side. We're about 6 out. This is when we pretty much knew our fate, I think, because he's
Well, no, he travelled back into it again.
I think that's just
But look how many
pure
are beat here.
bravery from the horse, though, to do that.
Chris's
isn't it?
dreams beat. Samcro's been pulled up. Fagnon Destraval struggling.
Yeah.
Tornado
And
Flyers.
Perry Laura, let's talk about him.
Oh, he's
He's
run
never
like
happy, was he?
He's run like a drain. He's made a mistake there, and that's I think he's stopped to nothing there. That's the game over.
Wow.
I don't know if
he's
he might have
completely
hurt
gone
himself,
back through the field,
unfortunately.
hasn't he?
Oh, isn't that a shame?
I want to see a check-up on him because that was not nice.
Now,
He stopped to nothing.
my favourite game, according to Bruce Millington, is playing the programme book. Is he flattered by this, G, first and foremost?
No, I don't think he is. Do you?
So many horses haven't turned up, is what I'm hinting
Well,
at.
they've not
Yeah,
turned
but-
up because he has gone so hard. If he should have compromised any horse's chance by going that hard, it should have been his own.
Are
And he
we
didn't.
looking at a back-to-back Ryanair winner?
I hope not. I hope we're still looking at a real Gold Cup
You
contender.
think, but does he
next
get...
season.
Don't give them ideas.
He
Yeah,
should
don't,
go for the
this,
Gold
this
Cup.
could run in the arc, according to
He
GB Park.
he should go in the Gold Cup.
You think so?
Well, everyone would. He's won it like a Plutard
What he
won it a
should
few
do,
years ago, and
he
he's in
should
the Gold Cup.
He should run in the King George.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that'd be good,
lovely
wouldn't
to
it?
see, wouldn't it? And forget Leopardstown,
He's not a
basically.
he's not a
a
Gold
Leopardstown
Cup.
horse.
He's not
is
a
he?
Gold Cup horse. He's not going to even stay 3 miles at Leopardstown. Give him a chance round Kempton. Get him to put Frodon in the huff by taking him on up front.
You've got to love this show, haven't you? King George mention already from Keith Melrose. I love it. I wonder if there'll be any Anti-Post Sportsbook quotes coming from that. Have we got any quotes so far, Barry? Let's have a think about what we've had today.
But he's
so
5 to
far.
1 for next year's Ryanair. That's the
I
only quote.
he'll
on
go for that race again.
It's a bit of a default.
I mean,
Has
if
to, surely.
if
doesn't he?
Apple-
Fell on his...
Fakir
fell on his-
Duderi,
Yeah,
was it?
Fakir Duderi.
Fakir.
Fakir Duderi.
Chase Time Shaq and Boursois
Yeah,
last
let's have a
time.
look. So he got 166 and he's beaten him. How far has he beaten him? Sorry, can I tell?
Well, we'll get a distance. I mean,
That'll be- I'm
10
good-
lengths?
15?
12?
It's further than, yeah, I'm going to say he'll get 177 for this.
No, the gallery, it's like monkeys
surely
in the
not.
zoo in the gallery, but perhaps we can get a distance or perhaps we can get the race time
Oh,
as
That's
well.
12, that. You'll get 177 for... No, wait, what's
He
Tornado
can't
Flyer?
get 177, surely.
What's
177 is Native River and the
Yeah, it
Cotswold
can't be
Chase.
one-
Oh, yeah, it'll be
177.
that's the jump performance of the year. Tell you what you'll
What?
get.
That's the jumping performance of the year so far.
Yeah, it's massive.
You have a habit of saying that on this show. Slowed by 3.4
that's
seconds.
still
That's a
pretty
good
good,
ground
isn't
time.
it?
It's a good ground time, yeah, it is.
Well, they've gone that hard. It's
Would
the
that be one of
best.
that would be one of
good
the
stuff that you can get.
times of the meeting so far.
Yeah, it's really
Obviously, Harry Whittington pulled out St Calvados of this race. Dashel Drasher out of this race as well, saying it's quickening all the time. No watering, not on my mind, said Simon Clays, which I love about that. Actually, he came out nice and shut that one down, didn't he?
Well, yeah, I think he had to because the only point you would have watered is before the Gold Cup, and you're not going to do that. So I think he was never going to make that decision. So
Yeah.
I think it was an easy one for him is to just get a nice little win and say I'm not watering because the only option would have been Thursday before Friday, and that would have been bad.
Okay, great stuff. 3 races in. Ryanair. Oh, we need to pick ourselves up, G, don't we, after Mr. Fisher left his hind his legs in the water jump. That was bad. Let's hope he's all right, actually, because it was
Well, he was going fine, and he came
brave
back,
to come back into it from that
he came
horse.
back on the bridle after it. So you're hoping that he's not hurt himself. That he's nearly fallen 3 out as well, and that's the point where Nico's gone. No, none of this, lads.
Yeah.
I mean, by right, he would have been in the first 3. To be fair.
Man, I can tell you who's going to love this ground on the hurdles course. Oh, just coming back, Rachel Blackmore actually lifting it. Obviously, there's a lot of professionals at the track, of course, and she's absolutely loving it, isn't she? Rachel Blackmore,
Is she
what
going to
a
be
queen.
the leading jockey of the week? Or she's right in the mix now,
Well,
isn't she?
oh, can we get the tally ups of the jockeys
Yeah,
and
what
the trainers
happens
so
if
far?
we
need
get-
that.
if we get
Let's make these gallery boys do some actual work, shall we?
What happens if we get a woman jockey leading the jockey standings at the end of the week?
If she wins the Gold Cup, which I'm hoping she does, which I've got Rob Lee, senior producer, in my ear. Champion Chase, Champion Hurdle.
She didn't win the Champion Chase.
No, she didn't win the Champion Chase. What you on about, man?
Bumper.
Yeah, he's had an absolute shocking toe on Sports Millwall. Bumper. Hang on a minute. Let's start this. Hang on a minute.
Bumper, Champion Hurdle, that. Any others?
Well, she's going to win the Gold Cup. And when she does, someone else might have to present this.
I've
because
settled on Applitard's the one, by the way, just so we can...
She won Bob Ollinger as well, didn't she? Bob Ollinger.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Is she top jockey yet? Do we know?
Well, she's got to be top jockey.
Got to
Hasn't
be, hasn't she?
She's got to be.
Paul Townend's not had more than that, has he?
No.
And she's mugged him up again.
Massive.
Yeah,
She had. I mean, poor old Min. Let's have a word for him as well. He didn't really. I think he might have even pulled up.
I think he must have.
Yeah. So it's 2 P's
Do you
next
think
to his
there's a
name
problem
now.
there now? Because that's the second time, if so.
He's a horse that he's fine ground wise, I think, isn't he? Maybe
Yeah.
slightly soft to go. We'll try and get you some postscripts for the beaten horses. We're going to try and call the track as well. I think that's probably a go after this race. And you know who's going to love this race, this weather, guys, is Paisley Park, who comes up. Would you believe it? The Ryanair wasn't even the feature of the day, because at 3:05 it's time for the Stayers Hurdle. Yeah, for your feature of the day, your feature of the week, probably.
Oh, it was the best. That was meant to be the race of the week, and it was a little bit disappointing that no horses got into it, but as a result, we got to see an absolutely monstrous performance.
Here's a question that I want you viewers out there to answer for me. Keith is the only person this week I know who has backed Allaho. That can't be right because you backed him into favouritism. Where are you Allaho backers out there? What is he? What was the theory?
Amster 420. Amster 420.
Oh, right, okay.
He's on.
He's going to celebrate by... I don't know how he's going to celebrate. I can guess,
Amster
though.
420, yeah.
I can
that's
never
right.
guess.
All the exclamation marks have just gone into the... Yeah, let us know how that's made your festival. Wow, incredible scenes. All right, so the chasing performance of the season. Yeah, wow. Not Shishkin then.
I mean, he's not going to run to the same sort of level, but he's brilliant, isn't he?
Shishkin.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I honestly, and I wouldn't say this lightly at all, I honestly don't... I think it's pounds in it between him and Sprinter Saka at the same stage.
The handicapper would say that he's better than Sprinter at this stage. Sprinter Blossom, we said that yesterday on the show, didn't we? What Shishkin's got to do now, and a bit like Altior as well. Altior gets hit with the rating stick a little bit.
Look at the size of him. He's a big athletic thing.
Beast that is.
I don't think Altior gets hit with a rating stick, do you? I mean, he
got a 183 for winning the championship.
183.
That was the only time he went up there, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
There was an argument between him and Bruce
He
yesterday
wasn't a horse that ran big figures particularly.
183 is right up there with.
Well,
it's good on
it is, but it was a kind of like, if there's a graph.
Right.
What happens with these horses as well is you basically end up making up the rating when they end up trying to really mark up the one time that they do put up a big figure. Like See the Stars, he was like that.
Yeah, he's actually. Okay, so the RPRs are usually available for you by the end of the day on your members section. I love to do it at half time. We did it in the
Steve
office.
Mason loves to rate
them all.
He loves to rate races by times, and if that's the best time of the week, he's going to go really high.
It's a strong time.
I reckon he'll go. Yeah, if you could give me a pound either side of 177, I'd take a short price actually.
Okay, time to draw breath here on RP Live. We're around about halfway. Of course, we come off after the Mayor's Novice. You've got the Kinmure after we go off air as well. What did you make of the Champion Bumper? Not a race that we've had too much to talk about. So Gerhard, another one for Sheveley Park. And Rachel should kill Crut of one. Was there anything in behind that was unlucky? Let us know. We'll give you a shout. We'll talk about that. Social coming up on the screen now, I believe, as well. Who's coming on? Stephen Smith comes on. My Allaho and Flooring Porter double is alive. Well, Graeme Rodway will be happy to hear that one. Shall we indeed draw breath and move on then? Myself, Dave Orton, Graeme Rodway, Keith Melrose buzzing after Allaho, and Barry Orr as well as ever joining us from his Dublin office. Barry, tell us about the Stayers Hurdle. How low will Paisley Park go?
No, it's not really about Paisley Park. He's nearly as big a price now as he was when Time Hill was in the race in the anti-post market. He's 3.55 to 2. Money Horse has been Fury Road, was as big as over 400 quid matched at 12.0, which is 11 to 1 on the Betfair Exchange. He's now 5.1, so he's 4 to 1. He's been the big play in the race, and considering Denise Foster has 3 horses in it, one of them, Sire de Brulé, 7.6, and the Storyteller, who's not without a chance, 16.5. That speaks volume for his chances. Lisnagar Oscar, last year's winner, is 12.5. Beacon Edge, 13.5. Flooring Porter, who both Fury Road and Sire de Brulé have to change form around from the Christmas Hurl in Leopardstown. He's a massive 15, so he's a 14 to 1 chance. But I do like Sire de Brulé. I think this is one race he's been mapped out for all year. They didn't really care about training in for those Christmas hurls or anything else this season. This is the race that counts, as it has been the previous 2 years when he was back-to-back winners of the Pertemps Final. That takes a bit of doing. I think you'll agree with that. And we're going to back him, Dave. We're going to back him, Keith. We're going to back him just in the win market. Just going to have 50 quid win on him at 7.6. Happy to be a price taker again, because I think he'll either win or he'll blow out on us. So fingers crossed. We're backing Sire de Brulé at 7.6, having 50 quid on him.
Well, that's the thing with this horse. He would wonder what was going on if you actually trained him before Cheltenham, wouldn't he? He's so used to getting laid out for the Pertemps that if you actually had him fit and eyeballs out for a race prior to Cheltenham, he wouldn't know what to do.
Well, he did something he doesn't usually do, and that's follow-up wins, isn't it? Of course, next to each other, he won first time out over what they thought was maybe an adequate trip. Everyone got very excited about him that day. Even the clock watchers were quite excited about him as well. I was a little bit underwhelmed by him last time, and
he's had his days, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think
he would have won this race last year.
Yeah.
Well, the time-wise, the time comparisons.
Well, also RPRs-wise, he was £4 better than Lisnagar.
Yeah, but that's Lisnagar Oscar, and Lisnagar Oscar, who had it been softer, I would have been saying he was one of the each-way bets of the week, because he's coming into it on his absolute A game after that Haydock run where he let third in wind up his inside and coming back.
I think his win in this last year might be the worst championship race I've ever seen.
Well, it was rated as the worst of the last 10 years, actually. I can get them up.
It's the worst Stayers Hurdle since 1993.
Do you know who is the worst since? And he's only £2 lower than it.
Big Bucks.
Yes, 2011.
Well, that was when he was a Vola Lavadette that was second.
Penhill was given 162 plus. Big Bucks was also given 162 as well. Yeah, it was Grand when he beat Grand Cru, actually. It was,
I'm sorry.
The last one was Vola Lavadette, wasn't it? I think that was a brilliant ride by Andrew Lynch, of course, the now departed Andrew Lynch. Look, Paisley. Barry taking him on with Sire de Burley. Yeah, of course, you can see it. Comes to the festival, wins. Ground, not a problem with him. Paisley, where do you sit with him? I've got him on top. I've got a little short list to get of what also I've got on side. But if the real Paisley Park comes back, if the Paisley Park of 2 years ago comes back, for me it's an even money shot.
Even money? Maybe he's be shorter than 5-2, but I worry about quick ground for him because he is a horse that doesn't have gears really.
Let me counter that.
We're going then,
Mr. Melrose. A quick ground for him. If you remember, she pulled him out at the long walk last season when the ground was bad. Good ground record for Paisley Park. 1-1-2.
What's the
Good to
rating,
soft record.
What's his rating?
2-1-1-1. Absolute cobblers you're talking, Keith.
No, what's his ratings? What are the big ratings?
He loves good ground. This is what she wanted for him.
His big ratings are on good to soft in January and when he won this race.
And when
he won the heavy ground in December there.
I guarantee you one thing, Dave. Just one thing that I'll guarantee you. If Paisley Park is beaten here, Emma Lavelle will come on after the race and
Blame
say,
the ground.
Ground went against him. He probably wants softer ground now. Nowadays, that's what she says.
Do you remember last year when he completely bombed out? It was the irregular heartbeat, wasn't it? And
yes, it was. Yeah.
A lot of horses. I mean, we've seen Goshen. Oh my Goshen on the Tuesday. Again, to come back like he has, I find it quite admirable. I've got him on top.
Likeable horse.
I've got him on top. I'll be screaming him. Emma's had a great second half of the season. Aidan Coleman on a double. Of course, champion Chase yesterday. He'll be full of confidence. If the turbo kicks in, and I expect it to do so, Sam Spinner, his old rival, of course, is in the race. All gone wrong for Sam Spinner, hasn't it? But a lightly paced England first-time blinkers.
I've had a tiny each-way bet.
Just in case bet, as you call them.
A wee bit, but also he didn't take the fences because he wasn't big enough.
Charlie Hall, wasn't it, at the start of the season?
Yeah, and he just hated that. He hated running against proper chasers. He hated it. And then a few weeks later, about 3 weeks later, he ran in long distance at Newbury, and obviously he's bombed out there a little bit too. But now he's had a break, and his form is good enough looking back. It's one of these 66-1 shots that probably should be 33s. So I've had a tiny each way bet on him.
Fine.
But my main bet is Sire de Burley.
Sire de Burley. So you're with Barry. Two ticks. I know the viewers love that.
He's got the tactical speeds more than Paisley Park does. He, as I say, he would have won this race last year if he'd run in the race, and he will have been trained for it once again. So, yeah, in fact, he's probably had a more handicappy Cheltenham-centric build-up than the boss's Oscar from the same yard.
Well, there we are. Now, Paisley Park, I should say, like Sire de Burley, also started in handicap company and came rising through the ranks. I mean, we've seen progressive horses left, right and centre this season, but are there any more progressive than Flooring Porter, G, your headline selection?
He is the most progressive horse in the race, isn't he? I like young horses in this race.
Beating off 107 a couple of seasons back or something.
Yeah, he was, but I do like the trainer.
Gav Cromwell.
Gav Cromwell, I think he's absolutely...
Champion hurdle.
Yeah, we'll gav him. We'll gav him.
We're Gavin again, aren't we?
We Gavin
Bruce will be wanting
Let's Gavin Cromwell. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Paisley Park. You know, I mean...
Yeah,
he's been a star.
You caused a bit of a friction on this show. You caused a bit of another spike, social media wise, when you said it was Matty Batch. You remember when you worked with Matty Batch, and you said basically Time Hill and Paisley Park, they're not that good.
Well,
that was my impression of you saying that.
Yeah, at this stage of their careers, they're not that good. Time Hill might improve because he's still young. Paisley Park is definitely past his best. Right, there's no doubt about it. He's past his peak at 9 years old, but he was such a good horse. He was such a good stayer at his peak that even 5, 6, 7 pounds below. So you're not saying that he's never been that good. You're saying at the moment.
Oh,
he was a really top stayer. I mean,
Thistle Crack like and.
Yeah, absolutely. He's right up there with Big Bucks. I think not far off of him. You know, and you know, I mean,
he's not a barracuda. That's the best saying ever of all time.
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of the horse. I know the owner well, and he's a good mate of mine, and we just have banter about it. I think he would accept that he's probably not quite at his peak that he was a couple of years ago.
Andrew Gamble.
Yeah, and but he's still a very good stayer, even at this stage of his career.
Yeah,
it's quite a weak staying division. That's the one thing I would say. And
well, isn't it always? Isn't it? There's usually just one horse, isn't there, that does a Thistlecrack, that does a Paisley, that does a Big Bucks and wins the Long Walk, the Newbury Race, the Cleve and all that. So we didn't have a Cleve this year. Of course we did. We went to Wetherby, didn't it? It was a non-event.
Perfect race for a horse coming on the up.
Yeah.
Because there aren't many in it who are coming on the up. And at least you can say that about Flooring Port. The one thing I would say, maybe this is why he's so weak in the market, is maybe he just wants a little bit more cut in the ground than he's going to get here.
That's interesting.
But hopefully he isn't hassled too much on the lead. It's been one of those front-running days, hasn't it, really? And
that's
front-running
good
festivals.
Ground, a little bit of handicap with 1-2-2.
I mean, his best form is on testing.
And he got let loose a little bit on bad ground at Christmas, didn't he?
Well, everyone. That's why people knocked him a bit, because it was a muddling race. Fury Road was the Elliott thing, not on great form with him. You know, some horses, Abracadabra, Ballyadam, disappointed. And so some people will be giving Fury Road, and I'm going to go to Barry in a minute because he's a steamer in the market, I think, a chance to reverse that. But if you like Fury Road, you've got to go for Beacon Edge as well. But Flooring Porter, you're hoping that he can do a Cole Hard and lead all the way.
I'm hoping he leads all the way. He needs to improve again, but he is only 6, and I think that he's got it in him.
Okay, so we saw a double for Allaho going on to Flooring Porter as well. Big G, he's all with you all the way. Let's get some socials on the screen before we go to Barry. Nathan Davis, welcome along, Nathan. He says, the storyteller, lads. Overlooked? Thoughts? Let's go to Barry with this one.
He always runs his race, doesn't he? Like, he's a remarkable horse. He truly is. Be fences or hurdles, it doesn't matter to him. And Keith Donoghue gets on particularly well with him. So I wouldn't be as stupid as to write him completely off. But he's an 18-1 chance on the Betfair Exchange, and I think that's probably a fair representation of his chances in the win market. One we haven't talked about, and it's been a massive gamble in the race from 33-1 all the way down, is Beacon Edge for Sean Flanagan. Another Jigginstown horse, same as Fury Road. Noel Meade trains that, and he's been absolutely smashed up in the market. We saw him last day when he beat Fury Road. He beat him in neck in the Labrooks Bryan hurdle over a grade 2. It was over 2 mile 5, and it was heavy, and I'm sure Fury Road will come on for the run. He was 11-day favourite that day, but yeah, I wouldn't discount his chances. Obviously, the bit of better ground as well should improve him. And Noel Meade already on the board at the festival this year.
As is Sean Flanagan, of course. Yeah, they're going for a double. Great seeing Noel on the board. One more social coming in before we go back to dissect some of those chances. Nicholas Hal-Bukowski. Love that name. Any thoughts from Vindication from the panel? It's about time we brought in Vindication. First of all, a word about the 2 Gigginstown horses. Fury Road, I guess they're basing it on the Albert Bartlett run, Keith.
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you?
Monkfish. Latest exhibition and Time Hill, of course.
Works out very well, doesn't it?
Yeah. He just, I don't know. I thought last time I know he's back up in drip, but for me last time he should have won.
The price is gone, isn't it?
Beacon Edge, stamina's approved, but he did look better the further he went in the Boyne. That got some boost yesterday, the Boyne, didn't it?
Sure did, yeah.
Okay, and Vindication, who is unbeaten, 3 from 3 over hurdles. Who wants to take Vindication?
I don't think he's the strongest of stayers. Now, we'll find out here. But I've always thought that he had a little bit of pace about him, and I'm
you
not
can't.
sure he's a down stayer.
Judged on his
Yeah.
Charlie. Listen, I'm with you on this, but Dave Bass, in his previews in the lead up to the festival, said he hadn't had a run going into the Ultima last year when he thought it was a certainty, and it was tiredness that called him out, not stamina. Charlie Hall, he was coming back at Surname, wasn't he, after making the odd? But
Surname is a funny horse, isn't he?
and it's Charlie Hall at
This
Surname had that race
This
won.
horse used to show a real engine around 2.5 as a novice as well.
Do you need to get sort of 3.5 miles to win a Stayers
I
Hurdle?
think you really have to stay.
Is it like 2 miles at Southwell on the flat? You really need to get 2 mile 2, 2 mile 4. Do you know what I mean? Is it the test of stamina out there?
What, for a
Hurdles.
For a hurdler,
Yeah.
apart from 3 mile 3 at Sedgefield.
Oh, here we go. We had to get that in. They did race this week, of course.
They did, and it's, I just checked the result of the 4 miler at Hexham. Gangster won the outside of the whole field.
Tumbleweeds are coming across. There's always one, isn't there?
Vindication. Tends to go right. He's a bit of an Asterian for Longe. He does over fences.
It's 0 from 3 on a left-handed track, but again, he's got that Surname form, so it's kind of tricky, isn't it?
It is. I suspect big horse like him, despite his jumping, will be a better chaser than a hurdler, is my suspicion.
I just wondered where they could go with this horse. I mean, 155, probably not going to win an Ultima off that, are you? Probably not. And in the Gold Cup, you're looking like a proper rag, aren't you? So.
Do you think that that's why they're running here? Because they don't like the way he jumps over fences? Is that why they're running here?
He obviously fell unseated.
Because, I mean,
His chase rating's 160, actually. He's not been definitely
not been
winning
seen
Ultima
since
off that.
the old Hennessy, of course.
Well, if it was me, I'd have probably tried to, if it was you wanted to win a big chase with him, I might have thought about the old Whitbread. Top weight and just bang round you
He's
go.
a very talented horse. I
Very
loved him at
talented.
the start of this season. I did. I don't think ground's a problem for him. He ran in the Marsh, didn't he, when he was a novice, I think. A couple of seasons ago.
Yes,
I think
he ran in a...
did.
It was
I
quite a
think
good race,
I
wasn't it?
might have backed him as well.
I backed him.
Yeah.
My hands up is behind. He's run conditional.
Yeah, he
Let's
finished
go
fifth
back.
at Defi de Soy.
Defi
So that was
Soy.
lost in translation and all sorts.
Yeah, that was the day where I thought, actually, perhaps he doesn't like going left-handed. But I think we could say in the Charlie
That
Hall
day when
kind
he
of
ran
did
at
that one.
Newbury, he fell, didn't he?
Unseated at the cross
Unseated.
fence.
Yeah,
But he
cross fence.
was actually jumping well.
was.
Better than he jumped.
Yeah, better would be
Yeah.
the word I'd use.
He jumped better than he jumped in the past, so I'm quite surprised to see him back over hurdles, to be
There
fair.
was money for him in this. Okay, many more horses to talk about, but let's go and we can see Ian McCaskill. Brilliant. How's the weather out there, Ian? Paisley Park will put the turbos on at the end.
I mean, that's absolutely uncontroversial and is correct. It's
yeah,
where-
exactly.
It's where he is when it's where he is when
But
they kick in.
let's concentrate on that, because the Paisley Turbo was almost your phrase at the start of the season.
Yeah.
I've heard it used all over the place since.
Yeah.
And what is that? What do we mean by that?
Has he got the turbo? Used to be.
Well, what is the turbo? Because he showed it at Ascot, didn't he?
Well, it's something that is years old that James Pyman and I, when James Pyman was working on our desk, used to discuss all the
Pyman's
time
theories.
about great staying hurdlers.
Is this where you got these theories from whacking around with
My
Pyman?
theories are far better than mine. It was something we used to discuss a long time ago, was that great stayers have the turbo. And if you look back through the history of great stayers, they all had the turbo. Like you mentioned Barracuda. He always used to travel. Then he'd hit a flat
Turbo.
spot and then turbo.
Turbo.
Ingles-Drever, travel.
Flat spot, turbo.
Big
Love
bucks.
it. Flat
travel,
spot,
flat
turbo.
spot, turbo. Paisley Park.
Alternative theory. No horse is bred to be a 3 mile hurdler. So these horses are naturally slow. And what they're doing is they're one paced. So that if Paisley Park could change gear, he wouldn't be a 3 mile hurdler, he'd be a 2 mile, 2.5 mile hurdler.
So you're just suggesting that everything else is stopping and he's just running on at
Well,
the
he
same
just-
pace. You
yeah.
might be right, but
Yeah, I think they're one
There
paced,
will be
but
people
gay.
rightly shouting at the screen right now. Okay, look.
anyway, he is the only one with the turbo in the race.
He has
Paisley
got
Park.
the turbo.
It
Can we
just
talk about
depends
a
when the
couple of
turbo's
others?
going to kick in.
Can we talk about a couple of others? The outside of Kimberley, you will never call. Wrong track, wind operation, a million really. Main fact has to have it boggy underneath.
So they
otherwise-
say.
Yeah, Fergus Gillard, it's his horse in there. But if it was for any other stable,
He
they'd
has
probably-
the turbo, does he not? Main fact.
on very bad ground potentially.
On very bad ground.
Reserve Tank, what's happened to him? Since a long time ago that we were talking about Reserve Tank. Lil Rockefeller, first time visor, Bryony.
He's been second in this race before, hasn't
He
he?
has, and he's a likely pace angle and a lovable horse. Also second in this race was Bacardi's, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I think he
And he
was,
fell when he was going really well behind Penn Hill, didn't he? And if the cap fits, who is Paul Keeley's fly in this race?
Yes, he's not convinced me he's a chaser if the cap fits, I don't think.
He's doing a vindication here.
He is a little bit, and I think he's run at right-handed tracks and been a bit fiddly, and he looked very moody in the Caltle Star, actually.
Yeah.
And he just got done by Yala Enki last time. That was probably a perfectly good performance. And to be honest, if he runs to that level in this, he might finish in the places.
Is this his track?
Cheltenham.
That's what.
That's my
there's
worry
been a few noises about that.
I can see why that might be said.
Yes, he was. If you remember when Paisley Park was in the Cleve, when he won the Cleve, he was the one that everyone was like, this is the test of Paisley.
Backed him.
He just didn't turn up, did he? And Paisley, the turbo kicked in and away he went. Really excited about this. Emma Lavelle, one of the good girls in the game, really hoping. And Andrew Gamble as well. It's a great story, isn't it? For Andrew, one of the best stories.
It's a great shame for Andrew as well that he can't be there for this, bold bid to regain the crown. He's amazing.
He loves everything about Cheltenham.
I tell you, Andrew is an amazing guy. You will not find a man who knows more about racing than Andrew.
If you don't know
Gamble.
about Andrew Gamble, of course he's blind, isn't he? And he senses it. He feels the game.
He loves being at the races. He follows that commentary.
He asked to meet Keeley once a year. Would you believe it?
Keeley's when Paisley Park wins the Stairs Hurdle, the first person that congratulates Andrew Gamble is Keeley.
Do you remember?
Yeah, he's on the camera. Yeah, giving it lady.
That was when he was having the worst festival ever, Keeley, and then all of a sudden he's just gone on a real roll. It kick-started with Paisley when he went to meet Andrew
The first time
Gamble.
I met Andrew was probably 10 years ago now, and he asked me if I knew Paul Keeley. That was the first thing he asked me. He loves Paul Keeley.
He was right up there in my estimation, Andrew Gamble. Happy days.
Bad judge of character.
We're still waiting for Keeley to do the storm of the office, by the way. I said, which was the horse we said? I said if the Gap Fits wins, he might come bundling in. He's out there somewhere. They're off and running in the 2021
David Bass fancies leading.
Stayers Hurdle. Okay, who's going to get the lead? Florian Porter, as we
Lisnagar
know,
Oscar's
will
up
be
there.
after it. Lisnagar Oscar, also Vindication. Yeah, just going to let him do his thing.
You never call in fourth, not Sam Spinner, who's in midfield.
If you're leading Sam Spinner, you've got to be going quick. And Lil Rockefeller as well. Who else is that up there?
Sam Spinner in the first.
You never call one up there as well. Where's Paisley then, G?
He's out the back as normal.
Out the back, yeah. He's only about 2 or 3 behind him. Storyteller
Reserve
held up as
him.
well.
Bacardi's behind him.
Bacardi's is last of all. You've got Reserve Tank out there in
Main
the back.
fact.
Chris's Dream's still running from the Ryanair. He's out the back as well.
That didn't work out, did it? So we're over the first couple of Florian Porter has got his way out front. Danny Mullins, of course, taking over from Jonathan Moore. On the inside, Sam Spinner taking a little bit closer order.
He's just gradually crept. Maybe it's as sensible. It's Henry Brook that's on today, isn't it? Rather than, as usual, or Joe Colliver.
Let's go to Barry Orr because Sided Burley, he doesn't fancy this at the minute. He's sitting in midfield, Barry. What is the market saying?
Market's not panicking. He's 7.8, 8.6 Furry Road, 3.35 Paisley Park. Lisnagar Oscar 12.5 off the back of a BSP of 14. So no massive moves. I don't think anyone's panicking just yet.
I'll tell you what, if you're on the If Cap Fits, he doesn't jump fences. He doesn't really jump hurdles that well either. A little bit of a shock there. They're going a proper pace here to my eye.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, that was...
I hope not, because I'm on the leader, so I don't want him to go too hard here,
Well,
Dave.
I think he's got no choice. There are front runners in this pack. I'm surprised to see Lisnagar Oscar was quite as forward. They're obviously worried about the ground flat spot with him.
They must be.
He has one on good ground, but I think all his best form is on soft.
He's a real grinder, isn't he? So that's why.
When he got beaten in the Albert Bartlett a couple of years ago, Lisnagar Oscar, him and Allaho were both beaten in that race. I'm sure he got bogged down on the ground. It was Kilbrick and Storm that won it that year, of course. It was awful ground.
Shot, yeah.
So I don't know, has he been pigeonholed? We'll find out. The Storyteller, he's out the back at the minute. A horse that does like to pick up pieces very successfully. He's done in his career as well. We know there's a bit of love out there and he's popped over that one beautifully.
Reserve Tanks hit that one and got a little nudge afterwards.
Okay, so Beacon Edge out the back as well, just tracking upsides.
So Fury Road is
Paisley.
Fury Road's the second Gigginstown cap, just so you're
Really?
watching. Yeah,
the Beacon Edge. So over my mistake. Thank you, Keith. I'll tell you what, Fury Road's a bit keen then out the back.
Yeah, Beacon Edge is midfield and probably a bit keen himself actually, but yeah, that's they have steadied it up here. Definitely steadied it up, I think.
I think this will suit Paisley Park though, don't you? They're going a solid pace.
No, if I had to pick a position at the minute, I reckon Sided Burley. Mark Walsh has got himself an ideal position. Mark could do with a fit, couldn't he, of course?
I'd take any position bar the last 3 or 4, I think.
Okay. Oh, Florian Porter absolutely stood off that one.
He
Gee,
threw
that
that
was a
one,
lovely jump,
didn't he?
wasn't it?
I'm not going to say it after what happened in the last race.
No, yeah, the curse. I just all horses are jumping badly. There you go. There's the curse out the way. We got it out of the way.
So
right.
they're going up the uphill now, so you can see it's slowing it back down again, back down to 28.
I don't think he
On
has
the
slowed
speed
it
of
much. I honestly don't. I think he's this is just going to be.
I think if this is a solid pace, I'm worried.
He's going to go again down this hill, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he is. He absolutely is. This is proper pace. I mean, even Dave Bass has backed off this pace.
Yeah,
that's true.
Dave Bass wants a bit of it now.
He can't help himself.
He has just nudged away at Vindication there.
Okay, so we are in this year's Stayers Hurdle. What a treat this race has been over
Oh,
the
is it
years.
forward?
Lisagorski's gone.
Has gone.
And Fury Road's got a real bump there.
yeah.
Reserve Tank, is it, that also got wiped out? He's not liking it anyway.
That didn't look great for listener Oscar. We'll try and get a word on that for the guys in the gallery. It looked a little bit of a bad one to my eye. Yeah, Fury Road was hampered.
Is anything
there.
struggling? Very Reserve Tank.
Well, Reserve Tank's a
he's
million,
out
isn't
of
he?
it.
Yeah.
Bacardi's got badly hampered.
Main
He's
fact
struggling.
is he just needs a barg. He's finding it a bit too hard. Bacardi's he plays it.
Sardi
late
Berley's
anyway,
now off
doesn't
the bridle.
he? Sam Spinner, he's finding it a bit hard at the moment, isn't he? So, where is Paisley Park? When's this flat spot coming? Is it now?
It is now. He's starting
They're
to
going
push
up
away.
the hill here. They're going up the hill. You don't want to be hitting this flat spot up the hill because
Starting
it's
to push
hard work
away.
at this point.
I can hear Barry. You're getting excited about Cider Burley now, Barry, with three to jump.
He's come
Come back.
straight
I'm
back
just
on
saying
the bit.
Storytellers who's tracking the favourite. He's
yes,
the
look
one
at
that
him.
they all want to be with now. He's into 5.8 on the exchange in running 5.5 Paisley Park, 7 Sire de Brule, 6.2 Beacon Edge.
Okay, nothing jumped that better, however, than
You
Flooring
never call
Porter. Gee,
as
come on,
silliness.
you've been calling this since December.
I'm quite hopeful, but what price are we looking at Paisley Park now, Barry? Because he's just hitting that flat spot. Has he gone out big?
4.2.
No, then, in that case.
He's
This is what he
he's
does.
still within striking distance, isn't he?
Fury Road coming back into
The
it.
two
Storyteller
Kim Bailey
there.
horses are second and third. You never called a massive price before this started.
I'll tell you what, Bacardi's Paul Townend, he is being savvy at the minute. You never call
Can he
still in
overcome?
there.
Can he overcome the inconvenience of being
Two
hampered?
outs. This is where we're getting to the business end. If the cap fits his stride, Paisley Park
Nothing
widens
travels
the
better than
ball.
Beacon Edge. Beacon Edge travels really, really well.
I'll tell you what, Paisley's struggling to finish those, but we know he flies home.
He is finding them. He's only going to be.
Porter, good
Come on,
jump by
Flooring.
Paisley on the outside. Flooring Porter, he's got them all
Oh,
out
nice.
now.
This is
Come
one.
on, G, let's
Come on,
scream
Flooring.
this.
This
is one.
Come on, Paisley, fill your lungs, old son.
on,
Not
Flooring.
done with this. A long way home. Beacon
Don't go
Edge the
yet.
danger.
Don't go yet.
We're coming towards
Hold
the
on
last.
to him.
Danny Mullins, here comes
Hold on to
Paisley.
him.
Paisley is absolutely
he's flying.
Come
Come
on,
on,
the
Flooring.
Paisley.
Oh, here he
my
comes.
goodness
Come on,
me, what's he got?
Flooring.
He's never been up a hill like this before. Flooring
Come
Porter,
on,
Beacon
Flooring.
Edge. Paisley Park doing everything.
Go,
Aidan
Flooring.
Coleman knows. I'll tell you, I think he wins this.
Go,
What
Flooring.
price is he? Paisley Park,
Go,
Flooring
Flooring.
Porter. Great run, whatever happens. Sided
Oh,
Burley.
he's definitely won.
He's
Don't
won.
stop.
He just
Come
needs
on.
to jump it clean.
Where's the last?
Coming to the last. Where's the last? He's absolutely
He's over
staged
there.
it, Graeme
Come
Rodway.
on.
He's running on
Come
fumes
on.
now.
He's
Boys, he's
hanging.
gone too late.
Simon
He's
Bennett
gone.
wins
He's
the
gone.
end.
He's
No,
gone.
he's
He's
fine,
gone.
he's
He's gone.
fine.
Graeme Rodway is high. Paisley Park running on into third, is he? Cider
my first
Burley
winner of the
second.
week.
Paisley too late into third. Beacon Edge just fourth. Storyteller in fifth. Wowee, he's back. You saw it a long way out.
Yeah.
An amazing performance.
That's the first winner of the week, and it's come halfway through the third day.
This is a marathon, my man, not a sprint. That hair is on end.
Yeah, now I can say he jumped so well.
He jumped beautifully, didn't he?
He jumped well, didn't he?
Absolutely fantastic. The curse, don't say you owe me a beer after that one. Because I didn't say, I think I said that when he was jumping, he looked at me and, oh, wasn't that great? Barry, the story of the race then. He was out in front from the start. When did they know he was going to go?
Never saw another horse. He was 4s on jumping the second last and 10s on jumping the last. He traded at a high of, pre-race high that is, of 18 for 531 quid. He had a Betfair SP of 15.0. Fury Road, that didn't trade too short in running. Beacon Edge,
That would have traded.
he traded at a low of 3.3 in running.
What about Paisley,
Sorry to
Barry?
Brule-
Because it looked like he was coming back towards the last.
Sorry, the Brule traded at a low of 4.3, and Paisley Park traded a low of 1.58. When he was
Wow.
getting
I
scrubbed
thought-
along at the
I'm
top
not
of the hill, he
surprised
was
about
still 4.3. But Jenny, the winner, he won a handicap last July, July 2020 in Garran Park off 122. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
He got beat off 130 then in a handicap hurl at the Galway Festival. Great White Shark beat him that day, 9 lengths. And he goes and wins it. Like you said it before racing, Dave, or you said it before the race, the most improved horse in training in Ireland this year without a shadow of a doubt. And he's proven it there. Great win, Graeme. Well done.
Happy day. Every dog has his day. Now, will you finally admit, can we get this? Social clips, get ready. can we say that we have a training genius?
There's always a training genius.
There's
after
always
his win,
one
after
out
his
there.
win,
Happy days.
After it's won.
And it is Gavin Cromwell, which really the professionals in Ireland will tell you, Barry, won't they? He's got some reputation, this man.
Yeah, he's a very capable trainer. We saw that. He's trained a champion hurl winner himself. Very unlucky with that horse as well, that he got killed in a freak accident crossing the road. And, you know, when he gets the ammunition, he's well able to fire the bullets. Everyone knows that. He's a very, very capable trainer and a very nice fella to boot.
Yeah, and a great moment for Danny Mullins. He's been riding for, obviously, his uncle quite a bit in this, Willie, of course. But this is a big moment for him as well.
You must Jonathan Moore, obviously,
yeah.
You know, he has to get a mention here. He struck up a great partnership with the horse, and unfortunately, I think he picked up an injury, didn't he? That's why he's not.
Yeah,
it is. There.
It is. It was his first grade one, wasn't it?
Jonathan Moore, yes. Yeah. No, his first grade one was on the horse in Leopardstown.
That's what I mean. It was his first grade one in Leopardstown, and we were all thinking, well, you know, was this a fly at that day? He's proven it absolutely wrong. If you're on Flooring Porter, well done the double out there, by the way. Our viewer that emailed in and said, I'm on Allaho, and amazing how this festival can turn. Is it Flooring Porter? What a tasty one there. We've heard from the great man himself. He's had his day in the sun. When did you think he's not coming back? Was that...
It was somewhere down the hill where Paisley's getting scrubbed. You know, Beacon Edge travelled, but he was never the guaranteed stayer. Side of Burley was at it, and you thought it was about 50 to 100 yards before they started turning. You thought
Beacon hasn't quite got home on the stiffest of tracks, has he?
No, he hasn't. I don't think.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
fair to say.
And Keith, let's just stick with you on this for a minute. I mean, I say the key is not being hassled up front, but he was going that quick that nothing could hassle him. Has he got a breather in at any stage then?
I think maybe at one point, at the halfway point, I think that was a bit of a breather. But really, what I liked about the start of that race is that he basically told David Bass to jog on. Like, David Bass wanted to join him. And he
doesn't happen often, that.
Come on, Dave. And, but he's not giving the front away to anyone. And it's I think the horse has maybe won it a little bit with his... I don't see many hurdle races won with her jumping. But I think that one might have been. Because he has pinged everything, and it helps. You know, jockeys just talk about rhythm, and it was one of these jockey things that I never used to like. And then I saw the way that horses go through races, and rhythm is massive because it means they don't stutter into flights. It means they don't have to decelerate and accelerate, and it really does matter. And this horse has never had to miss a beat because he's jumped so well.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Listen, that was exhilarating, wasn't it? I think we can say that. I love the Stayers hurdle. It's not for everyone, but I think the first winner I backed was probably Bacchanal all those years ago for Nicky Anderson and Mick Fitzgerald. I just love this race.
What I was saying that time, Dave, was Jonathan Moore was set to ride the horse. He's stable jockey, obviously, to Gavin Cromwell, and he picked up an injury on Sunday. Just, Sunday. Heartbreaking for him. Yeah. Danny Moore.
You think about the jockeys that are on the side. Adam Wedge is another one, isn't he? And absolutely. A mention needs to go out for these guys because some jockeys get a lot of stick, don't they, for maybe looking after themselves a little bit in the run-out. You remember a couple of jockeys.
There's a certain retired now jockey who rode a horse of mine on Imperial Cup Day over fences and let it run down every single fence because it was a weekend before Cheltenham.
It is this time of year when you notice in the run-up to Cheltenham. You can't blame them. You can't blame them.
You can have 3 guesses of the jockey was actually. I think you'll get it in 3 guesses. It was 10 years ago.
Ooh. In the Imperial Cup?
No, it was in that card. It was a novice.
How on earth am I supposed to know that?
A jockey 10 years ago that wanted to look after himself.
Oh, God. I'm thinking about... Go on, I can't think.
That's Timmy Murphy.
See? I bet you loved Timmy Murphy, didn't you? I bet you loved him.
Well, for a certain type of horse, he was bang on.
He was, absolutely. Cloplayardine, the National would be. He's a world chief, of course, you remember Timmy Murphy. Absolutely great scenes then. I like these colours as well. Sometimes, you resonate with colours, don't you? Simple colours, I love them.
Yeah, no. I love everything about the horse. I love the way he walks.
I love the way he moves.
Yes, we've been missing that, haven't we?
James Sherwood in.
It's Jeff Banks, etc., isn't it?
It's Thursday. It's usually Ladies' Day, isn't it? On Thursday.
Yeah, there we go. I mentioned
do they call it Ladies' Day now?
Well, the best. Well, I don't know. Is it the Ladies' Day on the Thursday?
There was this big thing about them not calling it Ladies' Day, but it really was called Ladies' Day, wasn't it?
Hard to remember, isn't it?
But actually, it's Wednesday, isn't it? Because it's Queen Mother's Day.
There we are. Okay, yeah. Well, that may make a bit of sense, but definitely the best jockey of the week is Danny Mullins coming back in. Great colours there. What are your favourite colours out there? Let us know. Keep it coming in. The show is hot today. We're loving it. We're loving you with us as well. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Facebook Live, welcome along. Anything on Twitter, it's #RP Live. Superb. Okay, we must, as ever, move on We have 2 more races for you on the show this afternoon. Coming up next, the 340. Plenty of time to chat in between this. So loads of social interaction. Get it in. We'll try and catch up with you. How are you doing? What's your big hopes coming up? Who wins the Gold Cup? Who wins the Triumph Hurdle? Oh, so much more still to come. I'll tell you what, Gav Cromwell's got one that is on my shortlist for the County Hurdle. It's 50 to 1 shot.
Oh,
Wolf Prince is his name. Forget his last run at Leopardstown. I think anyway, have a look at him. Could it happen?
He said nothing about Florian Porter this week, but Gabby Narco's got a good chance, hasn't he, in the Martin Pipe?
Oh, yeah, he's in the... also, I like those colours as well,
and,
the yellow with the black stars.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're saying that obviously Gav is obviously a complete genius, because he can train a winner. And he's running Gabinarco in the Martin Pipe, and that horse was beaten 8 lengths by Bob Ollinger in a Grade 1 2 starts ago. And Blue Lord was second. That form is fairly strong, isn't it, for a handicap?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And of course, in the Mares race, we're going to see some very strong form advertised as well. That's the final race for us here on RP Live. Okay, we're just watching Florian Porter starting his mission for home on the up the home straight.
We heard anything about?
I have to say, I kept thinking he'd get swallowed, but this horse is, I guess. All right, I'm going to give you a little nod here. I think had it been softer ground, Paisley would have done what he did. What he does. Sorry,
it's good to assume that one-paced horses want soft ground because it helps slow other horses down. I would want a good reason why a horse is one-paced as Paisley Park would want good ground. I'd want a good solid rationale.
I'll be fascinated to see if Emma Lavelle does do what I said and
say about the ground.
Mention the ground.
It was just a bit quick for him today, wasn't it?
I suspect the quality.
I think he's right. Look, and I'll give you another nod here. And you came in for a lot of stick, and this is we've got plenty of time. You do, because you say things as you see them, and you don't mind a bit of controversy. And sometimes people take you the wrong way what you say because they are on face value they're a bit striking. You said Time Hill and Paisley Park could be beaten because you said they weren't that good. People said he's saying that they're not great horses. That's not actually what you meant. And you've pretty much been born right a little bit. He's just got up for third. He's not the Paisley Park that we saw at his very best a couple of years ago.
No.
Obviously, time catching up with him, but you knew quite a while back.
He's still run very well, hasn't he? He's just.
What's he run to? 160.
That turbo's not quite what it was a few years ago.
Yeah, 160ish. They might go higher on the winner and maybe give Sarah Burley. Or what's finished? Sarah Burley was second, wasn't he? They might give him about 164.
This is obviously no fluke because Cider Burley, two-time winner of on this day of the Pertemps, really quick time. He's won on different. On different ground. He's won his race, isn't he?
More or less, yeah.
From a personal perspective, I'm quite hoping that Paisley Park gets an RPI of 161.
Because
in my analysis piece today, I said that Paisley Park would run to an RPI of 161 today.
Why not 160?
So if he runs to 161, I'm spot on.
I think he might end up being a pound.
It's your day.
Steve Mason will look at it, and if he's read it, he'll definitely rate it a pound higher.
Can I ask you what they do with Florian Porter once again? This is our programme book game. He is a 6-year-old. He's rangy enough to go chasing.
Oh, he looks it absolutely, and he jumps well enough.
This would be lovely, wouldn't it, if we saw him turn up in a
When was the last time?
advisory.
When was the last time a Stairs hurdle winner went chasing?
Got to be Thistlecrack, isn't it?
Yeah, Irish's gift went.
Listener Gar, Oscar up and okay. By the way, I've been asking the guys in the gallery about it. Guys in the gallery have been absolutely loving life, by the way. They came out and showed us at the door. They followed in, G. They're mad enough to do it.
Emma's on the telly just now. We can't hear, but I'm sure the guys in the studio will tell us what Emma's been saying.
I'd be amazed if they can hear
I'll
Emma
just tell you
behind
that
that mask.
Oh, he runs so well, and the ground is just a bit quick for him today.
Oh, well, we
That's
will
what
see.
Emma's saying.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've got James Stevens lined up somewhere along the line.
He might be able to tell us.
Get Rob Lee. Well, that's exactly right. Absolutely. Yeah, quite right. The guys on the track doing an amazing job. The protocols, as you can imagine, the green zones, all that sort of stuff. No ordinary Cheltenham, and it isn't for the guys working. All the professionals this week. If you're watching this clip, we absolutely adore you. Thank you for keeping this show on the road. The horse is once again doing the talking. Can we get James Stevens on the line, guys? And we'll see if we can get some quotes for him, from Allaho. Whoa. Okay, we've got, of course, the Marsh winner, Chantry House, and Mrs. Milner as well. Brian Cooper, I'm sure he had quite a bit to say as well. Nothing yet from James. We'll try and get him on the line very shortly along the way. We've got the plate coming up, though, Barry. I think we can probably... Oh, okay. I'm hearing that James is on the line, the true professional he is. And it's a hat trick He's been with us each day so far. How are we doing down there, James?
Hiya, Dave. How's it all going?
Absolutely buzzing in here. Graeme, Rodway's nap of the week pretty much. Just took out the Stayers Hurdle. We got any quotes from that yet?
No, not quite yet. The winner's just come back in. I've just had a chat with Emma Lavelle after Paisley Park. She's extremely happy with the run. She sort of blames it on Matt sharpness more than anything. He hasn't run, of course, since that long walk win at Ascot in late December. So I think it's roll on Aintree or possibly Punchestown.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, James, because we have been chatting in here about whether she might say the ground was a shade quick for him. But of course, they did want to get that run in the Cleve, didn't they? They didn't fancy Weatherby. What about some of the earlier winners, James?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic day so far, isn't it? Envoi Allen, we spoke to him, or Henry de Bromford even. Disappointed, sort of said he launched himself at a fence. He was a little bit keen early on and it just wasn't his day today, unfortunately. But look, he lost nothing in defeat. It was too early to tell, so I'm sure he'll be back. And our Pertemps winner, well, he was too good on the day, wasn't he? Or she?
Yes, you.
Mrs. Milner. Keith, you want to get
Well,
involved?
yeah, it's Allaho that I want to hear about, because I was saying to the lads, I think that might end up being the highest rated chase performance of the season so far.
Yeah, and Allaho, of course. I knew there was one more. Sorry, my memory's not as good as it used to be. Yeah, it was a beautiful performance from the horse. I think Willie Mullins was extremely happy with it, and he's labelled the King George as a future champion. That'd be really interesting.
There's one for Keith. We called it.
We called it in here, James.
Probably should listen to people that have like that, you know. And I'm not being sort of funny about it. When somebody's sort of fancied a horse and got it, then they're maybe the ones to say, "Oh, what do you think next?" Because they've got the horse right.
James, you're one of the lucky ones down there. You've been with us every day. Thanks very much. What's the atmosphere down like there? Are the professionals at least enjoying it?
We're certainly enjoying ourselves. It's a bit quieter here than it was the last 2 days, but no, we've had some really nice stories and some fantastic winners as well, so we feel quite lucky.
We're loving what you're doing, James. Join us tomorrow on Gold Cup Day.
Will do, Dave. Speak to him.
Enjoy.
Brilliant. Great. He's one of our top reporters now, isn't he, James Stevens?
James Jenny, he's sort of our West Country man these days. He's got a lot of good relationships at the Tizards yard in particular. And he's a smashing young reporter. And it's amazing how, even when there's no crowds there, that the Thursday's still the quiet day. I wonder if it'll get busier tomorrow.
OK, HWP8, I hope you're watching James Stevens there. There should be a nod coming his way in December, so say us. OK, right, lovely. Let's move on then to the plate. Handicap time again, back over the fences. Keith Melrose will be really looking forward to this. Will he be taking on the shunter, Barry Orr? What price is he now? The bonus hunter.
Yeah, 11-4 now, having been matched at a high of 11-2. So he's been absolutely smashed up in the market again. Every day he runs has been the same, all the way back to the Great Wood when we covered it back in November, Dave. 3.70, 7.2 far class, away with a C98, and it's 17 bar Sully Dock. 17. Phil Dudardais is 22. I've come down on Sully Dock. I just really like his run in Ascot back in last October. A lot of winners have come out of that race. Edith de Gite has come out and won. Smarty Wild, Fanco Blitz, Copper Coin, Dorking Boy. And if you go back to his run last day behind Clondalk Castle in Newbury, he traded at trees on that day and just made a bad mistake at the last. Now, he's not, stable mightn't be just flying at the moment, and he's easy enough to back it around the 18 mark, but I'm going to back him winning place here, please, Keith. We're going to have 25 quid on the win, and we're going to have 25 quid in the standard place terms here, which would be 4 places. I'm happy to be a price taker again in both of them. I don't want to set the price here. I think they're fair enough, the odds that we're getting there at the moment. So Sully Dock for me, I think he's got sound form claims, and I think he should run a big race in an open race. I thought the favourite you could probably lay it, but Jenny, he could still have a couple of pounds in hand, couldn't he? Like, he just always just seems to do enough, and I'd let him win at that price though.
Fair enough, Barry. Yeah, I think for the purposes of showcasing the exchange, you're doing the absolutely right thing. Don't be afraid to take a price in this race, guys. But let's talk about the shunter then. Won the Moor Battle Hurdle, won the Greatwood Hurdle at the start of this season, didn't he? There's defeat in between at Leopardstown. The defeat was the one that made me think this is my plate horse. Of course, with him having a host of options, he was entered all over the place, this chap,
He was
wasn't
entered in literally every handicap short of 3 miles.
Yeah, so we thought he might go to the county because it's the obvious option. I can't be with him now. If he wins, it's one of those where I'll go, I should have taken the price back then, but it was non-runner, no bet. It came too late for me. I love the horse. I love the fact that he finds extra in his races. If you remember in the Moor Battle at Kelso 2 weeks ago, he looked vulnerable like he does in the Great Wood and all that. He finds a little bit more. Night Edition, the horse that finished second that day, walked through the second last, but I bet you any money he'd have found more. And I think this is probably his trip over fence. It's a brave decision, Keith, isn't it, to switch codes?
I think it's a very sensible decision, actually, because the handicap chases at the festival are just not quite as strong as hurdle. Obviously, a hurdler can always be that bit less exposed than a chaser for obvious reasons. And choosing one of the chasers as a result was a good move. This one over the Grand Annual, presumably because it puts a little bit less pressure on jumping. Yeah, if you need to win any race at the festival and you've given yourself all the entries to do that, the play is the sensible move.
What do you think about his mark, and what do you think about the ground? He's a good ground winner, but that was in a Downpatrick maiden hurdle.
He's not yet sure enough to say that he's not done anything to suggest he should be 5-2 in a race like this. He needs to improve to justify those odds. Remember that Simply the Bets really was a blot last year, and he went off 7-2. So I think this price is artificially short. He's obviously a player, and I think I would struggle to argue against him being favourite, but I think 5-2 is extremely short. You've
got all these runners in this race, and yet the SP of the last 3 winners, the Storyteller we just saw in the Stayers Hurdle, 5-1 Favg, Syrah Dulac, Nick Williams on the 1-1-1 landed a 4-timer on the odds of 9-2, and as Keith mentioned, Simply the Bets, another novice going into handicap 100-30 last time. Before we get Keith's and mine selection, we must give you the floor, and you must have confidence, because as much as you love Flooring Porter, you don't love him as much as you love this horse.
I do love Caribbean Boy. Yeah, I think he's a really talented horse. I think he's potentially Grade 1 class. I almost backed him for the Ryanair after he beat Fiddler on the Roof at Newbury, because it was such a taking performance. He just went round that track almost behind the bridle, I felt. And coming to 2 out, I felt that Daryl Jacob almost thought, well, if Fiddler on the Roof is going to make me really work for this, then I'll let him go and win it, because I think that they felt he wasn't fully fit first time up. But as it was, he was going so well that he just went and won the race anyway. He was a huge drifter that day. And Nicky Henderson came on after winning that race at Newbury and said, I don't think we had him absolutely spot on, and he still won. And when you consider that was Fiddler on the Roof in second, the time was really good that day. The time figure's a Grade 1 time.
Second to Monkfish yesterday?
Fiddler on the Roof was second, and he was giving, I think, weight as well to Fiddler on the Roof. Was it level? It was a major performance anyway. But these 2 runs since have been awful.
Yeah, and the handicapper has only dropped him £1 for those, so he's kept that Newbury race in mind.
Well, I think that, after that race, they had 2 options, didn't they? The Ryanair or the Plate. If he'd gone up any more in the weights, he would have had to run in the Ryanair.
The option of running in the December Gold Cup, which I backed a post for.
Well, you put him up as a double, didn't you, for that Newbury race and in the paper. We don't see that much these days. It used to be a thing you used to see in Trading Post quite a bit, suggesting... and of course, he didn't run, did he?
No, he was about 16s or 14s, and he went and he halved in price straight after, but didn't run. He got put up 10. Of course, it was a few days before the cut-off. His mark, he wasn't a penalty, he got put up £10. And they didn't run him in that, and he's only £1 lower now. It is those. I think you and I had a fight over who got to make him their horse to follow of the season.
That's right.
So asked for a horse to follow. We both went for Caribbean Boy. I've gone off him a bit after those 2 runs. I don't like a Henderson horse that loses their form. There's only one way after that, really, in a lot of cases, when there's no obvious reason. So I have gone off him a little bit. I've had a little savour on him in the end, to be honest, because of Graeme Rodway.
He's got the shine on him now. Well, the Rodder's shine.
But I can't sit there while he cheers at home and I've not been on.
Of course.
So having a little bit on him, but he's not
your headline
main selection. My main selection in this race finished second to Simply the Bets last year. I've backed Happy Diva each way. Now I put her up strongly at Warwick. I didn't entertain the possibility, which was stupid of me, that she would be getting spot on for another go at Cheltenham, which is I think what was happening, because she drifted that day, travelled fine, but didn't really do much off the bit. She doesn't suit these small field mares races, the type she's running the last twice. She suits big field handicaps at Cheltenham. She is now £4 lower than when she was second last year at Simply the Bets. She's a year older, but you were getting 25-1 earlier in the week, and she was only running in this race. Yeah. So she was a good bet then. She's still a decent bet now, especially when you're getting 5-6 places. And, you know, in a race like this where you could have a horse run £5 ahead of its mark and finish third, each way's the way to play it. And that's what I've done with the Happy Diva.
This trip, every inch of it is absolutely perfect for Happy Diva. And her Cheltenham form, she made her debut at Cheltenham, she finished 8th. Since that, completed starts read 2-2-1-2. My worry, and I said this to Paul Keeley, who also likes her in the office this morning. We're doing feature shows, etc. I'm not sure she wants this ground. He goes, "Don't be so ridiculous," he said. And she hasn't won on good ground.
Why did Keeley say that?
I don't know. He just sort of batted it off. She's got a very good to soft record.
Did he bat it off in the same way he batted off Chacun Pour Soi getting up the hill?
Yeah, some blows coming in, absolutely for kills. But yeah, no, well, he's very keen in this horse as well. Richard Patrick gets on with it very well. 10-year-olds in this race, that's interesting, isn't it?
I mean, she does.
One 10-year-old has won it, can you remember it? 2011, to give you some hope.
Was it Ballynagur then? Or?
It's really hard to remember. It's Homewood Legend for Patrick.
Was that
Watford.
10, was it? I remember that winning, but God, I couldn't have told you it was 10.
Talking about statistics, Caribbean Boy will, according to the handicapper, be the best winner of this in the last 10 years if he carries 153.
It's a high mark. You know,
149 simply the bet, so
yeah,
a couple of pounds in it.
He'll have to be a proper graded horse to win, but don't get me wrong, I've got a mate who trades for some firms, and he reckons that one of the best handicap systems at the Cheltenham Festival is just to back heavily backed favourites in handicaps, because everyone thinks that, oh well, they're so competitive, you know, they can't possibly be value, and then they just win, you know. And this is probably the heaviest backed favourite of all the handicaps all week so far.
Yeah, and he's chasing £100,000, isn't he, having won the Moor battle? Okay, I'll give you my selection now. It's Fidu Dairies for Joseph O'Brien, who could do with a bit of a change of luck after Fidu Dairies finished second, a distant second, to Allaho in the Ryanair. This chap has, when he won, Navan, I think, wasn't it? Or was it Nace? I can't remember. He looked, I had him straight away, all right, this is a handicap, probably the plate. He then chased home Envoi Allen. You'll remember in Envoi Allen's prep race, and he upsized the last. That was the time when a few people, like myself, were saying, "Oh, I want to see more from Envoi." Then he's since gone and run. Was it behind Monkfish? He ran. It was, wasn't it? And that was over a trip 2.5, and it stretched him. He was very keen that day. So a proper pace, I think, is really what this guy wants. If you watch back his Irish run, still got time to do that, 5 minutes to the race, he is one of these play your hand late. Experience is the worry, and Joseph O'Brien says as much. But Donald Milo's got to know. He's a big drifter, I think, Barry, isn't he, Fidu Dairies?
Yeah, he's at the 24 now. He was 25 just a couple of minutes ago, but money coming for it. I'd say off the back of you, giving it an honourable mention. It was a horse I was given a chance to as well, Dave, for the very same reasons. In the Leopardstown race behind Monkfish, he was actually with them after jumping to second last, and he just kind of gave way late on. So although he's beaten 44 lengths at the finish, he didn't get a hard race after his chance had gone. And that Envoi Allen run, Envoi won doing handsprings that day, but yeah, he had an honourable second to him, and his beaten Brayside in Navan looked a good run. And he's in there with a fighting chance with Donald Myler in the play.
I'll tell you, yeah, so look, he's that one. But I have had a couple of other goes. Farclas, a horse that just looks nailed on to me to be bang there coming up the home straight. This is a Triumph Hurdle winner who got his experience over fences early. Some books I know were on to me this morning saying all the big players are out for this. Jack Kennedy on, of course. This is just, I think, if Jack Kennedy plays it as I expect him to, he would be the one now that I would be leaning slightly more to. Actually, I do my selection in the morning, of course. But the shunter for me, I love the horse. Too short. I think I can't be with him in this. Let him win. Caribbean Boy, probably slightly too high for me. Happy Diva, the ground will be a slight way for win. Fidu Dairies, I'm worried about the experience. Farclas, they're my two. What about a Wave of the Sea? Anyone who, of course, won at the Dublin Festival?
Yeah, well, that was a good race, wasn't it? But you do get the feeling that maybe that was his day. And the shunter was behind him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I want to throw one in at a massive price.
Please do.
I backed Huntsman's Son. This one has got a good bits and pieces of form on good ground, including when he beat 2 for Gold at Wetherby with Happy Diva in behind. Happy Diva's half the price that Huntsman's Son is.
Which wasn't fit that day either, to be fair.
And last time he was behind Chatham House Lad, is it?
Yeah. Chatham Street Lad.
Pulled up, But the ground was soft that day, proper soft, Cheltenham soft ground. He doesn't like soft ground, Huntsman.
Yeah,
son.
we had Alex Hales on the show prior to that weekend, and because we thought he did have a bit of a chance. You know, he's looked interesting. He was 9th to Applutard in the novice handicap, and they really fancied him. He's had problems with his wind, this horse. He was he did a column, didn't he, in the weekend when Nicky Watts was, and he said that was the worst season I've ever had. Alex Hales, one of the good guys, 3rd in the Supreme, of course, was for pleasure. First race of the meeting. Alistair Down has befriended Keelan Woods, the great Al Down, and he told me last week when I had a chat with him, he said, I'm on one here. He goes, they're expecting a much better run from Huntsman's son, he said. And yeah, I can see it. I can definitely see it, G.
He's 40 to 1 at the moment, I think, and he's around, 70 or something on Betfair, so I don't think you can go wrong having a few small quid each way on him.
We've got some old favourites in this race, Top Notch as well. There's something forgotten on horse in the top weight, Luca Morgan, big race for him. He's claiming 7. Old Grangewood would be in as well. Cool Cody's in here as well. That was an interesting run, wasn't it, at Kempton last time? It stank of a Cheltenham handicap. I'm surprised Evan Williams' run is not a bit shorter.
Yeah, he had his day in the Paddy Power. He got a great ride and nicked that race. You'd be very surprised if he got to nick this one.
He wasn't asked to lead behind Tamarack, was he?
Oh no, he was there to get fit for Cheltenham. There's no question.
That's what I'm absolutely in the Pendle. So I'm surprised he's that big. Mr. Whittaker. Remember him? What on earth's happened to him? Hold the Note coming up in the Kim Muir for the same connections.
It's all the old favourites, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
They all turn up for these 2.5 mile handicap chases. There's about 5 of them, is there, every year?
Well, I've picked them out. In fact, did you read my thing today? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, that's a few,
There's 5 or 6 of them that I've run multiple times over course and distance.
Okay, Barry, last word for the market. I was just looking down to see exactly what it's going. Looks like Farclas is coming in for love, yeah.
Yeah, Farclas is strong 6.4, but the favourite's very, very strong at 5-2 now, 3.5. Interesting you mentioned Wave of the Sea there. I thought he might have gone the Grand Annual route with him. I was giving it a bit of a chance, but if you go back, he's a Grade 1 winning hurler over as a juvenile back in 2020. And what did he beat that day? He beat Wolf Prince, the horse that you fancy in the County Hurl. Did I hear you give that a mention earlier? One of the panel fancied in the County Hurl. Yeah.
He's on my shortlist for the County tomorrow, second race of the day here on RP Live. Okay, yeah, he's a real tough horse away from the sea, and the shunter just got caught out a little bit by Leopardstown on the trip that day. So, ding, round 2 for those two. Bit surprising. There's such a discrepancy in the market. Good luck then, wherever you're playing in the 340. They're lining up. Oh, gee, what's the start? He can't wait to wave that flag, can he?
That's all right. Oh, that's all right.
Oh, yeah, what? There's someone have a word with this man. What's going on there?
The shunter was going to lead.
Unbelievable season. Farclas was there as well. What's wrong with that? You could see him twitching, couldn't you?
That was that. I thought it was fair enough in the Ryanair, but that was too.
I'm sorry, but this is
much.
Now again. We had this yesterday on the show. Bruce Millington said too much is made of full starts. What's the problem with it? Grow up and all that. Sort of stuff. I think it's bad. It looks bad if you're a newcomer.
And you know what? Mick Fitzgerald says the most important part of a jumps race is the start.
Absolutely, and we've seen so many horses over the years at Cheltenham Festival. Those horrible standing starts get caught wide and leave it. Of course, you saw it in the Betfair Hurdle, didn't we, at Newbury last season?
Walking noise. He won't let them go this time either. No, he won't. Of course he won't.
Oh, no.
What? And this time he's let him go, hasn't he?
No, now we have to have a standing.
That is an absolute Horlicks. And this, I don't know, come on.
I think the first one was actually better than that, don't you?
Yes.
Well, that was never going to get
that was never a goal.
That's an absolute.
Come on, Les, now you've got to stand.
He's not actually waved his flag this time.
Now half the
I think I think he let them go, and it was
That's
the jockeys.
What I think. I think he let them go as well. This is an absolute shambles.
And when the jockeys didn't go, he's going, well, I've got to stop this.
Yeah, I don't like calling out officials.
He has to drop his flag to let them go. He never dropped his flag.
I think I got a feeling he did. Look, it's a standing start now, which is
where's the man with the tape?
Absolute shambles. But I don't like calling out officials. Last thing you want to do. But you did it yesterday.
Why not?
He's had a mare.
The gallery have just laughed at you there because you've done it several times.
Have I? Well, no, this was started with you. Anyway, okay.
Mine's going to get left. Come on.
You're watching a close up, probably. Yeah. What's the point of waving your
flag?
No. Come on. Absolute mare, this isn't it? Try explaining this to someone who's new to the sport.
It's like an Abbott and Costello sketches. It's ridiculous.
They were funny. They were great, weren't they?
What are you doing?
This is an absolute mare now, isn't it? No horses have lit themselves up, which is a good thing. But I don't know. It's not ideal. And
get out of the way of Miles. Get out of the way of it.
That's Paddy's poem turning round.
What are you doing?
Came good over the trip. Caraboy and Boy. Yeah,
Mine don't want to start now.
Oh, this ain't. I'll tell you what, he's given Daryl Jacobs given the starter an absolute earful there. You can see it. Huntsman's son round the back. Who's right out on the wing, Keith? Looks like
Far side, it's a maroon colour of some sort, isn't it?
Well, that's a jiggy, isn't it? Which one?
Sandhorse Assemble.
Yeah, well, it could be a Gigginstown.
Well, he's fallen the last twice. That'd be why Rachel Blackmore's having a good look.
Come on, Daryl, get him up now. What's going on now?
I've just had a text off
Paddy,
Chris Cook, actually, who's telling me he also tipped Flooring Porter. So you're not,
Did he?
yeah, there's a newbie at the post who's joined you on the podium. He did on a feature show we did on Friday. He was very keen on it as well.
Take a turn. Come
and
on.
take the 10th turn. If you're wondering what's going on, having just joined us here on
He has
RP
to
Live,
just let them go now. There
the
you go.
starters had an absolute mare, not for the first time in
See,
handicaps.
look,
And
mine's
they're
got
off and
no
running.
start.
Okay, Fidu Dere maybe hampered a
The
little
shunter
bit.
has
but
gone in front
thankfully
again.
They're okay. If it's hampered anyone, it's probably called Cody, who loves the start, isn't it? But the shunter right up there early, Keith Melrose over the first. They're right strung out.
Yeah, they have indeed. It's two Tafts has gone up there as well, and you've got Cool Cody is squeezing up the inside now. He wants to get the prominent position. He jumped the first in about midfield. He's going to jump the third in about fourth.
Okay, Fiju Deleri right out the back. And as I said, this is a horse that likes to come there on the bridle. We'll see if he can make up that ground under Donna Myler. Week in the betting. Caribbean Boy, G. Nice sit. I don't think you can be too worried about that.
That's an absolute horrible place to be in, Dave.
What?
He definitely lined up like he wanted to make the run-in, but...
You should be lucky he's not making the running.
He wants to make the run-in, Caribbean Boy.
What is this that's gone to the front in the McNeil colours?
Kilteely Bridge.
This is called Kilteely
I'll
Bridge.
go as far as saying I think he's beat already, Caribbean Boy.
Caribbean Boy, and this is on the starter,
He has
right?
to make the running, this horse.
This is on the starter.
And the standing start, he was too slowly away. But I've said this yesterday, I hate standing starts. I would rather them come in 6 times and have 6 full starts.
If you've got any sense about you whatsoever, you'll be backing Caribbean Boy now. You know the curse is there. Okay, let's look for some of the big players. Away for the sea, out the back at the moment, isn't he? Just observing from rear. Sully Doc AA, one of a terrible name that, isn't it? But Barry's selection is
a lot
of people just skip the AA.
Oh, do they?
It's still a rubbish name, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
just Sully Doc. All right, you can tell I've called him
before.
before.
I think the AA it signifies something to do with the breeding. That it's not a pure thoroughbred or something to do like that.
The gallery saying I've had a mare like the starter. Well, that is harsh. Happy Diva, Keith, got a nice set. I think we can agree on that.
Possibly. She
man.
normally sits a bit more prominently than that, but I'm not disappointed with where she is. She got in tight to 1, but she's jumped fine otherwise. She's literally...
Very happy where Farclara
I
is,
best
guys.
hope that midfield's a place to be, because Happy Diva's right on the inside of Caribbean Boy.
Okay, right on the inside. So they're upsides each other, the panellists, at the minute. Farclara, like I said, just fiddling them a little bit, but a nice
It's funny, I just had a text from a friend of mine who was also on Caribbean Boy.
It's not Jersey John, is it?
He says Caribbean is going to miss the start, and he did. Chance gone, shambles.
Oh, well, like you can fickle punter, and when he comes jumping the last, I'll tell you what, you should still be moaning about the start
to
then.
make it is a bit. I mean, he's only running small fields, and he is a fast horse, so I can see why you think he want to be out in the front.
They've definitely steadied
only
it because a
running
couple of the
small
closers are now trying to get a bit shod, closer to the lead.
Mr. Whitaker's right out of the back, which I didn't
They're
necessarily
not really
expect.
going to pace it. The shunter's pulling a bit, Barry. Has that affected his odds, or has he gone, oh, he's going short, Barry?
Yeah, he certainly is. He's 238 now, and there's still a circuit to go. So 6-4 chance, 248 now.
One of the reasons why people love Jack Kennedy is because he's with tactical nous, and he is not taking his eyes off the shunter on Farclad, a second favourite. Winged that quite nicely as well. Sully Doc on the inside.
First 6 years getting away. I don't think they're going much of a gallop here at all, particularly.
They're not at all. And the shunter, he's got stamina to fully prove, but yeah, you're in the right position, aren't you? I think Caribbean Boy...
I think you want to be in the first half dozen in this, I think.
Okay, that's the call from Keith Melrose. Assemble fell the last twice, but it's them, isn't it? Rachel Blackmore and Henry de Bromhead on the outside, looking for the third string of JP's.
Dead right, struggling a bit. Dead right,
Where's
struggling.
Champagne Court right out the back
Right
as
out
well?
the
Horse that might
back,
have been proved for the best
Mr.
ground.
Whitaker is right at the back as well.
What's that in the black and orange as well? Maypole Cross, a big outside. Where's Top Notch? Where's he running at the minute?
Huntsman's son sneaking up the inside and
He's
going all right.
Yeah, he's sneaking. Caribbean Boy's beat. He was beaten at the start.
He's
Okay. You can write about that in your column tomorrow, G. Okay, 2022.
Field
Get the
hour.
starts right. Farclay, I'm really happy with him at the moment. My second pick is there.
Hailing a
Happy
cab,
Diva
Richard
mixed up.
Patrick, yeah.
Fidu Derry, he's got loads of horse underneath him as expected.
Paddy's
but
Poem's travelling quite well
Hasn't
as well.
jumped great.
he hasn't jumped great. It's that experience that was the big worry about
Old
him.
Grange
I
Wood
think.
travels into it quite nicely.
Sully Doc's travelling well.
Sully Doc's on the inside. Richie McClernand, a really good jockey when he's got one travelling. Farclay warming up.
I mean, everything's
big money on
travelling,
this
really.
early on, we heard. Paddy's Poem still in there. Old Grangewood, 2 Tufts, a Team Skelton.
What about the favourite? Do you want to be on the Shunter? Do you want to be on him?
There's
There's
Shunter's gotta be the one to beat, isn't he?
involved. There's too many
The
involved to be
Shunter's going
confident.
so well, he's pulling
Barry,
away.
third
Look.
last. Loads of horses still going for it. Who's going to be the buzzer?
Shunter.
The Shunter.
226.
I'll tell you what,
226
Farclay's got some
Now
horses
5-6
behind him.
Farclay.
He's
Okay, who's
absolutely
this coming?
tanking.
This is Top Notch, is it, on the outside
Top notch
as
on
well?
the outside, yeah. Top notch
The
running a
Shunter,
massive
the
race.
bonus. Kelso
Shunter
preparing
is
the check
absolutely
as we speak.
cruising.
Farclay rolling away. Kilteely Bridge still there. They haven't gone that fast. Oh, it's a messy race now. Farclay nearly got brought down off the turn. Up the home straight.
Oh,
the
there's still
Shunter.
10
He's in
can still
front.
win this.
Farclay's
Shunter
absolutely
is
flying.
absolutely
Will he
cruising.
get a run? Look at Farclay. the
Old
grey.
Grange Wood's coming out the pack.
Fly it, Farclay, fire! Oh, he's had a terrible run. He's absolutely steaming,
Happy Diva
Farclay.
staying on. Come on,
One
Richard.
more fence. Farclay might still get this. The Shunter's gone, has he? Top Notch is there. Farclay's had a mare of a run. He's going to go
Oh,
up
it's
now.
close.
Come on, Farclay. Come on, my old son.
Oh,
Fill
he
your
keeps
lungs.
finding. You did say it, Davey. Keep
Come on!
finding.
The Shunters keep finding. Farclay's going. It's too late. The bonus
Look
is
at
landing
Caribbean
in
Boy.
the plate.
Caribbean Boy's going to finish 6th.
Farclay in second, unbelievable, rough race, but Jordan Gainford, third time lucky for your man, cool as a cucumber, beautifully placed. The battle has been landed for the Shunter. He keeps finding.
Yeah, you said it. You cost your own chance of winning that.
I know, absolutely. The Shunter is just one of those horses, Emmett Mullins, take a bow. The plan has been landed. Isn't it lovely to see one of these horses run so close to the festival, following up? Absolutely lovely.
Cool Cody's run really well for 4th.
Cool Cody,
Top Notch
considering
run
the
a
start,
belter
didn't
for
have.
third.
Was that Top Notch?
Yeah, it's
in
Top
third?
Notch.
Assembles run a blinder.
Huntsman's Son's really nicely for 6th and Caribbean Boy 7th. Silly Duck 8th.
Please tell me you
9th.
took all the. Did you get Guard Your Dreams places?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, on Huntsman's Son.
No, and the one that was behind him.
Caribbean Boy is 7th. So
Mate, you've got it.
No, there's no 7 places available. Only 6 on this race.
Okay.
Caribbean Boy, I mean, that just lost that race at the start. I'm sorry, but he's run an amazing race to finish that close from that
And
start.
he did get.
I mean, the Shunters won
get
easily,
behind.
but,
Yeah.
but
I don't think you're beating the Shunter particularly.
I think it would have been a different race.
Barry, the
I mean,
two
look-
favourites have fought it out. This is the third time in a row that the Festival Plate has gone to a last time out winner. We feel a bit for Farclay. He nearly got brought down on the turn. We'll watch that coming up, but they never went over 2-1 from 4 fences out, did they?
No, they didn't, Dave, and all the way down to the basement price. It looked like there might be a bit of a buckle jump at the last, but he's a horse that just keeps finding, doesn't he? He was the same in the Moore battle. It looked like the horse of Twist and Davis's was going to do him, but he just keeps pulling it out. That's why he doesn't get slaughtered by the handicapper, you know? The runner-up Farclay straight at low, 1.92 for 290 quid. Top Notch hit a low of 4.6, 7-2 in running for a few quid as well, but the winners absolutely danced in. They've landed the 100-grand bonus as well, which is great to see for all connections. And great training performance. Like he won the Great Wood back there in November, didn't he?
Yes.
And he comes back and wins at the festival, wins over fences. What a remarkably
That's a double you won't see.
horse.
You might never see that double again. The Great Wood and the Plate in a season.
You don't think ever?
I wouldn't have thought so.
No, it'll be very, very rare. It'll be very rare.
Let's have a word for Emmett Mullins then. Barry, I'm going to come to you first. When Cape Gentleman won the Dovecote a couple of weeks ago at Kempton, we said this is quickly becoming one of the target trainers out there.
Yeah, and an old colleague of you guys over here in Ireland, anyway, Paul Byrne, ex-Racing Post employee, he seems to have a big string in the yard. He has plenty of runners, and he seems to be backing Emmett all the way. They're a good team together, and he's a good judge himself, Paul Byrne. So, yeah, Emmett's he's a rich heritage, obviously, in horse racing, and he's inherited plenty of guile, and he's well able to plot one out, isn't he? He hasn't had many runners in England, but I'd say his strike record in the UK is well above 40 or 50%.
That's a good shout, actually. We'll check that out. What I love about this, it was for me, it was brave. They could have gone to the county and people would have gone, it makes sense. You know, it's a completely different discipline, G, isn't it? And I know you're still... actually, I've just watched Caribbean Boy back. That's very eye-catching, isn't it? He's in a race where he didn't want to get too far back. He has flown home. I think you can be vindicated morally somewhat there, even if you're out of pocket. But... this winner and the trainer, it's good to see aggressive campaigning, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he's been one of the stories of the season, hasn't he? The shunter, now landing the bonus, winning the big race at Kelso, winning the big race in November over hurdles. As Keith
Martin
says.
Pipe-like, isn't it?
Yeah, that won't be repeated. I'll be very surprised. No, certainly not for a while. And he's just a very good horse, isn't he? And he's been, well, interestingly campaigned.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
Such was the buzz after he won the Moor Battle. We were being told by reporters on course that the Kelso officials actually were that convinced he was going to win this. They said, "Where would you like the trophy and the bonus to be? Which day would you like us to send it down to Cheltenham?" Apparently, Emmett actually said probably the Friday. So the fact they came here was a tip in itself. We have to give a word to Jordan Gainford as well. The £7 conditional, the £7 conditional. This was the big one, I suppose. Second on the Boss's Oscar as well.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. I mean, as long as he can go out there and put in an adequate ride, which he's done more than that, hasn't he?
He's really shown some guile off the home turn. A lot of boys would have gone for it, wouldn't they?
He's going to be, you know, I mean...
Watch Farclay here, by the way, guys.
Yeah, I'm watching him. I'm watching this one. I'm watching Assemble shape really well as well.
Yeah, he nearly clips heels there, Farclas.
Tell you who's Assemble is shaping extremely well.
Well, when he finishes, he's obviously a very, very good horse, Assemble, isn't he?
Oh yeah, look at this.
Happy Diva's running on towards the end, Keith.
She sort of got briefly involved there. Nothing in the second half of the field, halfway down the back, got involved at all. The one that came from furthest back is Assemble.
Yeah.
Huntsman's son ran well off the pace.
Dead. He's run a nice race.
Oh, Fidu Dairy came down at the last.
Caribbean boy is going to win one of these races. I mean, look at this up the
Look how Assemble's shaping. I think this is shaped really well.
Yeah, but the problem is with him, they've had to kept him widest.
The shunter is running through the line.
It might be a terrible jumper.
He does keep finding this horse, and
he
he probably
went
graded
through the
horse,
line there, the shunter. I mean, he's absolutely...
He just keeps picking up at the edge. Look, we're seeing the groom. He's got a bit of the bonus. He's absolutely loving life. We can see down at the Sassfig. Happy days. What a shame.
We've got to say, in the way I kind of agree with Bruce in that I don't often see it as Britain v Ireland, but it's been a bit ridiculous this year, hasn't it? I mean, the Irish domination is... I mean, if you're a British trainer and you're a British racing fan, I think, you know...
It's almost looked too good to be true, doesn't it?
You want to see it a little bit more close than this. I mean, every single Irish horse that turns up...
Nicky's done his best, hasn't he, to level it up today.
The more sort of pragmatic point is if you're only really watching British or Irish racing, you're a partner that says, I'm Irish and I watch Irish racing, or I'm British and I watch the British racing. When it comes to something like Cheltenham, you're snookered.
Yeah,
if you're British. You know, if you're not watching much Irish racing, then your focus is on the British horses.
Well, you wouldn't be too far from that. You watch the top Irish racing.
Yeah, I watch the good Irish racing, so I know these horses a little bit, but I only know they're big races.
It's difficult to keep your eye on everything. That's one thing you should understand out there. It really, really is. But look, Gamble landed. He won the Moor Battle. A word for the Moor Battle as well, the new Imperial.
Well, I think so, because I told you at the time, I'm convinced that the Pipes ran their Imperial Cup horse in the Moor Battle.
Night Edition, who was second in the Boodles last year and wasn't unfortunately high enough to get here. They were a race behind time with Night Edition to get him early in the season here. And
keep an eye on him, because he's given a shunter a real race at Kelso.
If he goes to Aintree, it might not actually be his track. He's going to be really short price now, isn't he? Night Edition. He's only got £4 or £5 for that.
Yeah, really short price, but yeah, he's not going to be missed, is he?
No, Caribbean boy, definitely got to give him another chance. He could go to Aintree, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's quite a big horse, isn't he? So whether a sharp test around Aintree will be...
Is he in the top?
Ideal for him, I'm not sure. Yeah, he could be in the top, and that might suit him.
Get him out there pinging him.
He jumps really well, that
Yeah, he does. Get him out there pinging him in the top.
Yeah, that's a good call, Keith.
Okay, that was the penultimate race here on RP Live on Thursday. I said on the show on Saturday, when do you start getting FOMO, the fear of missing out, the fear of the festival ending? It's usually after the Supremes when I start thinking, this is just the best week of the year, isn't it, competition-wise? And usually, no, there's going to be a lot said about that. But I don't know, even in a race like that, how can you not get excited? I know the Irish have won it again, first two in the race, but there was so much drama in these races. It's wonderful to see, and this is just the best week of the year. When do you start thinking, it's going to be another couple of weeks to Aintree now?
Well,
the Gold Cup's the biggest race of the week by far, and as soon as the Gold Cup's over and the sort of glow of that's gone,
it's interesting though, isn't it? Because a lot of people fear the Friday as a punting day now. mainly because it's bucketed down, but they've moved the races around a little bit, and it's become ungettable for a lot of punters.
Well, and after the Gold Cup, you've got the Fox Hunter, which is very specialist. You know, I don't follow the points and the Hunters closely enough to be all over that. And then you've got the Mares Chase now, which is a decent punting proposition this year, but you can foresee a lot of years in future where it isn't.
I think it's a bit of a tragic race, to be honest.
And then you've got
a bit of a tragic race.
The Mares race.
The new Mares race.
It's actually,
there's a lot of horses that I think I'll be surprised if Ellie Mae doesn't go and win it.
Well, after what happened with Allaho.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. I just think I think we're going to see.
She finished 4 lengths behind Allaho, and Allaho's just.
Now, Paul Reevy might be the second favourite, same stable.
We said about Allaho though that he was all about the Ryanair. Really, that wasn't real Allaho. He's a stone better than that.
Yeah. Okay. So when do we start? Are you thinking, oh man, I've got the Kempton and you talk?
No, I tell you what. One of the things I love to do, and I try and save it for the Friday night or the Friday morning. I like the Midlands National. So I like that. That's always.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Why doesn't that surprise us? We will be covering that this Saturday. Kempton, the silver meeting, as you call it, horses that were balloted out. We haven't got really time to go into that, but that'll be slightly weaker this meeting.
If you want to hear the dog after Cheltenham, what are you wanting?
Yeah,
you want a big old plod, aren't you?
Yeah, fair enough. And we think you might, despite the fact it's looked dry out there, guess what? It's soft at your toes.
Honestly, you could just spit on the ground on a jog round there and it's going to turn up soft, heavy in places, isn't it?
You'll have a couple of false patches, and there's a horse that's going to be a hot pot in that, isn't there, of course?
Time to get up.
Time to get
I'm
up.
going to have twice as much on because I thought he'd win the Kim Muir.
Yeah, so did I. And they're just going straight for that. We will be covering that on Saturday. Charlie Post will be back with us with Tom Collins, 10 Point Tom, and Barry will be back for that as well. And we will be dissecting everything from of course, Cheltenham. Anything Cheltenham afterwards. Talk about 2022, what wins at Aintree, what wins the National. Don't worry about it. This Saturday, the show goes on. Don't worry about that. We have one more race to go. It is the Mares Novice. And usually we see a real hot pot in this, something very short. This time around, Barry, what is it, 5-1 the field?
Yeah, it's 5 to field, bang on. Royal Kahala is 5, 7.0. Tell me something, girl. She's been the real springer in the race. She has been matched at 18, smaller for bigger sums, 60 odd quid at 18, and all the way down in the honeysuckle colours. Tell me something, girl. 7.0. Hookup is 7.6, 9.6 Galois, and it's 10 bar. The horse I like in her, the filly I like in it is Galois. She 2 runs in Turles. Now, the ground was soft both days, but she was very convincing in them. She won them by a combined distance of just under 10 lengths. And then she ran in the really good mare's race in Fairy House, where she finished 3rd behind Rosie's Hollow. Rosie's Hollow, obviously a 10-1 chance in this. But Royal Kahala was in that as well, was 11-10 favourite. She was 3.5 lengths off Royal Kahala. It was only her 3rd run. So I think there's a bit of improvement in her. I'm going to just have a straight win bet on her, though, because I think she'll either win or she'll bomb out. She won't get a hard race if her chances are gone. So I'm not that interested in the place here. Keith, at 9.6, I think, is eminently fair. So we'll take the 50 quid at 9.6 on Galois with Paul Townend in the play.
Is it Gaulois, isn't it? It's like cigarettes, isn't it?
Gaulois, yeah, but it's...
is that, I don't think... Is that
it's a French cigarette brand, yeah.
Yeah, it's strong cigarette. I seem to
Well,
remember cigarette smoking days.
Okay. You had a Gaulois, didn't you?
Okay, all right, there we go. So Gaulois, it is for Barry.
Like you, Dave, no filters on them.
Exactly. I don't know about that. Yeah, all right, fair enough. Guilty. Okay, so it's the Mayor's Race. Let's give you some trends on this then. There have been, 2016 was its inauguration. Guess who's won it every year? Willie Mullins. And indeed, Barry going for, perhaps not the one I thought, a Gaulois, but is the pick of Paul Townend as well. Somewhat surprised I was about that when I saw Hookup wasn't the mount of Paul Townend. Danny Mullins, of course, who's on a double. Happy days, no problems whatsoever with him. Hookup is my selection. I liked Rosie's Hollow for this. Something, I just looked at it, I wonder whether she might find it a bit speedy on the drying ground. I've deserted her. I will cover her. Rosie's Hollow is an absolutely lovely mare. Love her to bits. But Hookup, I think you just have to look at that form. Behind Appreciate It last time at Leopardstown. The Dublin Racing Festival, guess what? Just seen another advert for that in the plate. And she was a huge eye-catcher in that. She'll be ridden cold. Hopefully she'll be coming steaming home after the last.
I almost put her up because she doesn't jump very well, does she? She'll be the fastest horse in the race, I suspect. But I just wondered, she's hit a lot of fence. I hit a lot of flights in her career. That was my one concern with her. It's a very, very competitive race. So yeah, no, that was. I mean, Hookup is one I could make a case for. Royal Kahala is another one I could make a very strong case for. I came down before the money came on. Tell Me Something Girl. I came down on her.
Yeah.
I liked that handicap form last time. I thought she shaped quite
Huge
well.
eye catcher.
Oh, massively. Coming out the back, and I think 2 miles will suit her. I don't think she was 2 mile 2 that day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And just gave the impression she wouldn't mind going back down and trip rider a bit
Won
more
by?
prominently. Oh, it was a horse that's running again this week, isn't
Heaven
it?
help us.
Yes, that's right.
Who, of course, took out the Coral Cup yesterday.
Yeah. Well, and it did it from the front again a bit, didn't it?
Yeah,
And
and
nothing got involved from anywhere and off the back apart from Tell Me Something Girl.
Yes.
And yeah, I thought she was a real eye catcher in that race, and I think 2 miles will be no problem to her at all. Yeah, so that's what I think about this race.
she's in rather famous colours, along with Gulwars, isn't she?
Well, she's seemingly the Kenny Alexander second.
I know, absolutely remarkable. Yet with Rachel Blackmore on. Okay, did we get the trainer tally and the jockey tally so far? We'll try and get that.
I saw it after the Ryanair, and Rachel was too clear
Too clear of Paul.
of Paul. Yeah.
Oh.
And since then, Danny Mullins has won, and your lad the claimer. So we're
As we are, as we were.
are, yeah.
What about Henry and Willie? I'm sure Willie's got to be in top, hasn't he? Probably at the minute.
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Is there any British hope in this race, G?
No.
Not the glancing
Right,
queen. for
that's
you.
enough. That's enough.
Yes. Move on. Typical.
Well,
let's get your tip
isn't.
then.
I mean, this is going to go to the Irish again. Willie Mullins has won it every year, but I think,
I sense you're getting frustrated about this.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the British perform a little bit better. I mean, I'm not particularly
15-4, you're getting beat at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not particularly
He
patriotic.
prods us with a stick.
I'm not particularly patriotic when it comes to racing. I tend to be more patriotic when it comes to other sports, but I like to see competitiveness, and this is an absolute pasting, isn't it? The British trainers are taking a pasting.
Did you read Alistair Downs' piece yesterday about how since he started going to Cheltenham in the 70s, nothing has changed more in the world than the Cheltenham Festival? And he says, you know, it used to be a place where the small trainer could go. He was delighted that Paul Hennessy, for example, showed that anyone can still do it. You know, the classic greyhound trainer has a few horses, goes and wins the Coral Cup. I suppose you could say Emmett Mullins, slightly smaller yard, trickier. But
If Emmett Mullins is a little guy,
yeah,
then
right.
you're looking at the military-industrial complex, aren't you?
But he's not one of the big three, four.
No, he's only making his way in the game, isn't he, Emmett?
Yeah. I mean,
He's
it's
only
not
building up his string. He's a young trainer. He's only late 20s.
It's not like when dairy farmers used to win the Gold Cup, though, is it?
No, well, but
No, it's not Norton's coin, but there
Yeah,
wasn't
exactly.
many of them either, was
No,
there?
it's true
yeah,
enough.
but Alistair does say back in the day, I remember when such and such were having doubles and trainings I never heard
Didn't
of.
we?
you know.
We listed them off earlier. The amount of the average trainers that have won Gold Cups. There's lots of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell you
Yeah.
the one I didn't know
don't
until
really name names, but yeah, there are some
You
surprising.
don't
names
have
on
to
that list.
be a genius to train a Gold Cup winner. History tells us that.
You need the right sort of horse for a Gold Cup a lot of the time, isn't it? Because they do need. You need
Dare
a
I
3 mile.
say Lord Windermere,
You need
my old pal.
You need a 3 mile
in
stare in a bit. But the story I've heard recently, but you know, Colin Russell, the Racing Post stalwart, he came that close to winning the Fox Hunter one year as a
Did he
trainer.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
in the
right.
early 80s. There's a really good story about it if you look it up. The jockey was apparently
Leathery
terrible.
Colin Russell.
Wow, he's a real old northerner, is Russell.
Yeah, it still lends out a hand
Lovely
a little
man.
bit.
Yeah,
Lovely man.
Everyone loves Colin, yeah. And you'll remember him, of course, if you've been around for a couple of years in racing. Okay, we're digressing slightly. I've jumped off Rosie's Hollow for a headline tip of Hookup. Can you remind us, Keith Melrose?
Yeah, tell me something, girl.
Tell me something, girl. G, complete the quintet.
Royal Kahala for me. I think that she's got the best form in the race.
Why does she reverse it with Rosie's
She's got a
Hollow?
big pull in the weights.
Better
I
at the
think.
weights
Yeah,
now.
£9 is it?
Yeah.
Should be more than enough to reverse those places.
She would have been beaten by Hookup, albeit getting weight off her, when Hookup did indeed clout the last one second on her penultimate run. Apparently she's travelled over beautifully, according to Pete Fahey. It'd be great to see Kevin Sexton and Pete Fahey, you know, another Irish win, but not the monopoly that we're talking about.
Well, yeah, it's going to be another Irish win, whatever, isn't it? Unless there's some sort of huge upset. I think the first 6, 8, 7, 8, 9
Yeah.
in the market are all Irish.
Yes.
And half of them are trained by Mullins, which is one of my bugbears, isn't it? Mares races, Lots of mares races. Mullins just wins.
Well, he has more mares than anyone, I would wager.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you need that mayor's programme, but my sort of contest against it is why do so many of them have to be at Cheltenham? Why couldn't there be one at Kempton on Saturday? Why couldn't there be one at Ayr at the Scottish National Meeting? Why couldn't there be one at Sandown on the closing day?
I've heard Tom Segal say this week he's not really a fan of these mares races.
They're not good betting heats. Look at, I mean, it's a tight market.
But
but
people would love going to Cheltenham and just putting, if it was all going wrong, we got Corvega coming up, you know. Some people do attach themselves to things like the cross country, for example, which hardly does it for a lot of people in racing. But some people love them because they get out in it. You know, it's a tried and tested route.
Well, I
isn't
mean,
it?
you know, your average punter would just used to go and back Ruby Walsh. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking down for some of the best horses that Peter Fahey has trained. Bay of Freedom.
He had one good one, didn't he? He's won a grade
He
one.
has. Just bear with me while I look
grade
down.
one
I've
or
got a
something.
load of horses.
Yeah, it was that thing that was good, wasn't it?
He did good mare.
Gypsy Island.
Sorry?
What was that
Gypsy
thing
Island's
What was that
his,
thing
isn't
that
it?
was
Yeah,
really
that good
good?
mare. She hasn't made it back to the track,
Enjoy
though,
that?
unfortunately for her. But she was favoured for the mare's novice at one stage before she picked up her injury.
Yeah, mine now is a horse that Irish viewers will know. A Peregrine Run. There we go. That's the horse I'm thinking of. Peregrine Run, who is a mighty fine horse. Give him the right stock. He can get the job done. And of all the trainers in this race making noises this week, it's been Peter Fahey. And last time, was it Fairyhouse, wasn't it, when they met? She just came off the bridle quite a long way out. She's a horse that keeps finding. And she was a little bit too late by the time she got going in. Rosie's Hollow looked like a Rolls Royce that day going around, albeit getting weight. And she came back too late. Cheltenham will definitely suit, I think.
Yeah. I just think, you know, I've said it before, you give any half-decent trainer the right ammunition, they'll be all right with it, you know.
Is someone telling you not to say that in your ear? Is that why you threw your ear out?
Yeah, it was almost like Piers Morgan about to walk off, wasn't it?
But yeah, you're pulling us down
this.
again, man. What you like? One more race to go there then on RP Live. The afternoon is not dragging. It never does here. The excitement levels, we know you love it. What an afternoon it has been. Performance of the day. Allaho, Keith.
Performance of the season. What's been better? Tell me
Flooring
what.
Poulter.
Challenge to you. Better performance this season over jumps. Come on.
You have go on.
First flow.
First flow on the Clarence House.
Oh, yeah, that's worked out really well,
that was
hasn't it?
great.
Oh, come on.
Sorry?
That's worked out really well, he counted. That was a... No, it doesn't matter how it's worked out. It's on the day, isn't it? This might not work out.
What a great race it was.
It was a great race. Ride of the season. That's
It was
for
a
sure,
great,
Dave
to be
Bass.
fair, it was a tremendous ride.
It was
Absolutely.
a brilliant ride.
It was a brilliant ride.
What was the other performance of the season? You've come on and said this before. I can't remember what it was. You said
Native River and the
Native River was
Cotswolds. It was
sensational.
brilliant, but
Chase and Sandown, yeah.
yeah, it's not as good as Allo today. That was incredible.
Exhibition. I mean, a lot of people won't like this, but Frodon and the King George was some exhibition. Pop, 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 length and pop, pop.
Took the
length
Mickey
and-
Bliss out of them, didn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, there's no one better from the front than Bryony.
You know what? Each week, each Cheltenham week, there is a stable, isn't there, that just looks like they can't do anything right, and then they usually nick one at the end. Could it be Frodon?
No.
If you said at the start of the season, Frodon will have won the King George and going in to the festival, what does he want?
Well, I agree with that part, but what will definitely happen, unless he falls, is that at the start of the second circuit, Dickie Johnson will say, right, I'm taking
Can he
you on.
lay up with him, Native River? The nickel, I put that to them. I didn't name you, and I didn't want to annoy them by saying, you know, betting editors had a look at the Many Clouds Chase, and he didn't like it up him that day, Frodon. But I said, what happens if he gets taken on? Because we saw the Ryanair last year. That's where we think he'd not sulked, but he just wasn't able to get into that Frodon rhythm. And they said, on good ground, I just don't think anything. Ken Boy might be the fly.
Well, I did. I wrote the Gold Cup preview yesterday, so it's been done already, and it'll be going out tonight. But I did look at Ken Boy. But
What
part
time
of that,
can they get that? 6 p.m.
Yeah, but the thing with Ken Boy was partly it was because to try and look at how you can get Albion Photo beat, I had to look at a race Ken Boy won, the one Ruby Walsh's last ride.
Yeah.
And I thought Ruby Walsh just nicked it off the front that day. It wasn't quite that simple, actually, when I look back at it. But yeah, so Ken Boy was an interesting one, but he surely isn't going to go anywhere near the front. He's going to let Frodon and Native River go at it. And that's what the thing is. Bryony Frost knows, because there's talk of will Frodon stay, and the first thing they bat off the Nichols Yard is, oh, he'll definitely stay. So it's obviously in their mind that he, stamina's the thing against him. But he's never going to get a moment's peace. If Frost stops for a second, Dickie's going to go past her. And Native River jumps with so much zest. at that point, that's where Frodo might go, well, I'm not the centre of attention here anymore.
Yeah, we have seen some horses. I guess in the Stayers Hurdle was a great example of that. Horses that need to lead.
He has been though taken on for lead in handicaps, hasn't he, Frodon, and been able to come back.
He has, but he's as we've established, he's not handy.
The penultimate win when he won over Fences Day, you'll struggle to see a better jumping performance.
Oh, he's a super jumper, isn't he? It was funny. I remember when Frodon won, I think his second chase. Keely and I were watching it, and it was somewhere like Stratford, I think it was. It was a gaff track. No disrespect to Stratford. I like it. I love it at Stratford, but it wasn't one of the Grade 1 tracks.
No invite for G.
It wasn't one of the Grade 1 tracks. And Keely said to me before the race, "This horse can't jump."
He's had a couple of whacks and he kills. He is sitting out there waiting for us, of course, a little bit later on. So he's not watching this. Let's get some socials up on the screen then. Welcome back the viewer interaction to bring us back. And Edward Spearing, welcome along, Edward, says Kahala to win. I'm glad you're mentioning this horse. This is a bit of a flyer. Shark Hanlon with a horse. Sky Ace.
Don't see that much anymore, do you?
Surely, Sky Ace.
Yeah, Sky Ace, who has impressed me, Barry. We've not seen her through the winter, have we?
Sorry, say again?
Sky Ace.
Yeah, she's a good filly. She's a nice filly. She's Jodie McGarvey in the plate. She's won for Shark. She won her last run back in December.
Punchestown,
December.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Punchestown. Yeah, she beat Sliding Rock of Gordon Elliott's. But yeah, she's been put away since. But the Shark, like every horse he has, is the next on run, and he's not afraid to talk them up. And he was talking very effusively about this one as well. But just a slight concern that we haven't seen her since. That wouldn't be his MO to put them away with Cheltenham in mind. Like he's very much of the school of thought that when they're fit and ready to run, he runs them.
When one of the game's great characters, what was the horse, of course, that he had that never quite made it there?
Tornado. It was a heavy wind. It was a wind, and it was third in everything. Finished second in a fighting.
Hurricane Wind, was it?
No. But it was second in a fighting fifth, I think, and
I can't remember what it was, but it was a serious horse.
Placed in Paddy Power Gold Cups.
That was Shark's heyday, wasn't it? He might well come back, but he used to get things out the point.
Green and mauve colours.
That's it. You still see him a bit on the track, don't you? Okay, so bringing it back. Well, good luck with that. An outsider that could well sneak into the frame, if not a little bit better. What's going to lead here, guys? Let's talk about some tactic. Tell me something, girl. I don't think she'll let her get as far back as last time. Rosie's Hollow likes to be up there. Magic Days is the other de Bromhead horse that could just be the hare for Rachel de Bromhead. Puppy power on that one in those
Rachel
colours.
de Bromhead, that's a new one.
Is that what I called her?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, maybe that's the thing.
Village update.
What about Glens of Antrim? John Joe Hill Jr., there's a name we haven't really mentioned.
Yeah, I
much
noticed
this
that.
week.
I looked at her pedigree. Oh.
Okay, Bobby Kimber comes on like magic. Glens of Antrim for me. Backed anti-post. Great form in defeat. Let's check that up. Bobby Kimber, good to have you back on the
beaten
show.
by Statler and Mr. Incredible, which is good form in defeat.
Because Mr. Incredible chased home or something.
Yeah, it's a good horse. I forget why, but it's a good horse. And the form's all on much more testing ground is the one thing I thought was maybe just...
I remember this now.
dragging
Statler,
it
of
back
course, who goes tomorrow in the Albert Bartlett. Got the Albert Bartlett tomorrow.
Favourite,
Mr.
yeah.
Incredible chased home. The time before that, Galliard du Menil, of course. Like it. Now in Mare's race, so... Yeah, she was expected to win it. Made the running, didn't she, last time at Nace? I remember that. It was an odds on defeat. And Mr. Incredible, Rachel de Blackmore. I've got to get out of my head. Rachel de Blackmore now. I've got to get out of my head. It was a pace thing. Interesting. Glens of Antrim for Bobby.
Yeah, I even looked at this horse's pedigree, actually, and it's largely a soft ground pedigree.
Why is Hookup so weak, Barry? This is ridiculous. This is a big old drift now, isn't it?
Have they realised there's hurdles in the way?
10.5 now. Yeah, I'm not sure that this is her trip either, Dave, to tell you the truth. I know she stayed on well last day behind Appreciated after booting a couple of them out of the way, but I'm not sure she wants to be stepping up to 2.5 miles.
It was either a case that they were stopping a bit that day at Leopardstown, or she wants this. She wanted a bit further. It's 50-1 that day. But if Blue Lord had stood up second, of course, in the Supreme, Ballyadam was second in the Supreme, and she ran on into fourth. She was a big eye catcher that day. Behind Appreciated, of course, who is the hurdling star, according to RPRs, of the week.
That's not a surprise given he's won a Supreme by 24 lengths, but it probably is the weakest Supreme in behind there's ever been. Nothing
that's
really.
harsh. What about a couple? That's a bit harsh, isn't it? What's the horse that won it? That made all despite pulling like a... like a cart the other year.
Classical Dream.
Classical Dream, that's the worst.
That was probably a bad one, but it was behind the winner though. What was behind Classical Dream?
Well, I can't really remember, to be honest.
Nor can I.
Nothing in real note, I don't think.
But nothing in what I'm saying is nothing behind him's run to any higher than about low 140s.
Okay, they're off and running any minute now for the final race here, the 4:15. We've been told to get into game face zone
Royal
for
Kahala's
you.
going to go off favourite, isn't he?
Royal Kahala just about going to go off favourite. Wide open race, then, so good luck wherever you played it. If you've thrown a couple of darts, love to see the Glancing Queen. If Hook Up or Rosie Solo doesn't win for me. Glens of Antrim, now you said that form, I could see it as well. Off and running then and straight into the lead. Well, they took a lead last time. I thought they'd be a bit more patient, but she can be keen, Glens of Antrim. She's just going to leave over last. Didn't think that they'd have Tell Me Something
Magic
Girl
Days is in front,
so
isn't she?
far back, but she's very keen,
Glens of
Keith,
Antrim.
right out the back.
Yes, she is, but the two leaders are also a bit keen. So you've got
This is flying along. What's
Yeah,
this?
Magic
this is
Days.
the
Magic
thing,
Days.
yeah, who has led last time
Puppy
out. Won
Power
all the
can't
way.
hold on.
Of course, it was an all-the-way win. As well, I was trying to say really keen up front for Puppy Power, but we are getting something of a pace to aim at, which will be nice. Martello Sky's had a really good season. Bryony Frost on the outside for Lucy Wadham. Perfect Myth, a horse that's had loads of runs this season to success up there as well. Gulwar Barry, how's she going? Nicely on the inside in third.
Yeah, she's going well in third. Tell me something, girl anchored out the back unusually for her.
Well, she's very keen, isn't she? I guess she's maybe didn't think she'd get this far back, should you? But you've got this theory about the hurdles, haven't you, at Cheltenham? This is one track where they can sweep from behind.
I'm not sure I'd go that far, but yes, there is the front runner bias that exists over fences is not translated to the hurdles track because they can fan out down the hill primarily.
The curse on this show, we were of course talking that exact theory before the Coral Cup.
We were. And then Heaven Help Us just
made
all.
all. So absolutely typical, isn't it? Just when you think you've got this game right. Okay, but they are really stretched out now because Magic Days is in just that. Puppy Power can't really hold her at the moment. Glens of Antrim not even leading. Really good jump there by Gulwar. Rosie Solo's got a lovely position.
I've not watched
Jonathan Sweeney, that would be a good story.
Who's Hook Up jumped? I've not really seen her make mistakes.
No, that's lovely, isn't it? She's
Yeah,
out the
if
back and
she's-
she'll love this pace as well because theoretically they ought to come back a little bit. Looking for the other colours.
There you go, right on cue.
Well done,
No.
Keith. Keith did it for her.
No, the curse has
Well, I did it because I put up that. I put up the horse beside her.
Mullins horse we've not mentioned catching my eyes is Pont Aval jumping quite nicely. Royal Kahala, where's that right out the back?
I'm not
G?
happy with this position. She's
No.
got a bad start.
This is
again on the
unlike her.
inside, and she's a long way behind now. It's a bit early to panic because they have gone a good pace.
Well,
But
the market's not panicking just yet, Barry. She's still only 7-1, despite the fact she's gone right to the back.
Yeah, geez, 7.6. Tell me something, girl. 6.4. Hook Up now is your favourite in running. Royal Kahala 11.5. That's on the slide. Glens of Antrim 7.2 now as well. So
Big
anything
fight,
that's
this.
up there seems to be Magic Days out to 22.
A horse catching my eye is a maiden Mighty Blue, still over hurdles for Joseph Patrick O'Brien and JJ Slevin, the Band of Outlaws firm.
Still
Sky
pulling.
Ace
Magic
going
Days is
all right.
still pulling.
Who is?
Magic Days.
Magic Days,
Still
yeah.
going Tonto in front.
They are starting to come up now behind her, aren't they, a little bit? Rosie Solo, I'll tell you what, she's a classy mare, this. Love to see
Let
her
her
in
go
this.
a little bit.
in
Your
the first
Sky Ace
class
has
of
travelled up
JB.
really nicely,
Hook
hasn't
Up
she?
is travelling now. What about the Glancing Queen? Where's she?
Midfield, just ahead of that Tell Me Something Girl.
Tell you what, Bobby Kimber's going to be getting excited because Sky Ace is going really
Yeah,
well.
good quite
Will the
well on
lack
the
of a run
outside.
be against her?
Mighty
So,
Blue on the outside for Joseph
Yeah,
O'Brien.
still
Yeah.
catching the eye.
That travels well.
Has
That
she
does
been a bit
travel
too
well.
keen?
They have
Perfect
fan-
Myth still
they
going
are
well. Host
fanning
of
out
them
down the
going
hill.
well. Tell Me Something Girl mounting up. Royal Carlo, is she too far back?
But
Two
this
out.
thing's loopy.
Magic Days jumps it still in front. Rosie Soul skips over. Mark Walsh looking confident. Gulwar still in there as well. Hook Up
Tell
now
Me Something
feeling the
Girl
pinch.
travels a bit. Oh no, she's off the bridle
Glancing
now.
Queen getting outpaced. First time she's run on good ground for quite some time. Sky Ace is really coming there with a big chance as well. Okay, call it. Graeme Rodway coming to the last.
he's the winner in front. She's
Mighty
pulled
Blue.
quite hard.
Mighty
hasn't
Blue's
she?
tanking
Mighty
through, but
Blue
here
is
comes Tell Me
absolutely
Something Girl
tanking.
as
Will
well.
she get up the fence?
Tell
I'll
Me
you
Something
what,
Girl's
Glens
gonna hit the
Elandrin.
front at one
Tell Me
point.
Something Girl's got to be the one here, isn't it?
She's got the leader of come on.
The gallery are really screaming.
Come
so
on,
they've gone
Rachel.
for Rachel to
She's hit the front.
Blackmore.
She's hit the front.
This is all over, isn't it?
Well, she needs to find, but she's hit the
She's
front.
finding. Unbelievable.
All over.
Is this Honeysuckle Mark 2?
Oh, no, keep
Wow.
going.
Up the hill she goes. Magic Days is coming back to 1-2 for Henry de Bromhead.
What's this that's
Sky
staying
Ace
on
is
here?
running an absolute blinder.
Oh, she's won going away.
Yeah,
It's quite impressive in the end.
She's shown quite a few kinks. This is an immature model, but baby, she can run. And Rachel Blackmore extends her lead in the Jockey Championship at Cheltenham. Can this woman do anything wrong, Graeme Rodway?
No.
Unbelievable. unbelievable scenes, isn't it?
Is there anybody riding Cheltenham better at the moment?
No.
I don't think there is there?
No, we've read about it in the paper. You know, you've probably listened to terrestrial channels as well. That a lot of the ex-jockeys giving her a lot of love. She just does everything right. She's just a lot of people said to me at the start of the season, yeah, but unless she sits 3 off the leaders on these uncomplicated de Bromheads, she doesn't win races. That has shown a completely different side to her game.
Well, it has. In fact, that's a good point actually, because she does. One of her tricks is that she's boring, and no, but she keeps the right place to be generally is not out in the front where you've got to make tough decisions.
Uncomplicated.
It's uncomplicated. It's what Geraghty used to do. He used to sit in the right position.
She is honeysuckle. Uncomplicated.
Exactly. Just sit there near the pace, choose your moment, which she did.
Yeah.
She made a real dash up for the rail as he turned in, a bit like how she in the Mayor's Hurdle last year on Honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Just does it really a really uncomplicated ride. She's on the best horse. She's kept it simple. She's won the race.
Now, we've got the assistant and the betting editor here. Will you please, between you, crunch some numbers for me? I want to know how many winners and how many placed horses have come out from the Dublin Racing Festival. And that race in particular has been extremely well advertised. Before they're both looking at each other going, there's a hospital pass.
Well, it really is, because it's 16-4 to Ireland, and you're asking me to sum up how well their biggest meeting before this did.
Well, come on, yeah, but what I'm saying is not all the horses ran there, did it? You know what I mean? So,
but I think a lot of them did, and you know, it's naturally the way to come to Cheltenham for Ireland, and they've dominated this week. So
and there was a saying, wasn't there, a couple of years ago, because they had some sort of dodgy ground at, you know, small fields, 6 weeks on the Irish Gold Cup. And they thought 2 years ago that Min might have left it behind, because this time they weren't actually sure at the time whether they could travel over because of the pandemic. They went for it, didn't they? No harm whatsoever. Run your horses. Is that the motto?
Well, it should be. It should be for British trainers more than anything.
Yeah.
Run your horses.
Run
Paul
your
Nichols
horses.
has known it for years, and he's the only one who did it. Henderson's obsessed with the festival and is suffering for it, frankly.
Yeah, he's becoming Jenny Pittman, the Mark II, isn't he? Do you remember towards the end of Jenny Pittman's career, she was almost a bit scared to run them at the end of it.
I barely remember the end of Jenny Pittman's career, to be honest.
Well,
Great trainer.
We've got the favourite for the Gold Cup tomorrow. We've only seen him once, haven't we? Barry, story of the market then. When did they really pick up on another Blackmore winner?
Yeah, well, she was flagged up nicely as the springer in the race. There was plenty of money for her, 18.5 high, but that wasn't in running. She didn't trade massively high in running, to tell you the truth. The runner-up, Mighty Blue, traded at 2.52. That was the lowest of any of the also runs in the race, Mighty Blue.
But all the de Bromhead winners this week have been marked by that. The way the hill's not been there to them.
Did you see the jockey cam on Harry Cobden from Brave
Bob
Man's
Ollinger,
Game?
it's like the hill isn't there. It's mad.
Yeah, absolutely. He is really, really a great festival, Henry, isn't it, so far? And could it be better to come? I think he's going to go win the Gold Cup on A Plutard. G, it's been a great double stint for you. Flooring Porter, the absolute highlight. What wins the Gold Cup?
Yeah, it saved the day and the week, Flooring Porter. What wins the Gold Cup? I think Alban Photo will win it.
You think the Fab will get himself into racing immortality?
Yeah, I don't think he's like absolutely outstanding in the same way that Courto Star was, but he jumps, travels well. He's a perfect Gold Cup horse. I think everything's come right for him to do the hat trick.
And you think that the favourite backers in the first race will get off to a flyer as well, because you're all over Zanahiyr?
I think Zanahiyr will win easily.
Okay,
I think that Tritonic
easily.
Yeah, I think that Tritonic will struggle to go the gears. You know.
Well, the way the week is going, can the Irish absolutely spread eagle the triumph as well? Keith, you are back tomorrow.
I am indeed.
Happy days. Can you give us something you're very excited about? Tease them. Someone who wants to have
something I'm very excited about. It's Gold Cup Day, man. It's Christmas Day.
Well, it is. What's the Ida then? Is it New Year's Day? The Ida, is it? Was it?
The Ida is like a friend's birthday.
Oh, okay, fair enough. The Gold Cup Day is the best day in your calendar.
I want, before I retire, I want to write a book about the Gold Cup. I love it. It's my favourite race.
Like anyone's going to read that. You never know from Quizmaster Melrose. He'll be back tomorrow. Thanks then, G. Superb. We'll see you soon on Ross.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, Barry Orr, been a great day again, isn't it? You weren't sure about today, Barry, profit-wise. Was this the one that we've hit the crossbar a bit on?
No, it's a very difficult day for punting. I found it today. It was not really anything to get stuck into from my point of view. But tomorrow we'll come back fighting. Yeah, we never troubled the bookies today. We never troubled the satchels anyway. Never had our paw out, looked to draw. But tomorrow's another day, and my nap runs tomorrow. So fingers crossed for that.
We'll wait that suspense. Okay, great to have Barry Orr back. He will be back on Friday, as will I. It's Gold Cup Day, man, says Keith Melrose, the best day of the year. Join us back for that tomorrow. We've loved having you aboard this afternoon. All the best Oh, just one more sleep to go.